ABC Sport.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Room to steady and finish.
It's close to the goal line and might have got there.
Another one.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
Rampy from 55 and right on the way home. Huge stretch off and kicks the goal. The skipper off a step finishes.
Take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
Right foot strike.
He's got it. Oh, the home fans like that. Takes a bounce, unguarded, goal square. He's got it. Reed's going to go for goal. Oh my goodness, that truly is remarkable.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
On radio, on digital, and on the ABC Listen app.
You take a seat, 'cause it don't get better than this.
Welcome to a sold-out Adelaide Oval for the latest chapter in the epic saga between Adelaide and Collingwood, a matchup that has continually produced classics with margins of 10 or less in their past 5 meetings. Tonight, the stakes are even higher, both sides battling for top 4 positioning a fortnight away from finals. It is the definition of a Saturday night blockbuster, and it is live and commercial-free on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us for round 23 action. Aaron Bryans calling the game alongside Tom Wilson, as always, here in the great state of South Australia. Good to see you, Tommy.
Great to see you, mate. What a game we have here tonight. The Crows can all but seal the minor premiership, their first trip back to the finals since 2017, where they made the grand final, of course. And Collingwood, they've lost 4 of their last 5, slipping fast, and I think we've given them, the benefit of the doubt. But I think tonight, they don't have to win, but they really need to show something. Otherwise, they're in mark-off territory. But their history shows that they do show something. But I reckon we've been given them the benefit of the doubt for long enough.
No side has won the flag since 2000 after losing 4 of their last 7 games. So Collingwood have to get a move on. And Craig McRae said it best last week. We need to glue our system back together and judge us on our response. And tonight, this is the biggest stage for it. All the eyes of the football world on Adelaide and Collingwood this evening. Got a pair of star experts as well for your broadcast. Firstly, it's great to welcome in Premiership Crow Rod Jamison. Good evening, Jamo.
Aaron, Tom, thank you, and can't wait for this. I think the build-up in Adelaide has been huge, probably not just this week, but weeks out, and the theme around Adelaide is, if you are an Adelaide supporter, just keep a lid on it and go week to week, isn't it? Everyone's trying to lift it or blow it up, but I think Adelaide are week to week and focus pretty well, so big game ahead.
There was some panic when they were down at halftime against the Eagles last week, but rallied, won by 9 Adelaide, and now have 10 of their last 11 and 7 in a row, the Crows. They are currently the benchmark of the competition, but it can go dramatically wrong. Thanks to the Giants' win earlier today, you'd think that they can't fall out of the top 4, but win tonight and they certainly lock in a top 2 finish with the Roos to come next week. Alongside Rod Jamison, we've got All-Australian midfielder and 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco with us this evening. Good to see you, Josh.
Yeah, look, evening, everyone. Jamie, you talk about Adelaide supporters keeping a lid on it. There's a guy selling Premiers 2025 out the front as he walked in, so I think the lid's on. The lid is on. Oh, look, tonight's game, absolute blockbuster. Obviously the form of Collingwood has been probably the headline in the football world over the last 4 or 5 weeks, particularly after their really disappointing show against Hawthorn last week. Can they respond? The spotlight is on them. They're under the microscope. Conversely, Adelaide are ticking along beautifully at the moment. Got a scare last week against the Eagles, but tonight I think they'll get back on track and play the brand we know that they can.
No late changes, but a couple of big ins and outs. So for the Crows, 4. Lockie Murphy returns for his 5th game of the season. Taylor Walker's back after being rested. Harry Schomburg is the sub. He'll play his first game of the campaign. Brodie Smith in for Rory Laird, who was suspended. Luke Pedler out with a hamstring injury. For the Pies, they've tried to inject a bit of speed after Hawthorn ran over them last week. So Tom Mitchell, the Brownlow medalist, omitted. Will Hoskin-Elliott, Premiership Magpie, omitted. Jeremy Howe out with concussion. Ed Allen comes into the side but will be the sub tonight. Beau McCreary returns from his hamstring issue, and Will Parker, playing just his 8th game, will start for the Magpies. The former state cricketer getting a crack at senior footy after originally he'd opted for the other code, came back as a mature age, and now is in this Collingwood side on the eve of finals. The other big storyline leading into this one is the history. So Adelaide hasn't beaten Collingwood in 9 years. They've been winless in their last 11, but there was a draw involved, so Collingwood have won the last 10. And they have good form at the Adelaide Oval as well, the Magpies, so they've won their last 10 here. Their last loss was 2017. And I did a bit of a deep dive during the week, Josh, and tried to have a look at both you and Jamo's records, and Rod's was a little bit more perfect, I think, in terms of his win-loss against opposition sides, but you had a rough run against North where you lost 9 in a row. Can you tell us, I guess, the mental aspect of when you can't get on top of a team?
Look, I think reflecting back on the late 90s when Port Adelaide came into the competition, and way back in 1997, North Melbourne were an unbelievable side. So I'll put it down to the fact there was probably a difference in where they were at and where they were headed, and where we were at in terms of Port Adelaide and, a developing team and trying to become relevant in the AFL. I reckon it was 01 when we were sort of started our springboard into, finals contention and ultimately winning the premiership in 04. But I remember round 1 of 01, we were playing North Melbourne. We knew we were playing them leading into the season from probably, December, January. And then we had the Anthony Stevens, Wayne Carey saga. So we hit a North Melbourne that were breathing fire at Footy Park, and we got rolled again. So I think after that it was almost like we're never going to beat this side. And I must admit, I don't even know when we did, but we did get the bogey off our back.
Did you feel, though, in those late couple of editions that you were panicking about the fact that you just couldn't get them?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely we were. It's interesting, and obviously when you do the numbers, I don't think there's a lot of players that are playing for Adelaide tonight that played in their last...
There's 2.
Only 2. Well, there you go.
Walker and Brodie Smith.
Yeah,
whereas 2016.
Yeah, but I guess when I was playing at Port Adelaide, we all experienced the inability to beat North Melbourne, and it does build a level of subconscious panic that probably translated into our performances.
But it's the last box to tick, isn't it, Jamo, for the Crows? That they've beaten top 8 sides, they've won on the road, they've won close games, all things they couldn't do in the past. But Collingwood is just the last little bogey team they've got to get on top of.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it has been such a long time. And the last 5 games, there have been 22 points in totality for points that they've lost by. So incredibly close. And even doing, the homework coming into tonight's game, just everything, all the metrics are so similar. For me, I felt last week Collingwood looked disconnected in their back half. And I thought watching Hawthorn in 2020... I think it was 2 when they started to get going and they dismantled Collingwood at the MCG. I went across and called that one. And they did exactly the same again last week. They really led up all the time. Collingwood liked to hang back and defend that way, and they just utilised that player a lot of the time last week, and it really exposed their back line. And then even when they moved it so quickly, they didn't cope with it at all well. And I think Adelaide are very similar in that fashion. They have got the ability through talls and smalls, but their goal-kicking power is just phenomenal. So even Josh Rochelle has only played 13 games. He's been out for quite some time. He's still kicked 25-15 in those 13 games. The amount of firepower in the top 5, but also in Jordan Dawson, Alex Neil-Bullen, Saligo, Curtin, is significant.
That's a scary aspect when you're Adelaide's a side who can consistently score 100, and Collingwood over the last 2 weeks have leaked 202, which is so uncharacteristic of them. And Dean Brogan likes to say you are who you are at this time of the year, but Collingwood were 14-2 at the middle of the campaign. Surely this isn't the real Magpies.
Well, I think that the alarming thing for Collingwood and Collingwood supporters is, and the narrative coming out of the game last week was they just look pedestrian and they look slow. You go through their list, they are star-studded with premiership players, absolute superstars, but they look slow. And I know that you can look slow, you can look unfit, you can look disinterested when you're getting dominated by an opposition as they were last week against Hawthorn, but it's a hard road back, I reckon. You talk about 4 of the last 5 they've lost, and they're against the sides that they'll be competing against come September. And I think that's a real concern for them. So you talk about the importance of tonight. I can't say that enough how important this game is for Collingwood.
But what incredible margins too. Like when you have a look at they've lost the last 4. Last week was 64, yes, significant. It's unlike them to lose by that amount. But Brisbane was 27. They lost to Freo by 1. They lost to Gold Coast by 6, and they defeated Richmond in amongst all of there. They don't lose too many games by that margin like they did against the Hawks last week. So that for me was obviously the greatest concern from Craig McRae's perspective, and why he was probably a little anxious and a little steamy after the game.
And I think the other thing for Collingwood, what they've been, super at is responding. and not getting, as you said, blown out of the water. And the margins over the last weeks, that's, I'm sure, what would be raising the eyebrows of McRae.
Well, wildly, it is the most they've lost by in 2 weeks under Craig McRae the last couple of weeks. So usually they are a very close comeback side, and history says in tight games they get the job done. But this year they're 2-3, so it just feels like they're a shell of themselves at the moment, Collingwood.
Yeah, that's the thing. And even you look at pressure, I think that's something for coaches that you can say, boys, that's what we need to address. It was their second worst pressure differential of the season last week against the Hawks, and it was only a pressure factor of 164, which is very low. So you'd expect at least, from the first bounce in the first quarter, that'll be up near the 200 mark, because that is something you can address straight away, Jumbo.
That's just genuine effort and having a go. And I think both sides, I think for that reason, as bad as Collingwood have been in the last 5 weeks, Adelaide, to your point, and Aaron, yours, like they're feeling the same way, trying to get over the top of Collingwood. So they're both on the edge but I just feel, in terms of Adelaide's defence and where it sits up against Collingwood's forward line, they have some talent in there. Bobby Hill's not there with that speed. McQuarrie comes in, he's missed a lot of footy, but from one end of the ground to the other, Adelaide's defence, and I was looking at the stats from last week as well, like Adelaide's defence against West Coast. So you look at, and they won by 9 points, and everyone goes, they played really bad, but we've always had this discussion. Bank your wins, just bank your wins, and you always find ways to win. And it's not always going to be easy and simple, and it doesn't matter the opposition. You just got to bank them. But the defence against West Coast forward really stood up again last week. The uncontested, in terms of Adelaide's defence and marking ability, was hugely significant. What West Coast were able to do against Adelaide's foot was actually do the same, and they were able to intercept and take marks, and not too many teams have been able to do that against Adelaide when they have delivered the footy, because they are normally very efficient.
I think on a side note as well is probably not giving West Coast Eagles credit. I thought that was the first time I've seen them in the last 2 or 3 years. They actually played a game at AFL level.
Yeah.
And I thought they were terrific in terms of pressure on the ball, their overall intent and mentality around how they want to defend and how they want to move the ball. And to Adelaide's credit, they got over the line, and they talked about that was sort of the uppercut they needed, and they still got the 4 points.
It was a punch in the face at the start, but they actually kept fighting. It wasn't as if because Crows jumped out well, and when they hit the front in the second quarter they got out to 17 points in front in that third term, and all of us were watching that game going, hang on a minute, we're not actually seeing it from Adelaide that this is just going to happen like it does against those lower teams. So I think you're right there, Josh, and they did find a way, Jamo. But the Eagles, you look across those pressure numbers that we talked about, they're up over 200, putting a lot of pressure, and any sort of pressure on any sort of team. It's very hard to play against.
It's almost an absolute myth that you need to lose on the run home to really solidify yourself. And if you had to, Adelaide did it in the perfect way, where they got the reality check without actually conceding any points. And you can only prepare for what you know, and West Coast hadn't played like that in almost 2 years. We have to give them credit for how well they played. And Adelaide, you could argue, maybe a bit complacent because they didn't come prepared for that kind of pressure. But, gee, West Coast were tremendous.
See, that's where I'd challenge you on that again too. I don't think they were complacent. I think West Coast really took it to them. And so Adelaide didn't have a good day, but they still found a way to win. And I think Matthew Nix's commentary is, I feel like I want to get really angry, but I walk away. We actually won the game.
Yeah.
We actually won the game. So that's the thing. I think we need to flip that mindset. They had a bad day, but they found a way to win against a real spirited West Coast team.
Thoughts of Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco, part of your ABC Sport expert commentary team for this absolute main event match on Saturday night. We've got Adelaide and Collingwood both in the top 4, first v fourth. Plenty of implications tonight. Adelaide win, they lock in top 2. Collingwood win, almost lock in top 4. Thanks to the Giants win earlier today over Gold Coast, which many could have felt was an upset, 35 points in the end. It means that Collingwood can't fall out of the 8 now, but could finish as low as 8th. And Adelaide, meanwhile, look like they're locked into the 4, but would love to have the double chance at home if they can finish in the top 2. The main takeaway, I think, from Adelaide's win over West Coast was there is a bit of a pattern there now as to how teams can get on top of the Crows, and that's front on pressure. So Hawthorn did that 2 weeks ago in the first quarter here at Adelaide Oval. The Crows found a way to navigate it. West Coast did it again early last week. And it feels like the solution was Isaac Rankin, putting some speed on the ball, a player who can break away, and if you're trying to tackle him, he won't let you reach him. 20 touches in the second half, Jamo. Do you put him straight in the middle tonight against Collingwood?
Well, I think your point is valid. However, if you do that to most teams, it's going to be hard. You know, like again, we saw Hawthorn do that to Collingwood and then lead up, and they were able to use the footy well. So you're right, like, I'll just throw it around. I don't mind Rankin starting in the half-forward line, because in the middle of the ground, like, just a defender's going to be jumpy, and you get to have a look and see how they're going to set up, and then throw him into the middle, and then throw someone up. Alex Neil-Bullen, Ben Keys goes up there too, you know, and then Lockie Murphy's in the side tonight as well. So I think for that reason, I think their defensive pressure in their forward line is, I think, why Lockie Murphy's into the team tonight. But I don't mind if he starts in the middle or if he starts forward. At some point, you know he's going to go in the middle, and he's so mercurial, and he only needs a couple of minutes, and he can get a truckload of the footy. For me, like everyone tries to do, I think it's Nick Dacos is the player you've actually got to try and run with or shut down, and he's probably one where he hasn't played as well as what he has in the weeks prior up until last week.
He loves playing Adelaide. So 6 games, averages 32 touches, has 8 Brownlow votes. So you're right, it is a pivotal matchup for Adelaide if they want to lock down Collingwood's midfield mix. Where do you sit, Josh? Do you put Rankin first centre bounce?
Oh, yeah, look, I think you do. I think last week looking at Collingwood, and I sort of used the word pedestrian, they look slow. It's almost a bit of shock and awe. Get as much speed around the ball as you can and really dent their confidence right from the get-go. Had a look at the radar. There's rain coming. I don't know when, but it does look like there's a decent band of rain coming, so you want to get in front early, and I reckon the best way to do that is get your Jets around the footy, and Rankin's one of them, and play him inside. Looks like when it comes, it won't go away either. So as soon as it arrives, it's here to stay for the rest of the night. 0437 774 774 is the text line tonight if you do want to get in touch as well. Rich from Ocean Grove says, I'm really looking forward to tonight's game, tuning in while cooking a pork roast and trying to perfect the crackling as well. Good luck, Rich.
Go high early in the temperature, then bring it low.
Oh,
that's how you get
Master Chef Rod Jamieson.
Well,
there you go.
I don't mind some good roast pork.
Man of many talents. Pete in Ballarat says, seriously, Adelaide fans are talking flags already. Hoo boy, that'll come back to bite you. Context, Pete, in this town, there is a lot of nervous anxiety. Oh, yeah. I think even after the Hawthorn win, we in ABC Sport were all in on the Crows, I reckon, but a lot of people in the States still were pretty hesitant to really jump on the bandwagon because they've been burnt in the past.
Look, I don't know if this is absolute rubbish, but I had talking to a mate earlier this week, and apparently the Crows members, there's been like 1,600 that have upgraded to gold.
It's sold out now. The gold membership is sold out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't keep my ear to the ground with all that sort of stuff, so that's old news, is it?
To give you access to the grand final ticket.
Well, I tell you what, you tell me that's not...
It was around
nervous
the
energy
game.
and getting ahead of yourself.
Well, I was listening to another radio station as well, and they were talking about like a whole team have just taken that whole Thursday, Friday off in Adelaide and the Monday, just like businesses are just going to be shut down. So
well, I think it's good though, like from an Adelaide supporter's perspective, enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's coming again.
And Nixie said it, I think, I can't remember after what game, but if the fans can't enjoy it,
absolutely,
the players aren't allowed to enjoy it yet, and they won't be able to enjoy it until, even if they get to the grand final, I'm sure they'll enjoy that experience, but they probably won't want to enjoy it till it's all over. If the fans are the ones, they've got to get on board. Everyone's talking about it. It's impossible not to get excited by them. It's all anyone's really talking about.
And perspective is so important. Like, this is a relatively young side. Outside of Taylor Walker and Rory Laird, no one's really over 30 that's in their best 22. So even if it goes pear-shaped this year, like this is the start of hopefully a really fun run.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
We're going to get the guys out tonight, Jamo.
Because because of that, it doesn't always happen, it just does not always happen.
I still say the year last year was the year they had to have. The disappointment.
Yeah.
So now it means more, and there's more relevance to what they're doing currently. Even though it was really disappointing last year from an LA perspective.
It pushed them into the lane, didn't
Definitely.
it?
Absolutely.
It put the blinkers on in a big way.
100%.
Meanwhile, the Magpies have been going through this tremendous era where they're consistently contenders, and the question has always been, are they too old and too slow? And that's what popped up in gather around round 0, and they managed to turn the momentum of that. We're 14-2 midway through the year, and now the spotlight shines bright on their list once again. So Scott Pendlebury signing on for another year on Monday, which I think is an excellent decision. He's one of their better players right now at 27 last week. But you actually look at the age profile, and Jamo and I crunched the numbers earlier, but average games played 160 tonight. Age is 28 as Collingwood make their way out onto the Adelaide Oval. 15-6 this year, but fresh off a 64-point loss against the Hawks. They've lost 4 of their last 5, but did beat the Crows in round 10, and they've won the last 10 games against Adelaide as well. Jamo, the age profile. So Collingwood 28, Adelaide 24. Like it is a pretty dramatic difference.
And what jumps off the page at me is the games played by this group. It is insane when you start with Scott Pendlebury, 421, then you go down to still side bottom, 350 last week. So many players are up close to 200 or over 200, 215, 225. It is just incredible the amount of football this team has played and continually play the football that they do.
This is a serious question. If Sidebottom and Pendlebury retired, what would the average age drop to? Probably about 21.
Yes, I mean, you lose 400 games of experience.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the same for the Crows. They throw in Brodie Smith this week and it bumps up their average age as well. So, there's always little anomalies, but I think consistently Collingwood are a relatively older list that are, still hoping to reach glory, but it could fall off a cliff very quickly, and tonight could be that night. They've still got a tougher run from here with Melbourne to come on Friday. The D's relatively bullish against the Hawks today. Only lost by 36 earlier. So
Jamie Elliott's 32. He doesn't play like he's 32 either.
Career best season.
Yeah. He missed a lot of footy too, hasn't he? With injuries early, sort of early mid-20s. But he's a superstar.
And the Suns are chasing him as well to keep going. Yeah.
Well, no, he's an absolute star of the competition. And I think even with this Collingwood side, not that anyone up here is, but people write them off at your own sort of peril because they, as I said, they are star-studded. They've injected some speed into the mix tonight, but they're still a very, very good side.
Some more advice for Rich from Ocean Grove in terms of his crackling. So Josh, who's a Pies fan, says if the crackling's no good, right at the end after the low heat phase, stick it under the griller for about 3 to 5 minutes. Perfect crackling every time. So thanks for that, Josh.
Keep an eye on it, don't burn it.
Some recipes coming through, despite the blockbuster in the background. Damien from Perth also texted in, says, have you ever known a season to be so tight in terms of the top 8 ramifications that could still happen with it going down to the wire for so many teams? And this is the exciting part, isn't it, Damien? We had a rough patch where essentially the top teams were smashing the bottom teams. We're towards the bookend now, and we get to see some of the best clash. And this is the footy we've been waiting for all year.
Oh, certainly so. And so much on the line. We talked a bit off air, Josh, about Dan Houston. The last time that he was here, I think it was round 23 last year, and he landed a huge bump on Isaac Rankin as the Crows are getting ready to come out to Metallica's Sad But True.
Should mention as well, there's a new pre-game routine. So we'll hear from Matt Sabat in a moment's time, the saxophonist, who's unbeaten at this ground. But they've also got a light show now, so fans have been able to hook their phones up through a QR code that can sync with the stadium. So there are lights bobbling on and on around. It's an absolute display, like a Coldplay concert, Tom. But
that's it. Stay off Kiss Cam.
Get away from it. Stay away.
Definitely a rock show tonight as the Crows enter to Metallica. They're 16-5 this season after a 9-point win over the West Coast Eagles. It is their most ever since 2016, and their record overall is 17, which they could achieve tonight. Win, and they're in the top 2. It is locked in. And, what a tremendous moment that would be for them, as they haven't really had much success since they last reached the grand final in 2017. So the Crows looking for their 8th win in a row. And, they're coming as heavy favourites tonight.
They deserve to be heavy favourites, that's for sure, with the footy that they've been producing at both ends of the ground. I teased it before, Dan Houston, Josh. Yeah. I know that you were very critical of Port Adelaide for letting him go, still with 3 years to go on his contract. What a boost at the start of the season for him at the Magpies, but it probably hasn't panned out how anyone could have predicted.
Look, the thing that I would ask is, I wonder how Dan Houston is perceiving the Dan Houston trade. It doesn't seem to have worked for him, and it hasn't seemed to have worked for Collingwood. He was an absolute superstar here at Port Adelaide. really penetrating in terms of the way he plays the game, metres gained. His kick was electric. He kicked goals from outside 50. We haven't seen that this year from Dan Houston. So, in a way, I feel for him. He's almost a role player at Collingwood now rather than being the number one man. And if you look at the way his footy's gone without, I guess, sounding too critical, it's stagnated. Oh, it's gone backwards compared to the footy that he was producing here at Port.
A lot of money on the books as well. So 6 years at $850K.
Yeah.
And then so is Harry Perryman, who comes over with the promise of midfield minutes. Played there for 3 rounds. They said this isn't working. He's gone back to defence. He's another role player, and he's on $900K for the next 6 years. Like, that's a lot of money tied up in guys who aren't going to win your best and fairest.
But someone like a Dan Houston, and perhaps this messaging is happening, but if I'm coaching Collingwood, I'm saying give the ball to Dan Houston at every time. You've got to get him back playing the brand of footy which made him a dual All-Australian. So whatever that looks like, put him in a red Guernsey, whatever it is, but give him the footy and let him penetrate the game.
And it's not a case of that he just would get touches deep in defence and stat pad or anything like that. He was an All-Australian in a team that was finishing top 4, making preliminary finals.
Well, Maynard's not probably having the season that he's had in the past too. There's talk that he maybe moved on or put up for trade also. And Quainer, he's probably been solid. Those 3 players play that type of role where they just want to get up and keep running off the back line.
I have to disagree with you there, Jamo.
Why is that?
Braden Maynard signed a 4-year deal earlier this year.
Yeah,
so he's
right.
But just had to get one back at you.
Oh, good.
There is a trader in the midst of the Adelaide Crows tonight as well. Taylor Walker's son, Louis, announced during the week that he's a big Nick Dacos fan. There's actually a photo of him in the rooms with Collingwood before the bounce, and the banner for the Pies says, "A little crow is quite the talker. Welcome to the army, Louis Walker."
That's brilliant.
So a bit of fun and games before this top 4 blockbuster clash. But you'd be a bit bitter, wouldn't you, if your son was barracking for the rival?
Look, those 2 boys are cut from the exact same cloth as Tex. They're almost cheekier than him already, and every week they're riling him up.
Yeah, definitely the same when he was growing up too.
Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Rod Jamison, Josh Franco and Braden Ingram with you for the call tonight on ABC Sport. Earlier today, the Giants defeating Gold Coast by 35 points. So they flip positions. The Giants move to 6th, Gold Coast in 8th, but they've got a game in hand. Carlton demolished Port Adelaide by 54 points. It was pretty diabolical from the other South Australian side. We'll touch on it a bit at half-time. Hawthorn beat Melbourne by 36, so they've leapfrogged Fremantle, who lost last night. Another swapping of positions, so the Hawks in 5th, Fremantle in 7th. Lots to still play out over this final fortnight of footy, and on the text line 0437 774 774, Michael says, after today's results, it looks like it's either the Bulldogs or Fremantle to make finals next Sunday, which is a very tantalising matchup. But we've had a couple of upsets over the last few weeks, so I don't know, Michael, anything can happen over the next kind of weekend and a half, so we'll wait and see. I don't really want to lock myself into any sort of predictions as to who will and won't make it. More advice on the pork crackling. So DP says if your crackling goes pear-shaped, use a heat gun to finish it off. It's always the go-to. Can't go wrong.
Where do you get one of those?
It's pretty high risk, DP. I think I could go wrong. Phil from Victoria just wants us to go through the ins and outs again. So no late changes. Ed Allen is the sub for the Pies. Harry Schomburg, his first game of the season, will don the vest for the Crows. Lockie Murphy, Taylor Walker and Brodie Smith also in. Luke Pedler out with a hamstring injury that hopefully he'll be able to recover from by week 1 of the finals. Chase Jones omitted, Chris Burgess omitted, and Rory Laird suspended for a week. Will Parker in for the Pies alongside Ed Allen, and Beau McCreary returns. Tom Mitchell omitted, Will Hoskin-Elliott omitted, and Jeremy Howe out with concussion. Moments away from bounce down here at the Adelaide Oval. The light show still on display. We're expecting over 50,000. It's been sold out for weeks. The hill shoulder to shoulder, and it looks even more packed than it did a fortnight ago against the Hawks. Jamo, Josh, who wins and why?
Well, I hope the rain stays away first and foremost for everyone here. The spectacle that it's going to be. The build-up's been huge. Both sides just finalising their warm-up, but it is really hard. I am not writing off Collingwood at all, but I feel that Adelaide are just playing the better football, and that's clearly evident the last 5 weeks where Collingwood haven't been able to win like they have, but the games have been exceptionally close. And Adelaide's, their defence, they're the number 1 score from opposition turnovers, but Collingwood are number 4, so they're not far away too. And the other one that stands out to me is that scores conceded. Collingwood are number 1, Adelaide are number 3. So either way, defence from both sides, they just don't look like they're where they normally are. And I saw last week a real significant way to get through the forward and to score with the way Collingwood's defence were crumbled under pressure of the Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. And look, I think since about round 5 or 6, I've been really bullish on Adelaide. I think they are the most balanced side in the competition in terms of how they look inside. They've got a good mix of bigger bodies in the Dawson and those types with the leg speed at ground level as well. Ahead of the ball, I think they're the best front 6 players in the competition with the 3 tools. You've got Neil Bullen. Keys is an absolute star. Rankin, when he's forward's electric as well, so they're very, very difficult to match up on, and down back they're rock solid as well. The concern for me for Collingwood, and if you probably had this conversation 6 weeks ago, we wouldn't be talking about them like this, but their last 5 or 6 weeks have been really poor. Overall disposals, contested ball, uncontested possessions, clearances, they've been absolutely torched by their opposition. They've almost fallen off the cliff in those sort of KPIs. So I must admit, never write off Collingwood. You look through their list, they're star-studded. They've got premiership players, they've got experience, they've got talent, but Adelaide, to me, at home, they're just too good.
Here's Matt Sammett, who's unbeaten this year. 10-0. The only loss that Adelaide has had at home was the one game he didn't feature in because it was gather round and the AFL deemed it a neutral game. So he's had a pretty good record as the pre-game routine for the Adelaide Crows, and the Fireflies still out there as well as the phones light up across the ground. A lot of love for Collingwood on the text line. So Ken in Port Augusta says, don't write off Collingwood. They will take it up to the Crows. And Paul, listening from the Greek Islands, nervous but hopeful for a Pies win. Go Collingwood. Love the ABC, and we love you, Paul. Thank you for joining us on what is a momentous evening. Now, if you're not a footy fan and you still want to listen to some sport, there is some cricket on tonight, which you can hear on the ABC Listen app through the cricket button, the third T20, the deciding T20 between Australia and South Africa in Cairns. Aussies won the toss, sent South Africa in. They're 1 for 23 in the 4th over, so you can hear that on the ABC Listen app. And the rain so far has stayed away, but we've just had a glimpse of the radar, and gee, it looks pretty ugly. So when it gets here, it could get pretty wet and slippery, which I'm not sure who that favours. The Crows have played tall all year and managed to adapt, and Collingwood are pretty good at ground level, Jamo.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? They just booted an absolute ton in the rain against Port Adelaide, so whether it's raining or not, it will impact, but certainly like to get the score on the board early. We spoke of Houston, we spoke of Maynard, Quain, all the run and rebound off the half-back line. Miller, a hinge, Smith will do the same for Adelaide, and again, just the firepower and the options up forward for Adelaide and through the midfield. Again, I feel that Adelaide will be too good tonight.
Jordan Dawson and Darcy Moore meet in the middle of the ground. The coin toss has just occurred, so let's head downstairs and join Braden Ingram down at ground level. Good evening, Braden.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Couldn't be more excited for this one. Darcy Moore has won the toss and will kick to the Riverbank stand, so the southern end of the ground here. You forecast it, Aaron. It's just a matter of when rather than if this rain comes. We're certainly expecting to get pretty tricky down here at the moment. There is a little bit of a breeze, around about 10 k's an hour northwesterly, so that could have a bit of an impact. Remember when the Crows last played here on Friday night against the Hawks, 23 of the 28 goals were kicked to the hill end. So whether that lucky end continues tonight remains to be seen. There were fans coming in from 2 hours before this first bounce, and those who didn't have a reserve seat, I'm told, have missed out. We'll get well in excess of 50,000 and we're ready to go.
Braden, I think that's what, Darcy Moore's gone to the city end without being, but the wind is going to the other end, and you just highlighted the scores.
The last 2 weeks, the northern end has been the scoring end as well, Jamo. So maybe an interesting decision, especially that Adelaide Hawthorn game. That was 23-5.
It could be the NFL thing where you finish with the breeze.
Yeah.
It can happen. You kick off in the NFL
stuff.
No, but it is. It's what they do in American football.
Collingwood do love a comeback as well, so don't write them off if they're heading to the northern end in the final quarter. These are the games that you wait all year for. A heavyweight clash with top 4 implications. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. It's Adelaide and Collingwood. Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco, your experts. Aaron Bryans with you, and to get us going, here's Tom Wilson.
You got your wish, gentlemen. Isaac Rankin up against Nick Dacos in the middle of the ground. What an exciting matchup of 2 of the most amazing players in this competition. The bounce goes down at Adelaide Oval. Knocked down by O'Brien. Saligo and Dacos go at it. Sam Berry gathers to get the first clearance for Adelaide. Up to centre half forward. Taylor Walker, fresh off a rest, shrugs off Moore. Kicks long inside the forward 50, but Billy Frampton, the former Crow, takes a mark deep in defence, and you can hear the jeers of the crowd.
I'll tell you what, that's a good nerve settler for Billy. He had a stinker last week, so a good First up grab to settle his nerves.
4 goals kicked on him. Billy Frampton heads up to left half back. Fist comes in from Worrell back towards the 50. Murphy on return to the side is wrapped up quickly by Josh Dacos. We'll get a ball up 45 out.
It's only one entry, but you can see Collingwood defence just drop back. If the kick had been shallow, Adelaide would have had a chance.
Tossed in the air. Cameron wins it down. Picked off though. Curtin tumbles a kick into the pocket. Phil Thorpe with a fumble. Frampton against him. Gathers cleanly and gets another exit. Out towards the eastern side. His kick is wide. Out on the full. Free kick Adelaide.
Might have spoken a bit too soon, Tom. A good first up mark, but that one there just lacked a little bit of composure and out in the full. Billy Frampton.
So Worrell,
side bottom.
So Worrell, 65 metres out, goes to the top. Oh, Jordan Dawson's out the back, but still side bottom. And the veteran managed to defeat 2 Crows there and rushes it through for a minor score. The first one of the night, Adelaide on the board. A minute and a half gone in this first quarter.
Yeah, sorry, Tom. It was Dan Curtin was just sneaking down. He started on the wing on still side bottom, and just the height differential. The footy did go over the back in that case, but dangerous.
Maynard pops it short and wide. Josh Dacos, right back pocket. Best on ground in round 10 for the Magpies. Had 29 touches. Picked up 2 votes in the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year. Kicks up to the broadcast wing. Pat converges. Side bottom brought down without it. Free kick to the 34-year-old. Steele side bottom. Game 351 tonight. Directs traffic and is finally called to play on. Drives it up towards the attacking edge. They converge. Myercheck flies across from the side. Not paid. He'll release the handball anyway. Crisp is surging by. Low to the 50. A little bit too hot for Schultz. And Worrell cuts it up to the adoration of the crowd.
Just had to lower his eyes. I reckon he had to go on there inside 50, but decided the long option, not the kick.
Great composure from Worrell, though. Didn't follow the body. Just watched the flight of the footy.
So Fogarty's got it centre wing now for Adelaide after a defensive exit. His kick up forward, hits the chest of Darcy Moore, drops the mark. Handball's over the top to Houston. The Crows fans don't forget what he did at the showdown here last year. Moving it by hand now through Nick Dacos. He runs in towards the forward 50. Long flying with Schultz. Behind coming, but just dropped the mark. And we're going to have a ball up at the top of the goal square. A good entry from the Pies.
I tell you what, that kick from Nick Dacos was unbelievable. Checked his kick and then just hit to advantage. Unfortunately, couldn't take the mark inside 50.
Adelaide by a point. O'Brien late to the contest. Got a tap down. Berry tries to get it out of there, but threw it on the boot, and it's out on the full. Free kick going the way of the Magpies on the tightest of angles. The footy will be handed to Lockie Schultz. He does know how to make angles work his way.
10 goals for the year.
You'd be surprised how many times at training players practice this very kick. So obviously difficult angle, but he'll run out and snap.
Schultz opens the angle, curls it and misses to the left-hand side. And we're all square 3 minutes in. A point apiece between Adelaide and Collingwood. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
So Keane, former Pie, will bring it back in. And there was only one player jumping in that one. It was Perryman. He marks 70 metres from goal, and his kick's intercepted by Cumming, who's been effective early. He's got it at centre-half back for the Crows. He's going to switch the play. Goes out wide to Nick Murray at left-half back. Back in board. Finds Hinge. Short to Millerer. Just the required journey. Defensive side of centre wing. Members side of the ground for Adelaide. Scores a level, 1 behind a piece. Down the line to O'Brien. Fisted away by Moore. Gathered by De Goey to Pendlebury to Steele side bottom. Back in board to Perryman, who does well to get clear. Kicks towards the wing. McCreary back in the side. Takes a strong mark through centre wing.
South Adelaide product. Rumoured that he toured Port Adelaide's facilities during the week. But back in the side. Inboard he goes to Pendlebury. Casual and calm as he places it to Dacos. Centre half forward for the Brownlow medal favourite. Dacos unsure what to do. Calling for options. Gets one late. Into the pocket. Schultz presents. Put it down late. Front and square. Elliott's wrapped up immediately and will get a ball up 30 from home for Collingwood.
It was a good kick though, wasn't it? 2. Just the pressure again. Worrell from behind.
Ruck contest. O'Brien and Myercheck hits the ground. Socket off the deck by Schultz. Flying shot, a goal away to the left, minor score, but it does put the Pies in front. They're 2 behind to Adelaide's 1. 5 minutes gone, first quarter for ABC Sport.
Tell you what, obviously sort of negative connotations around Collingwood tonight, but they've actually started the game pretty well. Inside 50s, uncontested possessions, Collingwood's way.
Terrible exit kick from Keane, nearly cut off by Schultz. They get away with one. Saligo out to the eastern side.
What's unique here, Adelaide have had 16 disposals, all kicks, no handballs.
Keys pops it over the top towards Cumming and through centre wing he kicks to Taylor Walker. They want to move it quick. He opened the angle and his kick was smothered as he rushed it. Josh Dacos waiting at the back off the fingertips. Passes it off. Now Maynard releases Josh Dacos in the centre circle. Straight line delivery up to half forward. Crisp gives it off to Pendlebury. Lowers the eyes and the veteran strikes. As he shares it with Schultz, they're everywhere. Queuing up. Schultz will turn from 40 and deliver it lace out to Membry. 25 out, straight in front.
Aaron, I reckon that's the key word there, everywhere. Every time the ball's turned over from Adelaide's perspective, Collingwood players are lining up to get the ball. Dacos is having an influence. Pendlebury's having an influence. And they've got loose players everywhere. And as I said, I reckon Collingwood actually look reasonably sharp at the moment. Started the game really well.
9 more disposals than Adelaide and had the 8 handballs.
What a recruit Tim Membry's been. 28 goals for the year. Crosses the paint of 50. Membry with a straight line strike. Collingwood have the first goal here at the Adelaide Oval. They're up 1-2-8. The Crows 1 behind. 6 played in the opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco.
Always loved Tim Membry in the way he presents, doesn't he? He hits the footy hard, he jumps up, and he's got an incredibly accurate kick too. 199th game tonight overall. He's played his 20th tonight with Collingwood. It's a great acquisition late in his career.
And Jamo, just looking at probably one of the key numbers is the kicking efficiency at the moment. Collingwood running at 70%. Adelaide just 56%. So loose players everywhere for Collingwood. They turn the footy over. Adelaide need to be better at manning up and stopping that short kick.
Going through the corridor nicely as well, Josh.
Yeah.
10 marks apiece.
Back in the middle of the ground, Collingwood strike first. They're up by 7 points. O'Brien and Cameron. O'Brien knocks it down to Peatling, who had Pendlebury and company. Socketed off the ground. Head over the footy. Coming off the bench was Long, tackled by Rankin. And we'll have a ball up not too far from that centre circle. Umpire just clearing the space.
A lot of numbers around the ball. Adelaide have got a lot of forwards high here at this stoppage.
So Peatling's on Nick Dacos there. O'Brien grabbed a hold of Cameron and gave away a free. The umpire pointed the wrong direction initially, but Cameron's got it. So the ruckman goes short. Finds Houston. He's got the footy about 85 from goal in the centre square. Runs around, asks to play on. Pumps it inside the forward 50, looking for a tall target. Brought to ground. Nick Dacos there for the Rove. Lipinski to Membry, the goal kicker. Running onto it, diving on top of the footy. Umpire gives the benefit of the doubt and we'll have a ball up at the top of the goal square. The Pies leading by 7 points in the first term.
Barely a spare seat in the house. Energy's dropped a little bit. Collingwood with the hot start, as they did back in round 10. Tossed up. O'Brien down, only found Crisp. Little fumble at his bootlaces, collapsed into the footy. Tackle laid by McStay now, as Adelaide tried to get it out of there. And we'll get a ball up.
Dawson unlucky not to get a free. Lipinski just slammed him straight into the middle of his back.
Still 15 out for Collingwood. McStay wins it down, bounces towards Cumming, and launches it out of there. Up towards the eastern wing. Thilthorpe's outnumbered and still wins. He's a monster contested mark.
He's getting better and better, isn't he? Every week.
I don't think Adelaide wins that game last week without Thilthorpe not coming back on.
Kick is miserable. Straight to 3 Magpies who converge. Maynard gets it towards the spine. Nick Dacos, hot footy. A little bit high for De Goey. Out the back, Keane puts his head over it and is crunched into by McStay. Reckless. Keane stayed down. He caught a shin to the head. Adelaide get it out of defensive 50 and Dawson's brought down by Sidebottom. Free kick to the Crows skipper. McStay's very lucky there.
I actually reckon Keane dived into him. I actually thought the umpire
Take out the
umpired that
legs
pretty well. Yeah, I reckon he actually tried to initiate the contact and draw the free kick, but the umpire was onto it.
Dawson to Curtin, and now Brodie Smith looks for the switch through defensive 50. Collingwood by 7 here at the Adelaide Oval.
So Keane's up and okay. Runs out of defence, takes a second bounce. Goes long looking for Walker. Playing in front was Frampton. It was probably a kick just a touch in the end. And we'll have a boundary thrown. Forward of centre wing, outer side of the ground. Adelaide's way. They trail by 7 points. A hot start from the Pies, who've controlled the action so far.
I know it's only a small sample size. We've only played 7.5 minutes of actual game time, but Adelaide just don't look quite like they're there at the moment. Things aren't quite working.
Slow against the Hawks and the Eagles over the past fortnight. It's becoming a trend. Out of the stoppage, rolled forward by Adelaide. Murphy had 2 to beat. Keeps paddling it forward. Flung out of there by Keys. Peatling looks to hook it into the 50. Bounces over the top of Curtin. Frampton at the back battling with Philthorpe. Curtin keeps pursuing. Gathers on the bounce 30. Hands it to Brodie Smith. Full stride and he misses. Oof. He was running into goal and it's wide right. Collingwood's lead down to 6. 11 played in the opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
It just had to be a drop punt. I think he hit it like a banana, didn't he, too, and wanted it to go left to right. It did fade too far to the right.
Such a beautiful user of the ball, Brodie Smith, the veteran, now a father. So Josh Dacos brings it out of defence, pumps it long to centre wing. In front is Cameron, fisted down by O'Brien. Working hard off the pack there was Parker. Play on, says the umpire. Neil Bullen's at the bottom of the pack. On top of him is Long. And we'll have a ball up near the corner of the centre square, Adelaide side. So Cameron, O'Brien tries to take it out of the ruck, knocked forward by Curtin, gathered by Sidebottom, took on the tackle of Neil Bullen, who missed. That's rare. A spinning torpedo type hit, Josh Franco.
Unbelievable.
Landed in the lap of Schultz on the outer side of the ground. The full switch is on to Membry.
He absolutely meant that.
I was about to say, the scary part is he actually tried to do it.
Yeah.
Membry. Inboard kick to Quaynor near the logo. Real dinky pass to Nick Dacos. He's racking them up early. Yep. Disposal 4. His brother Josh has 4 as well. Nick Dacos towards the 50. Couple of Crows get on top of McStay. Fist rolls towards centre half back for Adelaide. De Goey's there. Dives onto the footy. Hinge on top of him. Neil Bullen tries to extract it. He's wrapped up by Long for his troubles. Ball up to come. Centre half forward for Collingwood. On the text line, John in Kalgoorlie's nervous for his pies, as is Fran, who says, my heart says yes, but my gut says no. Tossed up, Cameron down. Peatling nearly caught high, handball sharked. Pickpocketed by De Goey, but he hacked it forward. It's a kind bounce for Elliott. Set up in the air, and a tumbler from Tau. Jamie Elliott gets a gift. Everybody committed to the forward spin, and in the end, it's sat up in his lap. Collingwood up by 12. 13 minutes into the opening term, 2-2-14. Adelaide 2 behind. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson and 4-time showdown medalist Josh Franco.
Well, I tell you what, Jamo, we mentioned, well, probably more specifically me, we mentioned Collingwood at the start of the preview that they've been labelled slow and pedestrian-like. They look anything but that. Their pressure around the ball's been outstanding. Their ball use has been outstanding, highlighted by the fact that they're running at 74% kicking efficiency. Adelaide are down to 55%. They look sharp. Their tackle count, what are we at the moment? It's 9-5, so +4. So their ability to put pressure on Adelaide and cause turnovers has been outstanding. Then they're able to capitalise on that turnover through good ball use.
Uncontested, their Hot Pies are up by 11 and 10-4 inside 50s.
Philthorpe into the ruck, knocked it straight to Dawson, who got it to Saligo, but his kick was smothered by Long. Working hard at centre wing now was Neil Bullen, who gets the handball out to his skipper. Up the line looking for Fogarty, but Maynard did well to get a fist out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in about 75 metres around from Adelaide's goal.
Yeah, well done, Maynard. Up against Fogarty, outsized in terms of height, but just good use of the body and affected the spoil out of bounds.
Adelaide need to take the easier option at the moment too. The example, Keane coming out, went for Walker, had Peatling forward, kick went wide, and then it's 50-50 again.
So a free kick out of the ruck contest. Jordan Dawson was held without it. Plays on. He could unload from 55 here. That's what he does. Kicks towards the goal square, pulled it across the face. Flying was Fogarty. He was tunnelled and he still held on to the mark. 8 metres out, just away to the right.
Wow, what a catch.
That happened to him in the early part of the season, I think, here as well. He took a big, strong mark, landed sort of on his tailbone, and then set out for a little bit too. But another great contested mark, and somehow ended up with a 52, which takes him right to the line.
I mean, if you're going to give a 50 away, I guess you do it there, but I cannot wonder what you could possibly have been complaining about. Fogarty to the top of the goal square. It's going to be goal 38 for the season, and the first of the night for the Crows. Fogarty goes bang. and removes some fog over the Crows' start. They go to 1-2-8. Collingwood 2-2-14. We're halfway through the first quarter in this blockbuster for ABC Sport.
And Gemma, a couple of important touches there for Jordan Dawson. You talk about taking the right option. I reckon that was the right option from Dawson. Didn't try to pierce a short 50-50 inside 50. He kicked the long one, and looking at the replay, his direct matchup, Fogarty, was Maynard, was nowhere near him and had no body contact whatsoever, but gee whiz, looking at the replay, that's a super contested mark, isn't it?
Yeah, Zach Taylor was the 1-2 on Adelaide's behalf. He probably just sat in front of Braden Maynard then.
Yeah, he did it well.
Great result. Adelaide needed that desperately. Hope it doesn't affect his golf swing. He's a very good golfer, Darcy Fogarty.
You would know, Jamo. You won during the week. +4 at Glenelg. Pies by 6. Nice bounce in the middle. Phil Thorpe tried to reel it in instead of tap it. Picked off Nick Dacos. Up towards the attacking edge, broadcast side. Smith couldn't take it. Did well to gather. Scooped it up with one arm and goes for a run. Salego turned into trouble. Pushed off McCreary. Hands it back to Smith. Taylor and Salego collected for his efforts and impacts the kick out to the eastern side. Dan Houston cuts it off. Looks to the corridor to Pendlebury. Game 422. The veteran into the 50. DeGoey caught behind and a strong grab in front from Brodie Smith. He's living up to the expectations, replacing Rory Laird tonight. Collingwood by 6. Adelaide in defensive 50.
He's having a really good year, Jamo, when he's got his opportunity, hasn't he?
Yeah, he struggled last year, missed a lot of footy, but as he's come in this year, he's been exceptional in that halfback role, back pocket.
Got it to Bond, who went down the line. Centre wing, intercepted by Collingwood. Quaynor did well, handballed in board, and just taken off the footy there, Chris.
Pendlebury's having an influence too, fellas. 6 disposals already and influencing this game currently.
So Chris going up the line, looking for McStay, but Neil Bullen got in the way, so it went out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in about 70 metres from the Pies' goal. They lead by 6 points. 17.5 minutes gone for ABC Sport.
South Africa 3 for 50 after 7 overs against the Aussies in Cairns. You can hear that T20 on the ABC Listen app.
Is that one apiece at the moment?
It is. Yep. A lot of power hitting. Tossed in. Phil Thorpe won it down. At ground level, though, was Ned Long. Jams it towards the 50. Elliott presented. Couldn't control it. Cumming hands it back. Worrell buffeted off his kick. It's going to sit up at half forward, and Crisp rises above the pack. Chips it into the 50 and finds Ned Long fortuitously in space off that rebound. He's straight in front, 45 out, wants to continue to share it, and this man has the better range. Dan Houston marks, 45 out, slide angle to the left.
And once again, I reiterate that Collingwood's pressure has been outstanding, Jamo. The tackle count 10-5, inside 50s 13-5, which is translating in Collingwood's uncontested game as well. So their ability to, turn the footy over, but then able to hit targets and kick mark their way inside 50 has been outstanding.
Pantomime villain tonight. Dan Houston in his new colours gives it everything from 50. It's got a beautiful carry, and it lands straight through the big sticks. Collingwood's back up by 12. 3-2-20. Adelaide 1-2-8. Approaching time on in the opening terms. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, Adelaide's disposal out of their back 50 has really hurt them. They've turned it over on 3 occasions, and pretty much it's gone straight back over their head, and Collingwood have been able to score.
But the thing, as I said, the thing I really like about Collingwood at the moment, and I know we talked about them being slow, and that's been the general narrative throughout the week. They look anything but that. Pendlebury, the oldest player out there, he's having a huge impact as well in terms of his ability to win the ball but also use it effectively. And at the moment, Collingwood have started this game superbly, and Adelaide are looking a little bit at sea at the moment in terms of ball use and their ability to defend the turnover.
That goal was a Houston rocket. Played some good footy here, Dan Houston, at Adelaide Oval. O'Brien knocks it down. Coming through hard was Pendlebury. He hits the deck. Salego goes the handball over the top of the head. Nick Dacos grabbed it. Quick kick forward. Running out in front there is Hinge. And Smith, in fact. He's happy to see that go out over the boundary line. He had McCreary for company.
Tell you what, he was bearing down, wasn't he?
He was. His closing speed, a good pressure small forward, McCreary. Can see why he's in demand. Boundary throw in. Bit short for the ruckman, so they had to work hard. O'Brien knocks it straight down. Hinge did well, ducking and weaving. Kicks a dangerous ball through the middle of the ground, and Quaynor read it best. Plays on immediately. Dribbling ball forward towards Schultz, who went to the ground in front of Miller, who gathers at centre half back. Working now by hand is Adelaide. Saligo to Dawson to Rankin.
He's blazing up towards left half forward. Closing across, Perryman cuts him off. Darting inboard. Rankin pops it into the 50. Fogarty cops an edge late from Parker. Josh Dacos out the back door. Hands it to Quaynor. The crowd's getting restless. Out towards the eastern wing. And on the outer side, Myercheck takes it and wants to turn and go. He'll hand it to Nick Dacos. Pendlebury, rather, who slows things down. Handball over the top looking for Schultz. It's an awkward bounce and rolls over in front of the Bashir stand. Boundary throw in to come true centre wing. Collingwood by 12.
Great defensive work there. Markeen just squatted on him and just had to. He made the decision and didn't want to give it up. Wayward handball. But again, Isaac Rankin, he had Fogarty, just that 30-metre kick inside 50. But he went for the harder of the two.
Yeah, a bit indecisive, Jamo. Pressure's on. It's hot at Adelaide Oval. Another clearance going the way of Collingwood. Long to Pendlebury. An end-over-end kick. So a good grab in the end from McCrea at centre-half forward. He's going to unload from 55. That's a floating ball. Just didn't get the connection on it. Wasn't to the advantage of Myercheck. And Keane takes the intercept mark at full-back. Goes short to Miller, to Rankin, who's worked his way all the way back to defence.
Just his second disposal, Rankin.
Collingwood by 12. Rankin to a 2-on-2 on the outer side. Dawson committed early. Didn't get the hang time he wanted. Awkward bounce. Cameron's wrapped up by O'Brien. Crowd want a free kick. Play continues. Smith whips a handball out to Fogarty. Neil Bourne's kick smothered. Dacos can't keep it in. Boundary throw in to come in front of the Williams stand. Dan from East Perth's wondering why the Crows fans are booing Dan Houston. The showdown last year when he played for Port Adelaide, he cleaned up Isaac Rankin. He was suspended for multiple weeks, missed the opening round.
3 games.
This season, yep. Tossed in, O'Brien down. Just missed Rankin. It was a hot tap. Does lay the tackle, though, the big ruckman.
That was outstanding.
That was strong as he holds up to Goey. Ball up to come on the eastern side.
His follow-up work, won the tap, missed Rankin, took out to Goey.
Out of the stoppage, Nick Dacos gets a 5-metre toe poke towards Pendlebury. Here's the half volley from De Goey into the 50. What a placement. Send him to the EPL. He's hit Tim Membry straight in front, 40 from home.
What I will say is, looking at all the mid-stoppages, so between the 50-metre arcs, Pendlebury is by himself every single time. And as I said, he's having a huge impact. He's had 9 disposals, 5 kicks, 4 handballs. He's running at 60% kicking efficiency, but he's been left unattended at every single stoppage. So they've got to do something about him in terms of nullifying his ability to win the ball at the stoppage and move the ball ahead of the ball and forward for Collingwood.
In comes Tim Membry. Powerful strike. It's sitting up on the goal line and through for his second. Membry doubles up early. Collingwood up by a game-high 18 points. 4-2-26. Adelaide 1-2-8. Time on in the opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco.
Well, on 2 occasions, Collingwood have just kept the footy alive and made it ugly, and it's just gone forward, and the virtue of being in front has been advantageous to Collingwood. They've been able to score on both occasions. Now they have kicked their 4 goals, but 2 of those have come from intercept and 1 has come from a stoppage, and the other one is just an ugly ball going in.
And I must admit, we talk about Tim Membry. Was lucky enough to be involved with him at the Sydney Swans. He's one of the best set shots in the competition. Just does not miss, particularly from that range.
He launches himself at the footy too.
He does that.
We expected a response from the Pies, and we've got it here at Adelaide Oval, back in the middle of the ground. They're just dominating through the midfield. Dacos takes on 3 players. Handballs to Pendlebury. Got himself in a bit of a phone box. Back to Quaynor now. The inside 50 comes. Myercheck's in front. Roving was Lipinski. O'Brien's in there as well. And we'll have a ball up 35 from goal.
I'd almost say that they almost need to put a caller on Pendlebury. Maybe a Dawson or something like that, because he's up to 10 disposals.
But shouldn't you be 1-on-1 anyway at worst and just negate or just shut him down for 3 or 4 minutes until you bring the game back into balance?
O'Brien with a clearing fist. Lipinski fumbled at the attacking 50. Neil Bullen rushes a kick up towards the eastern side. Whistle, push. Free kick, Darcy Cameron.
Talk about the dominance of Collingwood as well. Inside 50, 16-6. Dominating field position at the minute, the Pies.
The ruckman will hand it off to Braden Maynard. We may get a look in, or not him, Taylor Walker for pushing him. And Darcy Fogarty took that mark earlier in the quarter. Maynard thumps it high and long. Huge fly from Murray to get a fist in. Whacks it back where it came from. 3-on-3, throw a blanket over them. Lipinski tries to get it out. Handball smothered. Peatling gets it to Neil Bullen. Check side, back towards the wing. Berry committed. Too high for him. Out the back is Frampton. Maynard now dodges out of trouble. Kick wasn't 15 to Houston. And Philthorpe saw blood. He barrels in. That was a heavy tackle, and we'll get a ball up just wide of the logo on centre wing.
Berry first, and then Philthorpe, all 200 centimetres of him.
The gang tackle, knocked down by Cameron. Dawson went without it. Dacos playing for the high free kick, nothing doing, and we'll do it all again.
And once again, I'm just looking at this stoppage. Pendlebury's all by himself here.
Very good call, Tom.
In the corridor.
Oh, that is so frickin' soft.
So Dacos wins a free kick. I didn't see that one, Jamo.
Brodie Smith just pushed him in the chest, and Dacos just went to his knees.
So the shove, and he goes the torpedo inside the forward 50. It almost flew to the back of the pack. It did to Keane, who got it to Taylor. Went the 1-2. Good pressure. McCreary forced him out of bounds. And we'll have a throw in. The Crows on the back foot big time.
That's the benefit of having McCreary in your forward 50 as well. Normally that ball would be exited from Adelaide, but his ability to close with speed was superb, McCreary.
50,000 in the house, getting restless. Collingwood by 3 goals. O'Brien taps it down. Pack collapses. Fans want it in the back.
But restless, the fans, aren't they?
McCreary on top of Millera.
Understandable, Josh.
Yeah.
Free kicks 5-2 in favour of Collingwood.
Ball up 40 out, Pies 50. McStay gets a couple of bites at it, slapped it towards Millera. He's brought down immediately. McCreary just guiding him to the turf.
And Collingwood set up really well here behind the foot. He got Darcy Moore in the middle of the ground as that wicket keeper. Tough to penetrate.
Pies by 18, 2 to go. Tapped down by Cameron, looking for Nick Dacos. Overran it. Awkward bounce off the back of the boot. Taylor now towards Fogarty. The Crows with a tumbler towards centre wing. It was not a great effort from Darcy Fogarty. Straight line towards the boundary and pinged for insufficient intent. Back in immediately. Frampton gave it off to Perryman. Long drive that's off hands and rolls out 45 from home. Have a listen. Well, they're not happy at the Adelaide Oval.
So boundary throw-ins coming 40 metres in the right forward flank for the Pies. They've had 19 inside 50s to 6. Total domination so far. Can they capitalise again? Cameron down, running through was Chris. Tackled by Dawson, handballed forward to McCreary, who went without it. On top of the footy is Peatling. And we'll have a ball up 35 from goal.
Having a look at this stoppage as well, looks like Taylor's come up and now's got the job on Pendlebury, which means Collingwood have got +2 behind the ball.
McStay knocks it down. Dawson got Rankin as a runner who manages to get it on his right foot. Playing in front was side bottom. Fogarty had 2 to beat, and the veterans got it. 65 from goal to Pendlebury. He's owned the footy this quarter. He's got options running forward. Philthorpe working back, got a hand in important. Keys handball to Peatling. He went to don't argue. Running across centre half back, and he just kicks for space. There's no one out there. A foot race now. The bounce of the ball favours Quain, or he knocks it to himself. Took on Bond in the tackle. Handballs forward to Houston. Inside 50 again. Top of the goal square. McStay brought it to the front. Roved his own ball. Chucked it on the left and missed. A great individual effort away to the left. Minus score 4-3-27. Adelaide 1-2-8. Late in the first quarter, Braden Ingram.
I understand the restlessness amongst the faithful. This has got hallmarks of 2 weeks ago against the Hawks, and they only managed a goal in the first term. Hasn't quite been the Avalanche and the Pies, but the pressure, they're clearly feeling it.
There's some history as well. So Isaac Rankin pinged for running too far last year in a close game, and then Jordan Dawson caught high, wasn't paid the year prior. You'd understand that fans are a little bit worried about the combination of Collingwood and umpiring.
I think Matthew Nix would be happy, though. Adelaide's defence is clearly on top in all the metrics, except for the tackles. Collingwood are 10 tackles inside their 50s to Adelaide 5.
And Gemma, they've had to defend 21 inside 50s for the quarter.
Hit and hope down the line from Cumming is picked off by Maynard. He bangs it back where it came from, and Miller floats across to stick a fist in.
You just sort of sense, though, if those numbers keep trending, the dam wall will break at some stage. But as you said, they have held up pretty well.
They've just got it in there at every opportunity and quick.
Yep.
Collingwood.
On the text line, Ray says, listening from the Riverland, Collingwood have brought their own umpires.
What about metres gained? 1,700 to Collingwood, 1,100 to Adelaide.
Pies by 19, tossed in. Quick tackle late on Lipinski.
That's a massive differential.
So ball up left half back for the Crows, right half forward for the Pies. Both ruckmen miss it. Cameron gets it on the bounce, kicks it up and under, and then gets his own footy again. Volleyball spike up towards the 50. Nick Dacos is there, clean to Lipinski, but he didn't need to rush his delivery. Tried to squeeze a kick through the stoppage and out on the full. Free kick Adelaide, down 19, closing in on quarter time.
They're almost down more in inside 50s. 16 differential it is, 22-6.
Staggering.
So defence is holding up enough for now. When will the dam wall burst?
Yeah, and they need that quarter-time siren to go, Adelaide, don't they? It's almost the rope-a-dope in boxing. They're just absorbing the pressure, but they need the bell to go.
Round one.
Yep.
So we've got a boundary throw in. There was a push off the footy. Maynard trying to play for the free kick, nothing doing. So a boundary throw in front of the Collingwood bench. Cameron knocks it forward to the advantage of Crisp. Peatling overrun it, gets it to Nick Dacos, another inside 50. Flying was Bond. He brought it to the front of the pack. Handball to Hinge to Miller. Works it way out for the moment, but Cameron did well, and there was a mark there. And Thilthorpe running on by, knocked it out of his hands. 50-metre penalty.
That's tough. Who was the one that texted in and said that they bought their own umpires?
That was Ray.
Ray won't be happy with that. That was in the marking contest. Oh, hang on. No, I've seen the replay.
So Cameron was paid the mark, and he'd had it just long enough, and Thilthorpe was running on by. He would have felt like it was in the contest, but he's knocked it out of his hands. The siren goes. A kick after the siren.
That was fair enough. I take back what I said. Phil thought you can't do that.
So Collingwood have been totally dominant. 24 inside 50s to 6 in this opening term. They lead by 19 points, and Darcy Cameron has a kick from 35 metres out on a slight angle to the right. A huge moment on the quarter-time siren. The ruckman comes in, drop punt from 35, and they get around him. He smashed it straight through the middle. What a statement from Collingwood. They go to 5-3-33. Adelaide on the back foot massively, 1-2-8, 25-point margin at quarter time. The Pies have come to play.
Goal scorers at the first change. 2 to Membry, singles to Cameron, Houston, Elliott, and for the Crows, Darcy, Fogarty. It is Adelaide's demon coming right back to life. Collingwood have always been their bogey side, and this is exactly the response that Craig McRae threatened after last week's loss to the Hawks. The Pies by 25 points at the first change. It is great to have you with us on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and the ABC Listen app for Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Hi, I'm Corbin Middlemass.
And I'm Ed Cowan.
He played Test cricket for Australia.
And Ed Cowan gets his first Test match century.
And he commentates the cricket.
Stark tries again. He rocks him straight through him. Together, we're giving you your weekly cricket conversation.
We're pulling apart the biggest stories in the sport and delivering them to you each and every week.
It's called the Grandstand Cricket Podcast. Find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
These are the games that you wait all year for. A heavyweight clash with top 4 implications. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. It's Adelaide and Collingwood. Chris gives it off to Pendlebury, lowers the eyes, and the veteran strikes. As he shares it with Schultz, they're everywhere, queuing up. Schultz will turn from 40 and deliver it lace out to Membry, 25 out, straight in front. What a recruit Tim Membry's been. 28 goals for the year. Crosses the paint of 50. Membry with a straight line strike. Collingwood have the first goal here at the Adelaide Oval. Worrell buffeted off his kick. It's going to sit up at half forward, and Crisp rises above the pack. Chips it into the 50 and finds Ned Long. Wants to continue to share it, and this man has the better range. Dan Houston marks, 45 out. Slight angle to the left. Pantomime Millen tonight. Dan Houston in his new colours gives it everything from 50. It's got a beautiful carry, and it lands straight through the big sticks. Collingwood's back up by 12. Out of the stoppage, Nick Dacos gets a 5-metre toe poke towards Pendlebury. Here's the half volley from De Goey into the 50. What a placement. Send him to the EPL. He's hit Tim Membry. Powerful strike. It's sitting up on the goal line and through for his second. Membry doubles up early.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
.333, Adelaide 1-2-8. It is the fourth time in their past 8 meetings with the Pies that the Crows have kicked just one goal in the first quarter. But history says it always ends up being a single-digit margin, so there's still plenty to play for here at the Adelaide Oval. Bit of cricket on tonight as well. South Africa 3 for 101 in the 11th over after being sent in by Australia. That's the third T20 in Cairns. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the cricket button. Earlier, the Giants defeated the Suns by 35 points to leapfrog them up in the ladder, so they now move towards 6th. And Carlton defeated Port Adelaide by 54. Hawthorn knocked off Melbourne by 36 to jump into 5th as well. Bit of a narrative as well coming out of the first quarter. Darcy Fogarty's only goal for Adelaide. In the backdrop of it, Taylor Walker, big shove on Braden Maynard into the contest. Maynard wasn't hurt, but Dylan Shield was suspended 1 game for that last week. Any case to answer, Josh Franco?
I think there always is when you start pushing players. That's obviously one of the new rules which has come into the AFL, and if you start doing that, then you're playing with fire. Simple as that.
Jamo?
I think it'll be looked at.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Like what you've seen last week, even if you push your own teammate in to a contest, you can still get wiped out. So it will probably get looked at.
Yeah. On the text line, Paul in Barley's loving the call. Says, go Crows. Brett in Canberra. I think the Pies and the Lions are still the best 2 teams in the competition, and they bring the pressure when it matters most. And the Bill says the Crows must get down and dirty. What'd you make of the first quarter, Josh?
Well, look, it was almost a carbon copy of the Adelaide Hawthorn game a couple of weeks ago. First quarter, almost the shock and awe tactics of Collingwood. They were impressive. They were outstanding. And talk about intensity, pressure around the ball and on the ball carry was unbelievable. Talked about looking slow last week. They looked sharp and they actually looked really fast. Putting McCreary back into the side, he's added that dynamic to the group as well. And I guess conversely, what Collingwood have done to Adelaide is that they've looked really rushed with their disposal. They haven't had any real clean ball movement. The inside 50s at the moment, it's only 24-6, so dominating field position. And at the moment, they're dominating this contest. Probably the margin, as you said, Jamo, the back 6 for Adelaide have held up pretty well. The margin probably should be a lot greater than what it currently is.
The disposal out of defence is the concern for me if I'm an Adelaide supporter, looking at how they've got it out. They've normally been very solid around that. They need to select the easier option, probably a little bit fumbly, need more football from the midfield, but these Collingwood just pressure all around the ground has been very good.
Yep.
Sold out crowd, top 4 clash. Scott Pendlebury with 11 touches in the first quarter as well. Collingwood by 25. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Josh Franco, Rod Jamieson with you. It was an awkward bounce that exited the circle, but play will continue. Dacos is tracking it. That's Nick. Throws his body in up against Hinge. Couldn't reel the footy in. Picked off by Saligo. Retreats with the handball off towards Worrell. Now shares it with Hinge at centre half back. Drills a bullet low to his skipper. Dawson near the centre circle. Gives it everything. Long, penetrating kick off hands of Frampton. Tracked by Thilthorpe. Walker comes in with the tackle. Frampton makes amends. Kicks out towards right half back, but Smith is in front position. Beats Lipinski and wants to go. Brodie Smith pulls the trigger from 55, but it's coming back. He wasn't on his line.
See how there, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Collingwood players onto 2. They get back, they seek back. So there are so many free Adelaide players up forward of the play. They need to lower their eyes if they're going to be efficient going into their forward 50.
50 flooded now, but Brodie Smith is pinpoint. That is a perfect pass. Lays it towards Darcy Fogarty, who's charging out of the square. And he takes it 40 from home. Slight angle to the left.
Well, I think the other thing as well on that occasion is Collingwood didn't have any of their mids defending that little leading lane that Darcy Fogarty was able to lead up into. So poor defensive mechanisms there from Collingwood. But to your point, Jamo, lowered his eyes and hit that target. Well played.
He's been second fiddle to Phil Thorpe the last couple of weeks. Darcy Fogarty tonight, though. Here's rocking and rolling early. He's got 2. Adelaide strike first in the second term. Margins down to 19. 5-3-33 the Pies. The Crows 2-2-14. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Rod Jamison and Josh Franco.
It's much better across the half-back line, albeit Collingwood were able to get it to go forward. Adelaide were able to win it back. They came back into the middle. The short kick, I think, from Hinge or Worrell straight to Dawson, and then quick deep into their forward 50, which puts enormous pressure on any defence.
Let's go to Braden Ingram on the boundary.
The poncho dance has started amongst the fans. They're coming out because the rain has started, and it's probably just going to get heavier.
Great start for Adelaide. Maybe the Riverbank end is the scoring end at Adelaide Oval this week. Trailing by 19 points, the Crows. Back in the middle of the ground. This bounce favours O'Brien, knocks it towards Dawson, who's being held as he contends the footy. Play on, says the umpire. Good chase from De Goey. Forced a handball from Dawson to Rankin. He was tackled to the ground as he kicked, and Sidebottom knocked that directly towards the boundary, and the umpire saw it, even though he was behind the action. And that'll keep the Crows fans happy for the moment to start this second quarter. So Isaac Cumming got it on the interchange gates, plays on, threads the needle inside forward 50, looking for Walker, and floating back in front of that contest was Cameron, who kicked that big important goal on the quarter time siren.
Repaying the faith is his mantra. Signed on for 3 years with the Magpies after he got picked up as a former Sydney Swan. Hands it dicingly across the goal face to Frampton. Wolves were closing in from Murphy. Impacts his disposal. O'Brien cuts it off right half forward. Hands it to Dawson. He runs back into the ruckman, who's trying to find some room. Has to go back to Worrell. High up and under into the 50. No one really commits. Out the back is Maynard. Hands it to Sidebottom for the Pies. Parker under some pressure, coughs it up. Dawson cannon into. They fell forward. It'll be a ball up inside 50.
Sort of just feel that Adelaide's pressure's lifted to start this second quarter. Jamo, it had to. Isaac dominated that first quarter, but Adelaide definitely have lifted their intensity.
Ball up at right half forward, backing back from the contest was O'Brien. His kick was smothered. Hands out towards Jordan De Goey for Collingwood. Hands to Long, who took on the tackle of Beatling. Swung 360, flicked it back to De Goey. Chucked it on the left boot up towards Keane. Flying over the top was McStain. He's cleaned up Keane. Keane has stayed down. In the meantime, Hinge goes inside the forward 50, finds the chest of Walker, who'll kick from about 50 metres out, just slightly to the right.
Incredibly brave going back. He was committed in the contest. Looks like probably more winded than anything, but well done. Adelaide were able to recover. And again, that small, short, 30-metre kick to the lead coming forward, which will penetrate the defence of Collingwood.
So Keane still down on his haunches in the foreground. In a brave play. In the meantime, Taylor Walker fresh from arrest from outside 50. And he smashed that one through, and the Crows get 2 to start the second quarter. Taylor Walker delivers. Adelaide 3-2-20. Collingwood 5-3-33. 5 minutes gone in the second quarter for ABC Sport. Braden Ingram.
They built him tough in Ireland. He had a quick chat to the trainers, Mark Keane, and as soon as that Tex goal went through, he stood up and gave a big fist pump. Tex came over to him, and he's all good. Mark Keane back on his feet, hanging into the defence.
Well, it's only early. 5 inside 50s to 0 in this quarter. Adelaide going at 78% kicking efficiency. Collingwood have had 12 disposals, 8 handballs, 4 kicks, 0.
Well, that's almost the blueprint of how Adelaide played. The pressure on the ball, forced the hat kick forward. They were set up really well defensively behind the ball, affected the turnover. And to your point that you've been making, Jamo, I think it was Hinge's kick inside 50, lowering their eyes to hit Walker on the chest. That's the Adelaide we know.
Crows by 13 points on ABC Sport. Beautiful bounce. O'Brien stays down. Tapped it looking for Peatling. Towed out of there by Long. Bounces for De Goey, who's bursting out of the middle into the 50. Looking for McStay. Juggled. Couldn't reel it in against Murray. Head over the footy is Hinge. Handed off to Saligo. Gee, the brick wall just crunched him. De Goey tries to rip it out. Looked for Elliott. Didn't quite hit him. Peatling can't wrench it away. And we'll get a ball up 40 from home.
Tell you what, Murray did well there, didn't he? That one-on-one contest didn't give away a free kick, but it was able to affect the spoil. Well played.
Collingwood's 50 scoreless in this second quarter. O'Brien down. DeGoey left it behind. O'Brien, the big man, tries to get down amongst a flurry of bodies. Can't find the footy. And Crisp lays up Berry. We'll get another ball up inside Collingwood's attacking 50.
Umpire wastes no time. O'Brien knocks that down towards Cumming. Quick kick off the left boot. Finds the chest of Fogarty out in front of Frampton. Defensive side of centre wing for the Crows.
Some of these contests are like watching a bullfight, really. It's just, isn't it? Like heads down and just straight at it.
So Fogarty up the line. Rankin did well, 2-on-1, gathered the footy, handball to Murphy, to Peatling, a chaos ball inside the forward 50. Neil Bullen gathered to Walker, over the top to Curtin. They're back. They are back, Josh Franco. That's 3 in a row to start the second term. And it's reminding us of that night against the Hawks. A slow start, but a big start to the second quarter. Adelaide 4-2-26. Collingwood 5-3-33. 7.5 minutes gone second term.
I'm not advocating for slow starts. However, it's just what I'm loving about this team of Adelaide is their ability to be able to find different ways. We spoke about their win last week against West Coast and how everyone feels they should have just belted them. And it looks like here too, Darcy Cameron looks like he might be coming off for the blood rule. Great.
Just got a cut above his right eye, so it doesn't look to have any issues concussion-wise. We'll just go off and get that treated quickly.
So Daniel McStay into the ruck for Collingwood, so an opportunity for Adelaide. But once again, just their ability to be able to pick their way, find a way, and get back in the game.
Collingwood are up by 25 points at the first break. Adelaide go bang, bang, bang. 7 points now the deficit. O'Brien taps it down, looking for Berry. Pendlebury's there. Good swat. Knocked it wide towards McStay. Back towards the 50 for Collingwood. Elliott flies. Couldn't clunk it. Keane rushes the exit straight to side bottom. On the broadcast wing. Backtracks close to the logo.
And that's the kick where Adelaide need to do it better when they come out of defence.
Side bottom sets it up. 20 from home. Straight line. Myercheck couldn't reel it in. Again, Elliott's there as he hops up, gathers the footy, and is tackled for his troubles. Bond gets him and will get a ball up, 25 out.
He's incredibly lively, isn't it? In the air, he's so dangerous, but so quick on the ground.
O'Brien knocks it down from the contest. Peatling got a hand in there as Worrell went to kick. He was tackled by Elliott. At the bottom of the pack is Bond.
You talk about a change in the game as well. Looking at kicking efficiency of Collingwood, this just highlights the pressure that Adelaide's able to apply. They're running at 38% at the moment, so Adelaide definitely lifted their work rate and intensity.
A quick kick forward from Crisp. Read best by Cumming, who takes the intercept mark. The switch is on to Keane at fullback. He's been in the wars tonight. Goes out wider to Millerer in the left back pocket.
Right in front of the scoreboard. Barely a free seat in the house. Millerer up towards the eastern side, slipped through the midst of Curtin. Neil Bullen with the assist at the back, but he's sold Curtin into trouble in the sandwich. He's escorted over the line, and a boundary throw in near the Odie stand. Collingwood by 7 here in this second quarter, but it's been all Adelaide. 3 unanswered goals so far. Earlier today, the Giants winners by 35 points up into 6th, and Hawthorn winners up against the Demons. They're up into 5th. Tossed in. Pendlebury falls into the footy. Berry around him. Ball up close towards the centre square on the eastern side. O'Brien wrestling with McStay. Neither ruck gets a clean tap. Falconed O'Brien towards Long. Left it behind. Saligo brought down. Whistle stays away. Curtin missed his boot. Bounces towards Schultz. Handball. Picked off. Murphy thrusts it back. Peatling inboard now to Millerer. Takes on Nick Dacos and gets away from him. 100-metre sprint towards the corridor. Kick is perfect to Neil Bullen. On the bounce, the handball to Cumming. Breaks through 2 tackles but missed Walker. Moore comes the other way to meet it for the Pies. They've got the numbers in defence. Josh Dacos weaves his way to the eastern side, but Hinge is in front of Houston. Cuts it off. Wants to go. Kick is horrific. In the wet, tried his best to flirt with the boundary line and banged it into the Riverbank stand.
It's the rain just coming down nice and steady at the moment, making it difficult for both teams.
So Dacos will take the free kick, right back pocket for Collingwood. They lead by 7 points. We're up by 25 at quarter time. Kick down the line. O'Brien knocks it down. Gathered by Long. Gets it to Crisp. He was worried out of it in the end. Curtin. Handball back over the top of his head. Schultz goes again. Kicks it forward for Collingwood. Up towards centre wing. The numbers with the Crows. Pulled off the footy there was Bond. Free kick against Myercheck. So he's got a defensive side of centre wing for Adelaide.
This game has been flipped on its head again. I'm just talking in terms of the pressure that Adelaide are able to apply to Collingwood. The quick kick forward set up really well behind the footy.
A shocking kick there from Keeney. Literally kicked it straight to Myercheck, uncontested. He marked on the logo. Goes short now to Houston.
3-on-1 he went to. The kick had to get over the top. He was unable to. He had two options in the middle or coming out to the outer side.
Houston lowered the eyes late. His setup looked like it was going to be a rocket and then checked it. 45 out. Well-placed pass towards the Gavin Wanganeen stand, and Lockie Schultz has it close to the paint of 50 and believes he's in range.
He almost gave the Adelaide defenders the false cue, didn't he?
Yes.
He was going to bang it long, top of the square, but then just pulled it short. Smart play.
Lockie Schultz tries to arc around the man on the mark. Ends up hooking it to the top of the goal square. Fist came in from O'Brien. Bounces loopy towards Nick Dacos. Brushes the tackle of Neil Bourne, but loses his feet. Tackled by Bond. Pops out to McCreary. Slides a kick towards Membry. 20 from home. The snap's a tumbler. Adelaide have a couple of goalkeepers. Hinges there on the behind line and takes his time looking for an option. Finally barrels it out of there. Murphy against Frampton. I'll give you a guess who won. Collingwood with the footy on the eastern side.
Playing okay, Billy Frampton.
He's going all right. Apart from that out in the full early in the first quarter, he's been pretty solid.
Switches it to the skipper and Darcy Moore. Full switch on to Quaynor on the logo. To Perryman now. Just forward of centre wing. Members side of the ground. The recruit from GWS pops this one up into the forward line. Coming over the top was Miller. The ball got out the back. Elliott's there. Myercheck. He ran over the top of the ball. Elliott with his head over the footy. Tackled by Bond and Worrell. Will have a ball up 20 metres out from the Pies' goal.
They lead by 7. Looking to stem the bleeding after Adelaide's hot start in the second quarter. Tossed up. Myercheck does the ruck work against O'Brien. Beaten. Bounces though. Out towards Long. He was looking for McCreary. Intercepted by Miller. Couple of tackles late and we'll try again. 25 from home for Collingwood.
Both teams have actually done pretty well in their defensive areas not to give away frees. Players coming flying through at the contest.
Front position, Myercheck wins it this time. Tap straight to Berry though. Wrapped up immediately. We'll try one more time in Collingwood's 50. It's a finals-like atmosphere. High pressure. A lot of class. A lot of highlights. Tossed up, O'Brien tries to fist it out of there. Miller quickly tackled by McCreary. Berry breaks through one, lost his feet. Tackled by Crisp, nearly scooped up by Elliott. He's tackled by Bonds. Another boundary, a ball up rather, 40 from home. So I'll release it over to Tom Wilson to see if he can get some territory out of here.
That's where you need the third man up rule to come back in, Jamo. Just clear the area.
Totally agree.
So O'Brien just took it out of the ruck, handballed over the top towards Keys. Got it on his left foot, not to the advantage of his teammate. But gathering there was Saligo on the hands and knees. Back to Keys now, to Peatling. Now we've got some run for Adelaide. Miller over the top to Murphy, who marks on his chest. He played on but slipped over and then was tackled holding the ball by Billy Frampton. Keys is trying to play on here. He handballed over the top. And Murphy's saying he didn't play on. So let's watch the replay. I think he took a couple of steps there, Josh Franco, and when he slipped over... That had to be holding the ball.
Looking at the replay, he did slip over and Frampton actually knocked the footy out of his hand. I think the umpire's got that wrong.
So Frampton up towards centre half forward. Fogarty's worked his way back there, gets the intercept. His quick kick though didn't hit the target. Found Will Parker for Collingwood, true centre wing.
Lockie Murphy, the most maligned man in the state. That wouldn't have helped his case for the Crows fans. Will Parker. Young man up towards the 50 for Collingwood. Dawson got in front, knocked out of his hands by Cameron. He pleaded for a free kick and got the footy anyway. Bounced back to him. Dawson links up with Taylor. Looks to the broadcast wing. Keys one out there. Battling with McCreary and he's too good.
What a catch.
And Malcolm Blight, medalist, back with the flight almost with a man. Takes the mark. Dinks at 15 to Walker. He's too far out to score at right half forward.
It's too slow. Alex Neil-Bullen had Darcy Moore. It was a real match-up.
Walker now has to send it into the pocket. Plenty of bodies on the drop. Quaino's there at the back. Hands it to Parker, then side bottom. Left back pocket. Looks to send it where it came from, and Walker's there again. A little bit closer than last time, but now he wants to go, and his kick is miserable. He has blown it. Looking in Bordeaux, who's made amends. That is a huge assist. Tackling Schultz. It should have been holding the ball. They called play on, and McCreary's run away with it because everybody stopped. McCreary to Nick Dacos, links up with Schultz. Adelaide have been caught flat-footed. The crowd incensed. Nick Dacos, central pass, net long, straight in front, sprays it. And the footy gods do exist. It'll be a boundary thrown in front of the scoreboard. They'll be rioting soon if it continues this way.
That was a strange bit of play, wasn't it? Did Dawson just stop, didn't play to the whistle?
Yeah, because he's gone to kick at Schultz and he's missed it. And everyone's looking at the umpire waiting for holding the ball.
Yeah.
Just play to the whistle.
Again, incorrect disposal.
Boundary throw in. Thilthorpe in the ruck. Knocks it down towards Dawson. Gathered by Pendlebury. Just dropped the footy. Play on, says the umpire. Side bottom. Kicks a check side off the left boot to the top of the goal square. Murray's working back. Got a hand in there. And Long will see it out over the boundary line in front of the scoreboard. Oh, it's testing here at Adelaide Oval.
This is where I'm an advocate for. Someone has to be upstairs looking at that, blow the whistle. Like 5 seconds later, we've seen that. Just blow the whistle, incorrect, go back, start from there.
Collingwood by 7. They haven't scored in this second quarter, but are now inside 50. Tossed in, 20 out. Thilthorpe with a fist. Lipinski was there, handed it to Chris. Tried the underground and Long. Nowhere near his target. The crowd cheekily tried to ask for insufficient. Boundary throw in front of the scoreboard.
I think both sides just want to get it right.
So you think they could bring it back in that case?
Totally. Like 5 seconds later, we saw it on the replay here. It was clearly the incorrect decision.
Tossed in, Thilthorpe down to Dawson. Was tracking the footy, left it, was tackled without it. Crowd wanted the free kick. Quick kick for Collingwood. Meanwhile, Pendlebury went for home. It was across the face and intercepted by Murray.
Goes across goal to Miller, left back pocket. This is their exit strategy often here, the Crows. Gets it to Curtin at left half back.
They have to come inside now. Nothing down the line.
So Berry was working for him, but he's going to go a little bit further to the shortest man on the ground, Murphy, in front of Thilthorpe. Thilthorpe counted into his teammate, gathered the footy and was wrapped up immediately by 3 pies. We'll have a ball up. Defensive side of centre wing. Bit of an arm wrestle now in this second term. Adelaide trail by 7 points.
Thilthorpe hasn't touched the football in this second quarter.
Holding free kick in the stoppage. Thilthorpe impedes. Darcy Cameron with the free kick.
Either is Jamie Elliott.
It's bubbling over here at the Adelaide Oval. Fans are on their feet in anger. Collingwood by 7. Darcy Cameron into the 50. Flying was Membry. 2 to beat. Off hands. Trickles out of the arc. Picked up by Chris, but Dawson breathing down his neck. Josh Dacos comes in, hands it to Pendlebury. Off balance, high back into the 50. High check couldn't get towards the drop. Ricochets out towards Barry. Saligo pushes off Lipinski with ease, but again rushes the kick to the wing. Bounces towards the Bashir stand. Bit of time for Cameron to pick it up for the Pies. Hands it to Nick Dacos, and he'll arc him board.
Takes a bounce. What a wonder it is to watch him play live. Goes short to Maynard. Out wide to the other Dacos in Josh.
14 disposals for Nick.
Going at 60%, 7 inside 50s.
Here is again.
So chip back over the top to Nick from Josh.
He just doesn't stop working.
Love to see the tracker on him. Goes short to Pendlebury, who's all on his own 65 from goal. There's no one on the mark. So he's going to kick inside the forward 50, looking for De Goey. Got the hands up. Worried out of it in the end. Good pressure there from Berry. Oh, it's a free kick. No, hasn't been plucked. It has.
Yeah, to Goey, I think, for high contact.
Touch on the top of the head there.
Oh, no, he's played a push in the back, I think.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, where's he pulled that from?
Surprised everyone there. Really hard to explain that one. But De Goey can explain that he's on the boundary line, 35 metres out. He's going the check side. Goes for home, and he had too much bend on that one. That's the first score of the second term for Collingwood. It's a minor one. They go to 5-4-34. Adelaide's 4-2-26. It took them 21 minutes, Aaron Bryans.
Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us for this heavyweight clash. Seesawing momentum. Collingwood back on the board and up by 8. Worrell hands it off to Hinge. Out to the eastern side, picked off. Houston got in front of Curtin. Flares it up towards Long. Attacking edge. Had a runner. Josh Dacos nearly collected. Did enough. Got it to Cripps. Here's Long. He's barreled into. Bulldozer tackle from Keys. And too high on James Peatling as the ball popped out. Pendlebury's not happy. Peatling will take it for the Crows and the crowd with the Bronx cheer. Pops it wide to Fogarty. He's in front of the Odie stand. Back inboard, Dan Curtin. Little stat for Scott Pendlebury tonight. So game 422, but just his 12th time playing at Adelaide Oval. Dan Curtin.
He doesn't have too many frequent fly points, does he?
Goes for a run and turns it over. Down the line into the hole right where Frampton was, but that's because O'Brien was held. Free kick going the way of Taylor Walker in the end.
Peatling on Schultz. He's calling for it deep.
The Texan in front of the Williams stand. Drives it towards the goal square. Fly from Taylor. Got a fist in late. Neil Bullen's there. Fogarty barrels through one. Dances past another. Hands it to Berry. Got boot to ball. It's rolling to the goal square. Schultz under pressure. Knocks it through. Minor score. They want to deliver it, but he did have a man next to him.
Yeah.
And Collingwood's lead back to 7. Closing stages of the second term on ABC Sport.
Collingwood were good there. They were under siege. Fogarty looked like he was going to bust about 5 tackles, but did it well.
Josh Dacos from the kick in. Up the line in front was Smith. He was barreled over. No free kick. The quick kick goes forward from Collingwood. Worrell's going to be keen to keep this in front of his own interchange gate. Goes in board to Dawson on the corner of the square. Misses his target. Gathered cleverly off the half volley by Taylor. The switch is on now from Dawson at centre half back. Gets it to Murray. Over the top to Curtin. True centre wing. Plays on now. Long ball towards Walker. Playing behind Moore. In the best spot. Another player came in there. Houston, and he knocked it out of his hands and he's won the 50. Clever.
Had to be paid, didn't it, Tom?
That was actually really silly, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
He was just going back to his mark and Houston just ran by and with his left hand just knocked it away.
We saw one paid earlier against Thilthorpe. That was the one on the quarter-time siren. And Darcy Cameron kicked the goal. Well, Walker's being marched to the top of the goal square. So he's going to kick his second. The 4th of the term for Adelaide. And it is absolutely game on at Adelaide Oval. The Riverbank end is the scoring end. Adelaide a 5-3-33. Collingwood 5-4-34. 24 minutes gone. Braden Ingram for ABC Sport.
Well, that Houston free kick brought the Crows fans to their feet. That's really the most involved we've seen them in the game so far, and they're 4 to 5 deep standing room here in this Western stand. So now that this game's so close, expecting to hear them even louder in this heading towards half-time.
Uncontested football. Adelaide have taken 26 marks to 16 in this quarter alone. 4-goal 1-1 behind and 200 more metres gained.
And they just look threatening when they go inside 50, Adelaide, at the moment. Conversely, Collingwood, the 10 inside 50s for just the 1 point, really struggling to hit the scoreboard.
Thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco on ABC Sport. The Pies are up by 25. It's just a point now. O'Brien paddles it towards the eastern side. Whistle, free kick, Collingwood. Who else? Scott Pendlebury dances past Dawson. Goes for a run up to half forward. Kick towards Membry. Juggled it down towards McStay. Fumbled. Peatling caught high by Sidebottom on the drop.
They've been good, the back 6, Jamo.
Yeah.
For Adelaide, they've been really rock solid.
At the drop as well.
In the air, and you're right, the drop of the ball as well.
Shares it wide to Keane in the right back pocket. Rain has been persistent across the night. Collingwood by a point. Keane up towards centre wing. Walker coming late. O'Brien knocked it away from Dawson. Won't matter. Walker gathers. Rolled a tumbler that ricochets off Frampton's shins. Straight to Berry, who marches to half forward. Keys uses the body 30 from home. He's battling there with Parker, tracking it towards the boundary line. It's knocked over 25 from home. We'll get a boundary throw in. 2 minutes to go in the second term, and Adelaide's looking to take the lead for the second time tonight, I should say.
Both defences have been very good. They've only given away 1 free in their defensive 50.
Boundary throw in. Cameron knocks it straight into the lap of Rankin, but he fumbled. Handballed it straight to Houston. Intercepted by Berry. Looking for Rankin on his hands and knees, though, was Nick Dacos. Handball to Schultz. He's taken out over the boundary line by Cumming. And we'll have a throw in 40 metres around from Adelaide's goal, left half forward.
Even Nick Dacos' ability there to dispossess Isaac Rankin and steal the ball off him. Gee whiz, he can play.
Very smart.
Yeah, very smart. And just on Rankin too, just the 5 disposals. Hasn't had a huge game, needs to get him involved a little bit more.
Tossed in, O'Brien down, looking for Cumming, quickly tackled. Schultz gets him, ball up to come.
Just over 2 minutes remaining, just outside Adelaide's forward 50.
Left half forward at the moment, Collingwood by a point. Adelaide led for the first 3 minutes with the behind. It's been Collingwood ever since. Tapped down, Peatling didn't really have control of the footy, wrapped up by Pendlebury, and it's kind of tucked between his knees. We'll get a ball up again. Closing in on the paint of 50 for the Crows. They're kicking to the right-hand side of your radio dial. O'Brien down, Berry buffeted off his kick by Sidebottom. Head over at the big man, Darcy Cameron. Handball wasn't clean. Dacos gathered and threw it out under pressure. He's incensed. Won't matter. Rankin's got it. Bit of a barrel roll between Dawson and Cameron off ball.
Can't be long here. Cannot be long.
Isaac Rankin unsure what to do. Looks back, looks forward, called to play on. He drives it low and hard. It was a chaos ball that Darcy Moore couldn't track and rolls over the boundary line 20 out.
Actually not a bad result.
Yeah.
Didn't go through for a point. They get another roll of the dice with the boundary throw in, the Crows.
I think Collingwood have, with Pendlebury, they've cloned him. I wonder how he wakes up the next 24 hours after a game.
O'Brien knocks it down, running on towards Rankin. He had Quaynor and company play on, says the umpire. Houston gets it across to Frampton. No, they've paid it. So this was an umpire who was probably at centre-half forward, I reckon, Jamo.
Yep.
And has spotted what we saw. That was a hold against Quaynor on Rankin.
The two umpires in the middle of the ground previously, about 5 minutes ago, were in control, and the umpire deep in the forward pocket for Collingwood gave the free.
So Rankin's got it 15 metres out. It's a tough angle.
These are absolute bread and butter for Isaac.
But he's only got to take a couple of steps forward and snap it round from the right, Josh Franco.
Yeah.
And we'll put Adelaide in front for the first time tonight.
Not a massive game either, just the 6 disposals, but just starting to feel like he's working his way into this contest.
So taking his full 30 seconds here, Isaac Rankin. He wants to complete this goal and put Adelaide back in front. He does. Isaac Rankin delivers. And it's deja vu for Adelaide against the top 8 side here at Adelaide Oval. They were punched in the mouth in the first quarter, but have responded in a big way. 5 goals to nothing in this second term. They go to 6-3-39. Collingwood 5-4-34. We're into the final minute of this first half for ABC Sport.
And that's why this bloke, Isaac Rankin's so hard to hold down for an entire 4 quarters. Just his ability to get on the move at stoppage. He draws free kicks, as he did on that occasion, and you give this bloke a sniff and he's going to hurt you every single time. And as we said, going back on that tight angle, he eats them for breakfast. That's his bread and butter, Isaac. Well done.
Massive second quarter, Adelaide, 5-1. 13-11 inside 50, so they're only just ahead. But the defence of Adelaide has been exceptional.
Second lead change of the night. Adelaide by 5. Cameron won it down. O'Brien did the roving. Wrapped up quickly. Ball up in the centre circle.
I'm not counting the first quarter 1 point up, Aaron.
They were up for 3 minutes up that behind, but it's a lead change. In the middle, pinballing off a couple of shins. Saligo just couldn't quite read the drop. Quaynor could. Hands it to Dacos. He marches away from the pack. Drives it low towards Myercheck, and he takes it on the paint of 50 and comfortably says, I've got this.
He's going to have to kick this with about 3 or 4 seconds remaining. He's got the distance and he's got the accuracy, all of it too. Very good in front of goals. He's kicked 35 for the season.
5-time leading goal kicker. Brodie Myercheck kicks from 55, very shallow, got underneath it. O'Brien juggles and takes it, paid. Gee, thought he might have lost it late, but the umpire's given him the benefit of the doubt. And the big man has it in front of the scoreboard. Could have killed some time, instead hands it to Worrell. And the siren will mean Adelaide enters the major break in front. The adoration of this sold-out crowd who are panicking early. Collingwood by 25 at the first change. 5 unanswered goals in the second to put Adelaide up 6-3-39 to Collingwood's 5-4-34. Goal scorers across the opening couple of quarters. We've got 2 to Fogarty and Walker, singles to Curtin and Rankin. And meanwhile for Collingwood, 2 to Membry and singles to Darcy Cameron, Houston and Jamie Elliott. What a half of footy we've seen. It is living up to the hype. These two sides can barely be separated when they do meet. Margins of 10 or less in their last 5 meetings has all the makings of an instant classic on ABC Sport. Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Gemma, it's been a real arm wrestle, hasn't it? We saw Collingwood in that first quarter. They came out of the blocks and really it was I sort of described it at quarter time as shock and awe tactics. Inside 50s, they dominated field position and they looked like they were going to run away with the game. And that margin at quarter time probably could have been a lot bigger if it wasn't for the Adelaide back 6, which held up really well. But then, as we saw a couple of weeks ago when the Crows took on Hawthorn, there was a complete reversal, wasn't there? To start that second quarter, Adelaide were able to get their hands on the footy first. They were able to dominate field position as well. But probably the one key area, and looking at all the key metrics across the ground, they're actually in favour of Collingwood. The contested possession, the tackle count, the inside 50s, 36-19 Collingwood's way. But where Adelaide have been really dynamic is their ability to convert inside their forward 50. So they've had 19 inside 50s for 6 goals 3, Collingwood 36 for 5 goals 4. So almost every time they go inside their forward 50, they do look quite threatening. But as we said, we've got an absolute game, an absolute contest on our hands, and we wouldn't expect anything else this time of the year at the pointy end of the season. One player, though, for Collingwood that I reckon really needs to lift. We spoke about Isaac Rankin from the Crows. Just started to assert his authority on the game late in that second quarter, but Jamie Elliott is one player that really needs to get going. Just the one disposal, even though he's kicked that one goal, but normally a game breaker and needs to get involved more in terms of getting his hands on the footy and potentially hitting the scoreboard.
So as much football as Collingwood are winning at the moment, when they do go forward, Adelaide's defence, Josh, just to highlight it further, has been exceptional. So to half-time, they've actually had +9 contested. This is in the back half, or the Collingwood's forward 50. Their marks 19-7, so they've been able to intercept exceptionally well. Again, the tackling of Collingwood is so good, 19-13 in their defensive or forward 50. So that's the area they're winning. Intercept possessions, check this out, 19 to Adelaide, 1 to Collingwood. So this is in Collingwood's forward 50. So this is why Adelaide's defence is just so good, but probably where Adelaide have been dominant up to this particular point of the season is, again, they're number 1 from defence to forward, and I think Collingwood have been good to be able to negate. Adelaide really haven't gone from one end of the ground to other in that first half of footy. So I think to that particular point, I think Craig McRae would be saying, hey boys, we're actually being able to negate them a lot of the time, and as the football was such alive and we were able to get forward in the first half, we didn't have as much in the second half, but we were able to defend it really, really well. So I think we're back to pretty much square with the conditions that they are. The rain is still coming down, but for me, Scott Pendlebury too, just the age in which he is and just how he manoeuvres his way through traffic is just incredible. You're right, Tom, you called it in that particular quarter. How good is it to watch just Nick Dacos just go to work and how hard he works in terms of not only getting to the contest, but his speed out of a contest. And that last one to hit my check was just an example of how good he is. But he's had an exceptional first half.
And, Jamo, just looking and going back to those inside 50 counts, sometimes when you are dominating field position and you're playing the game in your front half, more often than not, there's 36 players in the front half of your ground, so there's a lot of density. So sometimes those numbers can be misleading, but you think eventually if you're hitting 36 inside 50s, you double that. What's that? 72 for a game. That's a massive number. So if Collingwood continue that, eventually you'd think they'd be able to hit the scoreboard. But as I said, hats off to Adelaide's back 6. They've been superb in the air and superb at ground level.
Absolute shootout numbers, and you touched on those second quarter comebacks, Jamo. So Adelaide against Hawthorn, 6 unanswered goals at a 42-point swing after quarter time. And then tonight, 5 unanswered goals in the second and a 30-point swing. So down 25, now up by 5. And there's been a lot of talk about Adelaide's tall forward line going with largely 4 if you include Dan Curtin across the year. And they've never really wavered from it, rain, hail or shine. And I reckon if you're in deep water like you could be tonight, where there's a lot of rain here in Adelaide, he'd probably rather have the height to be able to breathe above it. And Adelaide have been able to answer it. Darcy Fogarty, Taylor Walker, Dan Curtin all hitting the scoreboard in that second quarter. So the wet weather's not phasing them.
Look, I think also too, I mean, we're not obviously down at ground level, but the skill of these guys now, sometimes when it is really wet, they just handle the ball so well. It looks like a dry weather game. It's not torrential rain like we saw Adelaide when they played the showdown against the Power, but you would imagine that would be enough to make the ball slippery. But the way these guys handle the footy is amazing.
The top goal scorers for Collingwood year to date, Jamie Elliott, has not touched it tonight. He had one goal in the first quarter but didn't get a touch in the second. Brody Myercheck too has not impacted the scoreboard. Tim Memory's the one that stood up, hasn't he? He's kicked 2 in that first half. And Daniel McStay had a shot on goal in that first quarter but had to do some ruck work around the ground too, so probably hasn't been predominantly forward. But if it's not Riley Thorthorpe, who's been quiet in that first half for Adelaide, it's the other 2 forwards in Darcy Fogarty and Taylor Walker that have stepped up and kicked 2 each.
No injury news either, so both subs unactivated. Ed Allen for the Pies and Harry Schomburg for the Crows. Free kick counts Collingwood's way 11-9. There was some contention here at the Adelaide Oval in the first couple of quarters where there was a momentum of calls going Collingwood's way, and Kat and Bruce Rock has texted in on 0437 774 774 and says, is umpire whinging an illness that you can catch from eating crows? So that's from Owen, who is a Cat supporter. So yes, it has been very one-sided in terms of the umpire hatred tonight, Owen, but we'll see if that transverses across other states. When you're playing Collingwood, I think that's always the general sentiment, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Do get in touch with us across the night, 0437 774 774. Earlier today, the Giants defeated the Suns by 35. Carlton knocking off Port Adelaide by 54. The Hawks defeated the D's by 36. And in the AFLW, as the opening round continues, the reigning premiers North Melbourne kicked 5-1 in the final quarter against the Cats to win by 30 points. So they've now won 15 games in a row, if you include their unbeaten campaign last year. The Bombers opened their account with a 56-point win over the Giants in Canberra. And currently the Western Bulldogs are hosting Melbourne at Whitten Oval, but the D's are leading the Dogs 7-6-48 to 1-4-10. There's cricket on tonight on the ABC Listen app through the cricket ball button. Australia sent South Africa in the third T20 in Cairns, and the visitors are 7 for 165 with 4 balls to go in their innings. So pretty decent total. Hasn't been as meaty as the one we saw on Tuesday night, but Australia will need to chase somewhere close to 200 depending on how these next couple of balls go. South Africa 7 for 165. Plenty coming your way. We'll wrap up some of the results more in depth, get to some of your texts and preview the second half of this absolute blockbuster. Adelaide by 5 points on ABC Sport. Let's get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Eliza Getzi. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he plans to meet the US President in Washington on Monday after Donald Trump's summit in Alaska with Russian leader Vladimir Putin secured no agreement to end the war in Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky says he's had a long and substantive conversation with Mr. Trump after the Alaska meeting. He thanked Mr. Trump for the invitation to meet in Washington and says they'll discuss all details of ending the war. Mr. Zelensky reiterated the importance of involving Europe and says it's important it's involved at every stage to ensure reliable security guarantees together with the US. The outcome of the meeting or lack thereof, however, has disappointed Ukrainians, as Elias Kluwer reports.
You'll remember that the last time Volodymyr Zelensky was in the White House, the conversation between him and the Commander-in-Chief descended into a farce, and it ended with Mr. Zelensky storming out of the Oval Office. Here in Ukraine, the reaction to this summit has been scathing, well, in the Kyiv media at least. It's been seen as a legitimising of Vladimir Putin, a man responsible for this war that's killed thousands of Ukrainians. In fact, one headline described it as sickening. In terms of the outcomes of the summit, well, there hasn't been really anything material, and that's been a demoralising blow for people here.
Back home, there's been no aftershocks after an earthquake felt over a large part of eastern Australia today. Lexi Hamilton-Smith has more.
We're being told from Geoscience Australia, it was literally from Rockhampton right down to Wollongong in New South Wales. The intensity, we're told, varied from 30 seconds to a minute in some areas. We're now getting reports of the epicentre, which was near Murgon, some 2-hour drive north of Brisbane, of cracked walls, cornices coming off, things fell off the shelves, glass shattered, no people were injured. It was magnitude 5.6, was between depths of 2 to 10 kilometres. A very rare event for Queensland. Power went out for a lot of people, but it's back on now. Public transport, which was shut down for a short time, is back to normal.
And the death toll from monsoon flooding in Pakistan now exceeds 300 people. Another 60 people have been reported dead in Jammu and Kashmir in India. Pakistan's Prime Minister has held an emergency meeting with disaster officials as the search and rescue operation goes on, with more heavy rain forecast for the area. Most of the deaths occurred in the mountainous northern region of Pakistan, and a rescue helicopter crashed there, killing its 5 crew during the rescue operations. Arrests have been made after a clash at a rally in Melbourne's CBD today, which left 3 police officers with minor injuries. Here's more from Nate Woodall.
Police arrested 4 people, including a 21-year-old man who allegedly hit an officer with an umbrella during a scuffle with a group of counter-protesters this morning. Police set up barriers and deployed pepper spray to keep a group of about 80 counter-protesters separated from a Women Will Speak rally held by Women's Voices Australia, which describes itself on social media as working to strengthen sex-based rights. The counter-protesters were seen waving transgender pride flags as they marched through the CBD. 2 people were also arrested for allegedly possessing flares, and another man was arrested for allegedly refusing to move on.
Meanwhile, in Serbia, rallies related to elections have turned violent, with police clashing with protesters. Here's the BBC's Grant Ferret.
The most intense exchanges between police and protesters took place in Belgrade, with fireworks, flares and tear gas. But there were further demonstrations elsewhere, including Serbia's second biggest city, Novi Sad. The change in recent days has been the appearance of crowds of government supporters, many wearing black and wielding clubs. It's unclear how many people have been hurt in the latest unrest. According to the Interior Minister, more than 120 police have been injured. The police have themselves been accused of using excessive force.
And in sport, Hawthorn has scored a percentage-boosting win over Melbourne by 36 points at the MCG in the AFL. The final score was the Hawks 13-14-92 to the Demons 8-8-56. Hawks veteran Jack Gunston kicked 7 goals in the win. Earlier, GWS defeated Gold Coast by 35 points and Port Adelaide went down to Carlton by 54. And reigning AFLW premiers North Melbourne have made a winning start to the 2025 season, downing Geelong by 30 points at Cardinia Park.
Ben Cameron and Corbin Middlemass from ABC Sport here.
Alongside Paul Roos, Brett Delidio and Poppy Penny, we bring you all the latest AFL news from both on and off the field on the ABC AFL Daily podcast.
You can hear it all on the ABC Listen app.
Time to steady and pull the trigger.
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast. It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
50 flooded now, but Brodie Smith is pinpoint. That is a perfect pass. Lays it towards Darcy Fogarty, who's charging out of the square. And he takes it 40 from home. Slight angle to the left. He's been second fiddle to Phil Thorpe the last couple of weeks. Darcy Fogarty tonight, though, is rocking and rolling early. He's got 2. Adelaide strike first in the second term.
Chucked it on the left boot up towards Keane. Flying over the top was McStain. He's cleaned up Keane. Keane has stayed down. In the meantime, Hinch goes inside the forward 50, finds the chest of Walker.
Incredibly brave going back. He was committed in the contest. Looks like probably more winded than anything, but
in a brave play. In the meantime, Taylor Walker fresh from arrest from outside 50. And he smashed that one through, and the Crows get 2 to start the second quarter. Rankin did well, 2-on-1, gathered the footy, handball to Murphy, to Peatling, a chaos ball inside the forward 50, Neil Bullen gathered to Walker, over the top to Keaton, they are back, Josh Franco, that's 3 in a row to start the second term. over the top to Curtin, true centre wing. Plays on now, long ball towards Walker. Playing behind Moore, in the best spot. Another player came in there, Houston, and he knocked it out of his hands, and he's won the 50. Clever.
That was actually really silly, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So he's going to kick his second, the fourth of the term for Adelaide. And it is absolutely game on at Adelaide Oval.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The Crows are building a brand that isn't for the faint-hearted. Slow starts and momentous comebacks. This blockbuster's had a bit of everything. Collingwood by 25 at the first change, and now Adelaide by 5 at the major break. 6-3-39 to the Magpies, 5-4-34. It's been sold out for weeks. The build-up's been tremendous, with Collingwood backing some form. Adelaide a little wobbly out west, but they have both delivered tonight in spades. And now we've got a second-half thriller coming your way on ABC Sport. Just feels destined when these two sides face each other that it finishes in some sort of amazing conclusion. We'll see if we can lead that way once again tonight. If Adelaide win, they lock in top 2. Only battling with Geelong in terms of percentage. And Collingwood, meanwhile, will stay in the 4 if they can get the job done. Could finish as low as 8, depending on how their next fortnight goes. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action alongside All-Australian midfielder and 4-time Showdown medalist Josh Franco. We've got Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson as well here, and Braden Ingram down on the boundary. The rain has continued. It's not heavy, but it's persistent. They're not drowning, but it's certainly going to be slippery. The text line 0437 774 774 as well. And Dave's listening in from northern Peru. Go the mighty Crows. Got to check what time it is out there, Dave, but you are very committed, and your Crows have turned up in the second quarter. That being said, disposal leaders all Collingwood. Nick Dacos 18, Scott Pendlebury 15 in his 20th season, signed on for a 21st. He's going to break the game's record, you think. He's still 10 away, but closing in. It's a tremendous achievement for Scott Pendlebury to play the way that he does at that age. Jordan Dawson has 14 as well for the Crows, and Isaac Cumming and James Peekling with 11 each. Rod Jamieson, what happens from here? Because we've seen a quarter each between these two sides, and they're basically back to level pegging.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. I think Collingwood, they're just got to restock, don't they? Like, having that half-time break is almost just as good of a quarter-time break that Adelaide was seeking, with Collingwood well on top. So pretty much one quarter apiece at the moment. I think what you need is a few more to step up around the football for Collingwood, albeit they're doing well around the clearance work and the congested. It's Dacos leading the way, Pendlebury leading the way, Jack Chris, again, that's another incredible record. 253rd game consecutive tonight, plus his 6th when he played for Brisbane. Someone just to play that many games and has not missed one. The durability, outstanding. I don't know, they just probably need to lower their eyes, as much as we were talking about Adelaide needing to do that as well, and they did it in the second. I think that's where they've missed out when they've gone forward, Josh. Is that fair with, they just haven't hit their targets? We spoke about Adelaide being able to intercept 19-1 in Collingwood's forward 50. I had a quick look at Adelaide and the defence of Collingwood too. They've been able to do it on 9 occasions as well. So haven't done it as much, but certainly been able to just negate Adelaide when they have gone forward. But I think they also just need to lower their eyes, a lot similar to what they did in that first quarter.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jamo. And as we said at that half-time break before the news, all the KPIs, the key metrics for Collingwood actually look pretty good. The only one that doesn't is their 36 inside 50s for 5 goals for. So you're right, lowering their eyes, looking for better method inside their forward 50, potentially taking the ball off the line and looking to go around the zone that Adelaide is setting up when the ball is in their front half. And yeah, as we said, potentially looking to lower those eyes and connect inside 50.
Story of the day, the Giants defeated the Suns by 35 points, so they swapped places. GWS up to 6, Gold Coast down to 8. Finn Callaghan had 29 touches and 3 ABC Sport votes. Carlton defeated Port Adelaide by 54 points. Harry Mackay with a career-high 7 goals. Hawthorn defeated Melbourne to jump up to 5th, so they swapped with Fremantle, who were down to 7th. The Hawks had a 5-goal-to-1 opening term and never looked back. Jack Gunston with an equal career-high 7, and Luke Bruce kicked his 553rd goal in his penultimate game in the AFL, to the adoration of the Hawks fans. Here we go. Adelaide by 5. Third quarter about to get underway. It is heaving at the Adelaide Oval in this finals preview. Top four clash. Tom Wilson to get us back underway.
It's been a hot contest. Adelaide leading by 5 points. Back in the middle of the ground, O'Brien knocks it down towards Peatling. His quick kick goes forward. Oh, a slips catch. That was brilliant from Josh Dacos against Murphy. Takes it on the chest with his left hand. The intercept mark goes short to long. Just defensive side of the centre circle. So the Pies going to get another inside 50 to start this half. Up towards left half forward. Fisted down and out over the boundary. We'll have a throw in left half forward. Pies trail by 5 points. 30 seconds into the second half.
Talk about the modern day footballer, the modern day midfielder. Long. How tall is he? He's huge. He looks like a ruckman out there almost, or a key position player.
He's had a quiet couple of weeks, just the 19 touches across the last fortnight, Ned Long, but back to his best. He's got 10 so far tonight. Tossed in, a little shallow for the rucks. Nick Dacos pounces, swung in the tackle, got a handball back. Quick kick around the body up towards goal from Lipinski and juggled on the behind line. Elliott can't take it. Keane rips it away, bangs it out of there. Quaynor on the boundary line, takes the mark. He's right at left half forward in front of the Rashudo stand. Collingwood kicking to the Riverbank stand end. Quaynor in the wet. Pops it up. McStay gets a run. Fist came in from Worrell. 20 out for Collingwood. Miller caught by 3. Set upon and will get a ball up. 25 out.
I know it's easier said than done, and many sides have tried to do it and failed, but they've got to somehow clamp Nick Dacos around the stoppages.
Tossed up. O'Brien and McStay. There's that man. Nick Dacos runs to the boundary line, throws it on the left. Misses to the left, minus score, the first of the second half. Collingwood 5-3-35, Adelaide 6-3-39, almost 2 minutes gone for the record, Josh. He's 194 centimetres, wow. Ned Long, about 6'4" in the old.
He's very long, isn't he?
That's a ruckman in nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, or a key position player.
Yeah. Adelaide exit to the broadcast side. Miller a long dump kick, 3-on-3 and off hands, knocked over the line.
How tall are you, Jabba? Because you were a fullback. How tall are you?
186.
You'd be considered small almost these days.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Small forward.
Yeah, gee, 186, that's so small.
Pressure forward.
Tossed in. O'Brien battling with Cameron.
Only 6%.
Bit of a shepherd that impeded the rucks. It was O'Brien causing it, so free kick to Darcy Cameron.
I'd be lucky to have that on my hand these days.
On the broadcast wing, 45 wide, he kicks it to side bottom. It's just behind right half forward.
I think Brett James had the best skin fold.
Side bottom points long. Sends it into the 50. Elliott's waiting, floating across. Dawson nearly brought it down. Off hands. Chris couldn't gather. Tackle laid. Jamie Elliott looking hot. Hasn't touched it a lot. 1 kick, 1 goal, but he's been lively.
Tell you what, Brett James's brother didn't.
Great player.
Oh, and a legend.
Burger Group.
Tossed up O'Brien down. Dacos trying to keep it in. Right forward pocket, 20 out. Chris flung it behind himself. Looking for Elliott. Didn't reach him. Another ball up to come.
Even just looking at Nick Dacos, you almost need help. You almost need Tuitt at the stoppages to curb his influence. He's so smart and crafty.
Thrown up. Peatling was at the bottom of the pack. It looked like he caught one high from a Collingwood player running through. In the meantime, it's flicked back to Nick Dacos. Another shot on goal. Right foot away to the right. It was left foot away to the left earlier. So he's got 2 behinds to start this term. Braden Ingram.
I told you pre-game that Billy Frampton would have the roll on Riley Thilthorpe and he'd hold him to just 1 touch into the third quarter. You probably wouldn't believe it, but that's what he's done so far. Thilthorpe yet to impact the contest and he's going to need to in this second half.
He's only had the 1 disposal. Jamie Elliott 2, McStay 3.
He did keep Thilthorpe goalless in round 10 as well when the Pies won. Adelaide out of defensive 50, it's coming straight back in. Ned Long was looking for Membry. Schultz front and square, hands it back to Perryman just inside the arc, pulls the trigger, floating Murray lost it, missed his fist, but it hits the behind post. He's very lucky. And Collingwood just peppering away here. Margin went from 5 to 4 to 3 and now it's 2.
Inside 50s, 4-zip to this stage in this third quarter.
So Hinge plays on from the kick-in up towards Frampton and Thilthorpe. Coming through at the front of the contest was O'Brien. Thilthorpe at the back takes it out over the boundary line in front of the behind scorer in Perryman. We'll have a throw-in right in front of the Crows bench.
And the clearance count as well, 5-0 Collingwood's way as well. So dominating field position, dominating around the stoppages.
Jack Saligo's been patchy tonight.
Boundary throw-in. Knocked down by Cameron. Chris tackled immediately. Bond ducked the head into the tackle of De Goey, but a ton of ball out towards Steele side bottom, who was spun 360 by Dawson, kicked up towards centre half forward. Membry came out strong in the contest, got it to De Goey, to Long, tried to get a quick kick through a gap, but it was smothered by Rankin. Handballs over the top to Murphy, to Dawson, who took on 2 tackles holding the ball. And Cameron lets him know about it. He gets the free kick on the corner of that centre square defensive side.
Bit of feeling in this one. A lot on the line in terms of finals placings. Darcy Cameron gets stuck into Jordan Dawson and gets the footy at the defensive edge. He'll look for a switch. Adelaide by 2. Frampton for the Pies. Completes it to the eastern side. Maynard fumbled in the wet. Has to paddle to keep it in. Now closing is Thilthorpe. Rushes his kick. Looked good in the end. Low and hard, and Schultz accelerates to the drop. Takes the mark forward of centre wing.
He stole that ball then, didn't he?
Schultz up towards the arc. Little low for Membry. Fist came in. Ricochets to Worrell. Back to Cumming. Around the body. Good snap. Peatling marks. Unopposed. He's in front of the Bashir stand. Chips it through centre wing for the Crows. Fogarty now has it. 2 in the opening half for Big Darcy. Drives his kick in the Walker direction. Moore comes in with the fist. Knocks it over the boundary line near the Wanganeen stands. Rain continues. Adelaide by 2 on ABC Sport.
6.5 minutes gone in this third term. Just the 3 behinds.
The Hot Pies dominating the clearance work in this third quarter.
Adelaide's first inside 50, so O'Brien knocks it down cleverly to Rankin, who gets it back to Cumming. A snap around the body, and Fogarty was playing from behind, so gets it out over the boundary. We'll have another throw in about 40 metres from Adelaide's goal in front of the scoreboard.
It's torrential rain in Melbourne today at the MCG, wasn't it too? Just incredible how people just sit out in the crowd in their ponchos.
Yeah, the passion, Jamo.
Indeed.
I don't want to be here if Adelaide can do it. Gathered by Rankin from the clearance, and he took on a tackle and holding the footy. So that's a couple of the Crows players bitten off more than they can chew, trying to create something up forward. And the free kick goes the way of Lipinski.
Pies down 2. Lipinski, their premiership sub, sends it to the eastern side. O'Brien battling with Cameron, takes the mark. Free kick going to go the way of Worrell anyway, as he went to ground and tangled with Schultz. Hands it off to Millerer. Back inside 50 for Adelaide. Nearly over the top of the pack. Quaino got a knuckle in. Rolls it towards the light tower. Boundary throwing 30 from home. Rod Jamieson shaking his head.
Well, it's just easier said than done, but Adelaide have gone inside forward 50, for the second time, but they just keep going the same way at the moment. It's easy to set up for Collingwood in defence.
They lead by 2, kicking towards the hill. Picked off by Crisp. Rushes it out of there. Keane thought he was held, but Bond's there anyway. Hands it towards Worrell. Hospital handball. Quick tackle late on Cumming. Boundary throw in to come in front of the Odie stand. Shout out to Michael and Sally on the text line, who are driving from the Eyre Peninsula to Adelaide. Say go Crows. Brian from Geelong wants to know the ends this quarter, so Adelaide kicking to the left-hand side of your radio dial. Collingwood to the right, the Riverbank stand end.
Boundary thrown. O'Brien knocks it down. Dacos almost gathered. Worrell stood firm though. So too did Long. Handballs out in front of De Goey, who goes and slides in. It's at centre half forward. That was clever from Lockie Murphy on Nick Dacos. The crowd loved it. A long ball towards Thilthorpe. Nursed under it by Frampton, who's doing a good job. The quick kick from Quaynor goes to side bottom. He's got it true centre wing. Picks off McCreery, who marks in front of Hinge.
That was a beautiful kick there from side bottom. Could have blazed away, but just changed the angle of the kick and found McCreery. That was brilliant.
Directing traffic. Now McCreery goes long inside the forward 50. Flying across the front of the pack was Worrell. Kills that ball out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 25 metres from the Pies goal. In the right forward pocket, they trail by 2 points. 9 minutes gone third term.
So all Collingwood so far this quarter, but yet to cash in with a goal. After Adelaide kicked 5 unanswered in the second term. Tossed in, high arcing rain gets heavier. O'Brien double tap. Peatling thrusts it out of there. High up and under. Cameron with a monster fist as he smashes it back to 30 out inside 50. Miller is under some pressure. Paddled it to Neil Bullen. Bond and back to Miller. A good chain, but again a rushed kick. tumbles its way towards Moore. Collingwood have the numbers. The crowd's getting frustrated with their delivery. Frampton for the Pies. Back towards the 50. O'Brien, the extra man. Jamie Elliott stuck a knee into Bond and nearly took the mark. McCreary, quick snap. No one central except for Keane. And now it's a wet miss.
I think the difference between Collingwood this quarter being the third and the first, they were actually more methodical, I think, as much as they were getting the football inside their forward 50, and they were able to do that on 24 occasions.
Keane's kick out of defence went straight to Darcy Cameron, who outmarked Lockie Murphy. So he's 70 metres from goal. He's going to kick this up towards the pocket looking for Membry. Crows have the numbers in the air. Down low was O'Brien. His quick kick out is intercepted briefly by Parker. He knocked it towards Josh Dacos. Gathered there by Houston. His kick was smothered by Neil Bullen. It went straight up. Walker knocked it down. Murphy gathered. And Parker tackles him out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. Trying conditions.
You talk about the method going forward, Jamo. Clearly the conditions are playing a part in that. Really difficult to take the ball off the line by foot and maintain possession. It's almost that surge mentality with the rain as heavy as it is.
Also Josh Franco on ABC Sport. Collingwood by 2. Cameron down, broadcast wing. Gathered by Hinge. Wrapped up in the tackle of Chris, but lingered too long. Free kick Adelaide. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Yeah, you can officially call this proper rain now. It really is sitting on top of the surface, and yet not a single fan has headed under cover. They're sticking it out here, trying to get their Crows to lift.
It's thick, all right. But you're right. The Adelaide fans have been waiting a long time for this. They're up at the moment by 2. Hinge through centre wing. Targets O'Brien. Collected late. Crowd wasn't happy. Philthorpe knocks it out towards Berry. Goes for a run. Dancing on the boundary line. Looks for Walker. 2 to beat. Moore came late with a double fist. Boundary throw in. 50 out. Adelaide in their attacking half.
Better kick. Bit of a shame, the rain, isn't it?
Yeah.
From a contest point of view, it's going to be okay. It's going to be hard and tough, but from a game spectacle, it would have been better if it was dry.
Clearly not a farmer.
No, that's good for them.
It was a great contest in the first half. Be tight and tough now, Cameron.
I'm not a farmer.
Cameron gathered it out of the ruck, kicked forward, and Smith gathers in front of the interchange gates.
Was it colder when you had hair or without, Jamo?
Oh, it's been that long ago, I wouldn't know, actually, to tell you the truth. Normally wear a beanie. It's normally in the back pocket.
I would think if you don't get drenched and it's not sitting there and just rolls off, it might be easier.
Like water off a duck's back.
I have to wear a hat, otherwise it gets in my eyes.
Collingwood by 2, tossed in. Cameron down, looking for Houston. Puts his head over it, but can't escape the clutches of Curtin. Ball up, broadcast wing. Might get Braden to keep an eye on Riley Philthorpe as well, who's had a bit of shoulder and neck issues, but staying out there. Out of the stoppage, McCreary toes it forward. It'll work. Clean bowled the Crows. Myercheck shoots a handball to Elliott. Didn't get back to him. Well scouted by Keane. He's pushed as he kicked, but it'll stay in. Dawson cops a shove from Houston. Free kick on the ball drop to the Crows skipper. They lead by 2. Here they come through the broadcast wing.
Outstanding, Mark Keane. Just anticipated that handball back to Myercheck and intercepted.
Been outstanding tonight, Jamo.
He has.
And he's been in the wars too.
He's been outstanding all year, hasn't he?
Really good. So Brodie Smith, defensive centre wing, and Curtin took a hanger in the wet. He rose up above Houston, got the sit, took it on his chest, goes inside the forward 50. There's going to be a free to Riley Philthorpe. He needed this against Maynard, who's given a couple away tonight. He's going to have a shot 35 metres out in a 45-degree angle.
Stan Curtin. I think there's been a lot this year spoken about his progress. Second year of football.
Bit of one-upsmanship where Murphy Reid kicks a goal from 50 on Friday night and Dan Curtin says, well, what about my hanger?
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be on the judging panel for the Rising Star.
And we mentioned Philthorpe at half-time, just the one disposal. He's had 2 now lining up for his 3rd, so not a huge impact, but big kick.
Yeah, big moment for Riley Philthorpe. Comes in, kicks it, and it goes away to the right-hand side. Minus score. So Adelaide go to 6-4-40. Collingwood 5-7-37. Had 14 minutes gone. Brisbane Lions posted an article on their website on why Levi Ashcroft should win the Rising Star.
Might as well make your case. It's going to be a tight race.
Everyone listened to the ABC. I can't believe how quickly they did it.
Josh Dacos plays on, long kick towards the broadcast wing. Cameron composed as Curtin closed. Handball over his head, back towards side bottom. And a rolling kick didn't work from McCreary, but he kept fighting. What a tackle as he spun Brodie Smith in the washing machine.
So I reckon he's lucky there, Smith. Got tackled, took the tackler on and then handballed it over the boundary line. Very lucky.
So Adelaide by 3, right half forward for the Pies. We've still got 10 to go in the third, and we haven't had a goal this quarter.
Yep, the rain has settled in. Boundary throw in to go. He comes through, gets it to Pendlebury. He's got options, goes in board to Chris, but Keys worried him out of it. Had some support from Worrell. Berry missed the handball, puts Murray under a lot of pressure. The Pies are circling in their forward 50. And they managed to hold it in for a forward 50 stoppage about 40 metres from goal.
Just trying conditions. Once it gets congested like that, you've got 3 or 4 players both trying to get their hands on the football.
Tossed up, Membry down, straight to Elliott, quick kick. Didn't get a chance to actually look which direction, and he's sprayed it left, out on the full. Free kick Adelaide, right back pocket. Marcus in South Melbourne on 0437 774 774 asking you, Jamo, if Nick Dacos or Josh Dacos is the better kick.
Josh is good, but I think Nick is, just in terms of speed and pressure, that he's under all the time to be able to dispose of it like he does.
Keane did the old Irish kick to himself almost when he redrew. He was going to go long and then decided he was going to go short, and then he just dropped it on the boot and then picked it up.
Does he get a stat for that? He must.
They're like 2 kicks.
Wow.
In the end, his long kick was fisted out over the boundary line, out of side, centre wing. So the ball's come back in now. O'Brien was clean in the hit out towards Dawson, but knocked out of the hands from Crisp, who gets it to Schultz, back to Long, chucks it on his left foot up towards DeGoey at left half forward. He's keen to take this out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 40 metres from the Pies goal, who trail by 3 points.
Champion Data said no, so just the one touch. He's got 15 for the night, Mark Keane. Nick Dacos with 21 leading all comers. Scott Pendlebury, Darcy Cameron and Jordan Dawson with 16. Adelaide by 3. An arm wrestle of the third quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Tossed in, Collingwood's 50. O'Brien caught behind, paddled it out of there. Houston has crunched himself into the turf. Thought he might have hurt his shoulder. In the end, he's given away the free kick to Wayne Miller, and he's popped back up okay. So Miller had a bit of attention there as he tried to gather the footy. Adelaide will say thank you very much and take it in front of the Rashudo stand. And the first round pick, Wayne Miller, up to the centre wing. He had 3 Crows in a triangle within 5 metres of each other, and he somehow kicked it in the hole straight to Harry Perryman.
Actually had 8 more disposals in this quarter, Collingwood, but they're going at 53% disposal efficiency as opposed to Adelaide 60 and another intercept mark. 2-11 tackles in favour of Collingwood, so they just can't penetrate after 11-4 inside 50s.
Bit of volleyball here. Perryman straight down the throat of Keane. Adelaide look to go again.
And he finds Steelthorpe, takes his first grab. Centre wing, flew at that one nicely. Had that missed shot on goal. Centering ball, it's a dangerous kick to Smith, but hits the target in the centre square. He had a runner in Worrell, opted against. Goes to centre half forward, looking for the skipper in Dawson. Waiting down was Berry. Getting the hand in there cleverly was Schultz, I think. Tackled hard in the end. Goes to Worrell, to Dawson. Rankin's got it at left half forward now. Chipping over the top, looking for Walker. But he was beaten in the contest by Maynard, who managed to get in front. Takes intercept mark at the right back pocket.
Great strength there from Braden Maynard. Walker's got a bit of weight on him, and he was able to force his way into the lane and cut it off.
Probably speed that just got him in.
Maynard up towards the broadcast wing, rising up, fist comes across from Curtin, back towards the 50. Keys knocks it to Saligo, back to the Malcolm Blight medalist. Beautiful, magnificent underground handball to Rankin, but he wasn't clean at his bootlaces. Manages to break through the tackle to Walker, handed it central and Saligo fumbled. Collingwood get away. Crisp, Maynard, he's fumbled, bowled over. Walker snaps and misses under pressure from side bottom. This has got everything. Isaac Rankin threw his body in there.
How good was that? Maynard knew the pressure was coming, fumbled 2 or 3 times.
Oh, he lined him up, Isaac Rankin. That's a perfect bump. But Walker's kicked it out on the full. Collingwood ball down 3.
Down the line towards O'Brien and Cameron and Curtin. That wasn't smart. He was right next to the boundary line, socketed it straight out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, you talk about playing percentages. Just had to either take it, possession, and just run it over the boundary line. Yeah, not the percentage play there from Curtin.
Great bump there from Rankin on Maynard. He got him right in the shoulder. That's all you can really do if it comes for a bump anymore these days.
They'll keep him quiet for a while.
So side bottom is going to end up with this out of bounds on the full free kick. They finally got the footy back to him. He's at right half back for the Pies. Trailed by 3 points. Just the 3 behinds this quarter. Adelaide's just the 1 score, a minus score to Thilthorpe. He's kicked it down the line towards Murray, who knocks it down to Peatling. Got some support from Smith, who throws a banana kick up towards Curtin, but it landed on the lap there of Parker. That's Will Parker, who takes the intercept mark, defensive side of the centre wing. This is a dangerous ball in the middle of the field, looking for De Goey, but it beat coming, and he cleverly knocked it on to Myercheck, who has a shot on goal from 40 out. Pulled it to the left. That would have hurt. And that would have put them in front. Instead, a minus score. Collingwood 5-8-38. Adelaide 6-4-40. We're into time on third term ABC Sport.
It was almost luck of the draw there. Adelaide sensed the turnover. Everybody pushed up and it just went out the back door, and Myercheck went for a stroll. Just couldn't convert.
De Goey smart, wasn't it too? Didn't take it, just punched it forward.
4 behinds to 1 in this third quarter. Collingwood just can't cash in. The margin remains at 2 Adelaide's way. It was 5 at the half. Collingwood with the hot start. They were up 25 points at quarter time.
12-6 inside 50s this quarter, Collingwood. Just for the 4 behinds. Adelaide with the 1.
Still 6 to go in the third. Tossed in, broadcast wing. Front position, McStay against Thilthorpe. Knocked it down. Peatling was there tracking, couldn't gather. Parker's wrapped up by Neil Bullen. Didn't make an attempt. Holding the ball. The 8th gamer's pinged. Alex Neil Bullen, the only premiership player in this Crows outfit. Up to half forward. He's looking for Walker, almost Falcon Thilthorpe. Ricochets like a rocket up towards Curtin. Towed out of there by Maynard. Umpire's a bit unsure.
He is.
They'll pay it.
I think it's going to go Adelaide's way, doesn't it?
Yeah, Mitch Hinge and Maynard both thought it was theirs. They're not sure which boot it actually came off.
Yeah. I'm thinking it came off I thought Hinge kicked it. Yeah, I thought he did too.
The Raw tells you the story. Mitch Hinge gets the footy, drives Adelaide inside 50. Thilthorpe from the side couldn't take it. Walker tries to buffet it towards Peatling, ends up becoming the tackler, and we'll get a ball up on the paint of 50 for the Crows.
I'm going to back you in, Tom. I thought it went the wrong way.
Because Hinge did it. It was like a guilty, and he put his hand up. Here's the replay now. Yes, it was off Hinge. That's a remarkable sell to the umpire. Boundary throw in. Neil Bullen grabs it out and kicks it straight out of bounds on the full. So the umpire was right in the ruling of insufficient intent, but picked the wrong person. First mistake of the night, Jamo.
Oh, yep, they've been good, haven't they?
So Darcy Moore, high kick back to the broadcast wing. Little push was enough. And McStay escorted under the footy. Thilthorpe takes the intercept. Arcs him board and then dances around. Kick smothered. McStay read it well. He and Lipinski double team Thilthorpe. Here comes the slingshot for the Pies. Awkward bounce. Membry makes it work. Paddles it to Cameron. Gets it back. The former Saint screws it towards Myercheck. Brought down in the contest. No free kick. That is a car crash. Nick Murray gathered. Ballerina turn and has got collected in the process. The force coming the opposite way of his spin, and he's so lucky that he's popped up, because that was a heavy hit with Brodie Myercheck.
I originally thought Myercheck should have got a free kick for a high spoil. I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, that was one they missed there on the Adelaide.
Ball up, 40 out. Pies 50. Pendlebury tries to fist it forward. Bonds wrapped up.
That's a terrible decision too. Nick Murray's almost had his head ripped off.
Like, we couldn't see him. When he stands up, you're like, oh, there's a chance he's concussed. But he's stood up and he's okay. Knocked down. Peatling overran it. Crisp is there at right half forward. Gets it to side bottom, who was trying to have a flying shot at goal, but was taken out over the boundary by Neil Bullen. Throw in. Gutsy play there from Nick Murray. So we've got a boundary throw in 35 metres from Collingwood's goal. Again, been very good with the inside 50s, 13-8, but they just haven't been able to convert. Potentially an opportunity from Lipinski, who was pulled as he kicked, and it was intercepted by Adelaide. The quick kick went to Fogarty. Gets it to Rankin, defensive side of centre wing. Plays on quickly. A high ball looking for Walker. Goes one-on-one with Moore. Moore gets the fist in. Keys is waiting. So was Neil Bullen. His kick was smothered. Frampton was clean. Got it to Maynard, to Cameron, to side bottom, back to Maynard. Now gets it on his left foot. Goes up towards Cameron, a one-on-one with Bond. There's a holding free key. Which way?
No, it's going to McStay.
It's McStay there in that contest.
He had a fistful of Guernsey there. Yeah, definitely there.
Myercheck was the overlap if they had just kept pressing, so maybe a smart free kick for Adelaide. They stay behind right half forward. Low into the pocket. Beautiful delivery to Myercheck sliding in, but he didn't take it. Bounced off his chest. Berry's there and he's wrapped up by Crisp. 40 from home. Collingwood have had their chances this quarter. They've got 4 behinds to show for it. Adelaide currently up by 2. Out of the stoppage. Peeling overran it. Berry missed his boot. Nick Dacos throws it on off a step. Bounce a little shallow for Schultz. Miller are at best. 20 from home. Gave it to Peeling. He's in a bit of trouble. Handed it straight into the boot of Schultz. Out on the full. Gee, that is mastery. Maybe a bit of bad luck as well.
I know it's trying conditions. It's very straight line at the moment. I know wet ball, it's hard to take it off the line, but I'd still like to see both sides at least try to move the ball with a bit more method.
Clean there from Rankin. Gets it to Curtin, who kicks a dangerous ball towards the centre square, but gathered brilliantly by Berry. Gets it off to Bond. Here comes the overlap. Running onto this is Cumming. Can he get it to sit? He knocks it forward to Keys with the 1-2. And Cumming runs into an open goal. The first of the second half. It took us 26 and a half minutes, but Adelaide get it. And everything counts here tonight in tough conditions. The margin's back to 8 points. There's 7-4-46. 5-8-38. Collingwood, 26 and a half minutes gone. Third term.
Well, Gemma, that was almost on cue, taking the ball off the line rather than just going long down the line and playing a boring brand of footy. As we said, a slippery ball. It does come with an element of risk, but once again, great play there from Adelaide. Took it off the line. Less density, less numbers, but then had the run and the polish to finish off with Cumming.
A couple of times this quarter I've almost knocked out Aaron here, where I'm actually pointing, get it to the other side where there's been no player, and that's exactly what happened. Berry was clean, the kick was there, and just out the back, and the defence of Collingwood had no chance.
And Isaac Cummings, the setup and the finish. What a run. 8 points, Adelaide's lead. Crowds got some energy again, but straight out of the middle is the master. Pendlebury kick was a little long for Elliott. Myercheck trying to gather. He's got Keane all over him. Coming in is Lipinski. It pinballs around. Lipinski gathers. Got boot to ball. He had one arm pinned. Did his best, but kicks it out on the full. Free kick, Adelaide, right back pocket. Sentiment shifting on the text line as well. Sarah in Geelong says the noise of affirmation is making the difference. So it felt like the umpires were against the home side in the first half, and maybe it's flipped the other way in the second. Adelaide by 8.
Keane with a flat ball out of defence. Getting a hand to it was Houston. Handball towards the 50, but Miller is there waiting. He handball towards Keys. Coming back the other way was Quaynor. Gets it back inside the forward 50. Hinge on hands and knees. Collingwood working hard to get this back inside. Houston to Dacos. You can hear the crowd holding the ball. Wrapped up in a game tackle led by the skipper, Jordan Dawson. Miller is going to take the free kick at centre half back. Back to Worrell at left half back.
Adelaide have found a way to keep Nick Dacos quiet. He's only had the 4 in this third quarter.
So Adelaide lead by 8 points. Worrell kicks out of defence.
Up towards centre wing. He was looking for Kern, who had Frampton over the top of him. Free kick. The first round pick from 2 years ago. Looks inboard. Kick wasn't 15. Put Hinge under a bit of pressure. Did well. Kicks it long towards the 50. Cameron rather trucked it well against O'Brien.
He's been pretty solid tonight, Cameron, hasn't he?
Takes the intercept mark. Mentioned it before, but a 3-year deal earlier in the week, so it's going to take him all the way to 34 when he finishes at the Pies, but that's pretty normal for them.
1.5 minutes remaining.
Lowers the eyes. Pass was just 15 to Maynard. Crowd didn't buy it at right half back. Adelaide by 8.
So Maynard, high, long ball down the line. Elliott at the back got hands to it. Chris knocked it forward to Dacos, who was clean. A sweeping handball to centre half forward to Houston, who was grabbed for a moment there by Taylor, but he got it back to Worrell, up towards Keys. Good spoil from Quaynar. Knocked it down towards Dacos. His handball put side bottom under pressure. Nick Dacos again, all the way back to Cameron, to Quaynar, to side bottom. They've worked this well. 65 metres out. Look at that pass onto the chest of Elliott. That was exquisite play from the Pies. He'll have a shot 35 metres out, up against the boundary line in the right half-forward flank.
Well, Gemma, sorry, you mentioned Nick Dacos, only the 4 disposals. The last probably passage of play, you could just see him just willing his side on, was influential, and that kick inside 50 from side bottom, you almost can't teach that.
Zach Taylor and Peatling were outstanding with their pressure, but just still side bottom. What a star he is. He's so good on both sides of his body.
Jamie Elliott, this will take an excellent kick. It started well. It is excellent. It's beyond excellent. He's got his second. What a great goal from Jamie Elliott. Brings the Pies to back within 2 points. Late in this third term, it's 7-4-46 Adelaide, Collingwood 6-8-44.
Well, not a massive game, as we've said, at half-time from Jamie Elliott. He's only had the 5 disposals, kicked the 2 goals, but how many times do you see him break the heart of the opposition supporters with kicks like that? When it's on the line, tough angle, he just goes back and nails it. Outstanding from Elliott.
He loves it against the Crows as well. So kicked 6 in 2021 and then was the match winner in 2022, both at this ground. Loves punishing Adelaide, Jamie Elliott. You feel like there's more to come. He's got 2 for the night and has been lurking throughout the entire contest. 2 points the margin again. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Tossed up as we close in on three-quarter time. And Cameron will get the last hit out as Pendlebury looks for the clearance. What a game. And what a lot on the line. Adelaide win, they lock in top 2. Collingwood looking for top 4. And it's headed towards a grandstand finish once again. The last 5 have been decided by 2 kicks. And it could be an absolute thriller once again here at the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide 7-4-46. Collingwood 6-8-44. Do not go anywhere, because this could be one of the best finishes of the year. On ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app, this is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Hi, I'm Corbin Middlemass.
And I'm Ed Cowan.
He played Test cricket for Australia.
And Ed Cowan gets his first Test match century.
And he commentates the cricket.
Stark tries again. He rocks in straight through him. Together, we're giving you your weekly cricket conversation.
We're pulling apart the biggest stories in the sport and delivering them to you each and every week.
It's called the Grandstand Cricket Podcast. Find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
So Brodie Smith, defensive centre wing, and Curtin took a hanger in the wet. He rose up above Houston.
Dan Curtin. I think there's been a lot this year spoken about his progress. Second year of football.
Bit of one-upsmanship where Murphy Reid kicks a goal from 50 on Friday night, and Dan Curtin says, well, what about my hanger?
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be on the judging panel for the Rising Star.
Kicks a dangerous ball towards the centre square, but gathered brilliantly by Berry. Gets it off to Bond. Here comes the overlap. Running onto this is Cumming. Can he get it to sit? He knocks it forward to Keys with the 1-2. And Cumming runs into an open goal. The first of the second half. It took us 26 and a half minutes. But Adelaide get it. And everything counts here tonight in tough conditions. To Quaynar, to side bottom, they've worked this well. 65 metres out. Look at that pass onto the chest of Elliott. That was exquisite play from the Pies.
So good on both sides of his body.
Jamie Elliott, this will take an excellent kick. It started well. It is excellent. It's beyond excellent. He's got his second. What a great goal from Jamie Elliott.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
It's happening again. Magic whenever Adelaide and Collingwood collide. Always ends up in a nail-biter. And we're careering towards another photo finish on ABC Sport. The Crows by 2 points in an absolute seesawing affair here at the Adelaide Oval. Packed house, finals implications, plenty on the line, but who will get the job done? History says Collingwood, they've won the last 10 against Adelaide. But the Crows are not the same side we once knew. We'll find out how it ends next on ABC Sport. 0437 774 774 is the text line to get in touch. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action. And your experts tonight, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, 4-time Showdown medalist Josh Franco. What a game we are seeing, gents.
Absolutely. Look, it's interesting even looking at some of the numbers, and if you looked at these just purely on face value and didn't look at the scoreboard, you'd almost say Collingwood should be miles in front. So inside 50s for the game are 55-28. That quarter was 18-9. These both in favour of Collingwood. And the clearance count, so off the back of winning the stoppage, getting the ball forward, dominating field position, the clearances are 39-23 for the game. So that's plus 16 in favour of the Pies, and that quarter was 17-7. The one thing that the conditions probably haven't allowed that quarter was the ability to take the ball off the line. The one time Adelaide did, they were able to score and hit a major through Isaac Cumming. But it's going to be a massive last quarter. I can't help but feel that Nick Dacos is the one that Adelaide need to clamp. He seems to be the guy, the worker, and we know how good he is. He's done it so many times before. He seems to be the match winner for Collingwood. So if I'm in the Adelaide camp and Matthew Nixon talking as a coaching group, I reckon he's one they need to clamp. They haven't really put a tight tag on him, but I reckon it's about time they do.
If I was if I was Matty Nix, I would be giving Riley O'Brien a huge rocket right now. Darcy Cameron has had 11 disposals in that third quarter. Riley O'Brien had 1.
Yeah.
Now, the other area where Collingwood have been absolutely outstanding, tackles inside 50 to three-quarter time, 27 tackles Collingwood inside their forward 50. Their pressure has been elite, and we've been talking about the defence of Adelaide and how good they've been. The other way, tackles inside forward 50 for Adelaide is only 4. So just the clearance work too, a 17-7 in that quarter, 39-23. That includes centre clearances and stoppage clearances. Collingwood are getting their hands on the footy first. So that needs to stop if you're an Adelaide coach and supporter.
Gearing up for the final quarter, Braden Ingram downstairs.
Well, Gemma, you must be in Matty Nick's head, because the first person he spoke to at the huddle was Riley O'Brien. Had him for a good 30 seconds. Didn't have the players as a group for particularly long, but also addressed the midfielders for quite some time and was pretty spirited before he brought the group in. In terms of the substitutes at this stage, they haven't been activated. Harry Schomburg for the Crows and Ed Allen for the Pies.
Full time in the AFLW, so the Demons defeated the Western Bulldogs 62-14. Earlier, the Bombers beat the Giants by 56. Geelong were beaten by North by 30. And in the AFL, the Giants beat the Suns by 35 points. Carlton knocked off Port Adelaide by 54. And Hawthorn defeated the D's by 36 points. Adelaide by 2. Saturday night on ABC Sport. It has all the makings of an epic. It's played out that way so far. But can they stick the landing? Collingwood by 25 at the first change. Adelaide by 5 at the major break. And just the 2 points separating them now. We'll be with you all the way to 11 Eastern for the fallout. You can get in touch on the text line as well, 0437 774 774. Strap yourselves in. Here we go. Final term. O'Brien down for the Crows. Looking for Berry. He's battling there with Pendlebury. It's Schomburg now who's been activated. Ricochets off his shins towards Dawson. Up towards right half forward. And the kick's picked off by Collingwood. Cameron's there at the defensive edge. Hands it to Perryman. Up to left half forward, looking for McCreary. Double fist in from Curtin. Rolls towards the boundary line. Side bottom escorts it over. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Yeah, it's Zach Taylor who's been subbed out of the game for Schomburg. Aaron, he's had the 6 touches, Taylor, so he's now out of the game.
Darcy Cameron once again, 21 disposals for the night thus far. Riley O'Brien, 4.
Crows have been keen to get Schomburg a game this season. Gets it in round 23 as the sub. O'Brien grabs it out of the ruck. Quick kick forward, gathered by Fogarty, full steam, rolls around on the left for a moment, then handballs back to Cumming. Short to Rankin, missed the target because it went all the way out of bounds on the full. And Parker's going to take the free kick at left half back for the Pies. They trail by 2 points. Doesn't waste any time. Kicks up towards the centre square. Flying it was Myercheck. Couldn't complete the mark. Smith, the veteran, just burst through. This one looks for Rankin. He gets the sit on Parker. Keeps it in. Sockers it inside the forward 50. A dangerous ball coming out hard was Keys. Ran over the top of it. Neil Bullen got a quick socket to Thilthorpe. Back towards Neil Bullen, who hit towards the boundary line. And Parker had some time, snaps it out of defence. Worrell gets in front of his opponent, McCreary. He's on the bottom of the pack. Handballs towards side bottom for Collingwood. A dribbling ball out towards McCreary. Went to the soccer off the ground. Completely missed it. Should have gathered it, Josh. Went out over the boundary line for a throw-in.
He just had to pick it up, didn't he? Sort of bounced almost knee, waist height, but tried to soccer it mid-air, but just had to take possession of the ball.
You do that on a golf course, you owe cherry ripes all round.
Yeah.
Fresh area in the wet. Adelaide by 2. Tossed in near centre wing broadcast side. It beats both rucks. Dawson at the back. Big fist. Tries to fling it forward. Saligo wrestling with side bottom. Off hands. It rolls out back where it started. On the text line, Joan from Geelong, who's a Cats supporter, says, loving the coverage. Got the telly on mute. Great game. And what a ripper is Jamie Elliott. He's been pretty good tonight. Not a lot of touches, but he's made them count. Tossed in. Cameron with a double tap. O'Brien's fighting forward. Lays the tackle against his opposition ruckman. Pendlebury, 2 bites at the soccer and missed both. McCreary goes low and gathers. This time he breaks away. Looking to the outer side. Switches on to Schultz. Collingwood have the numbers. They're pressing here. He'll hand it across to Houston. Curling it across the body. Worrell was there, but it slipped through his mitts. Pressure's on now. Hinge trying to gather. Becomes the tackler of Myercheck. Adelaide have the numbers. Rolls back to Keane, and he places it to Saligo at half-back.
Goes wide to Cumming at right half-back. That's a rare error from Worrell. Dropped an uncontested mark. Good kick from Cumming. Finds Fogarty centre wing.
Myercheck could have almost held that ball in instead of releasing it and keeping it live, and Adelaide intercepting.
Risky ball from Fogarty, intercepted by Schultz. Long gathers, but he was tackled. Play on, says the umpire. Saligo was clean to Neil Bullen. Flat ball inside the forward 50, marked by Keys. 45 metres out, slight angle to the right.
Well, Keys is one player that slipped under my guard tonight. Normally hugely influential, just the 9 disposals, but he's got a chance to stamp his mark in this game now with his set shot for goal.
He's going to be touch and go in terms of distance, I think, Ben Keys. This one, he's having a look around.
He's going to take his best effort, Jamo.
Look at that big channel straight up the middle. Riley Thilthorpe just ran into it.
So Keys runs around on the left, kicks from the paint of 50, unloads. It's away to the left, and it's punched back in. Gathered by Neil Bullen. The whistle goes. Looks like the umpires have said that this has gone across the line. Just going to get together here.
I think it's touched the point post, has it? Which will mean it's out of bounds.
Yep.
Probably the best result. It's just a nothing kick in terms of that, isn't it? Because it goes to the line and your defence can either knock it through. Probably the best result for Adelaide is this, outside of a goal.
It's going to be a goal review. Umpire's call is a behind, so can't really tell from this angle that we're seeing on our screens because the goalpost is in the way. And we'll get a different angle on this one. It was touched, and then it goes into the post. So when it was touched, it's whether it was over the line or not.
I'll say it's out of bounds.
Boundary throwing for sure.
Well spotted by the field umpire, though. He was the one that blew the whistle, wasn't he?
Yep. So a no score. So the umpire's call was incorrect, but they get the right one now after review. And we'll have a boundary throw in deep in the left forward pocket.
Adelaide by 2 and pressing. Tossed in. Cameron runs in early. O'Brien read it best from behind. Taps it straight to Rankin. Snap on the tight angle across the face. And tumbles over for a boundary throw in right forward pocket.
Tell you what, that's the worst place to be as a small defender, and I was at Rankin at a boundary throw in.
And now he gets to do it again. Who's on him? Is it Dan Houston? Well, it could be Long.
The thing is, you know he's going to do it, but...
Yeah, exactly.
So boundary throw in. O'Brien gathered by Long. A handball out of defence, finds McCreary. Works in the phone box to Pendlebury, over towards Long at left half-back. A quick kick around the body towards Myercheck and Keane. Running over the top of it was Elliott. That's going to be way too high. Overzealous attempt there from Myercheck on Schonberg. Gets his first kick, but it's straight out of bounds on the full. Dawson was in space, but he missed the target. So Will Parker's going to get the free kick at left half back for Collingwood. Still no score in this final term. With 6 minutes gone. Adelaide a 7-4-46, Collingwood 6-8-44.
First game of the season out of contract, and your first kick is that. Not a great impression. Parker plays on, kick down the line, whistle on the drop, holding against Collingwood. Keane will take it for the Crows. They're up by 2. Inboard to Worrell. Haven't had a lot of scoring since half-time, so every goal matters on a wet night in Adelaide. Gives it across to Hinge, looking for the 50. Collingwood had numbers. Moore flies over the top of Fogarty, knocked it down. Frampton out wide to Josh Dacos as he squeezes his kick up to Schultz at right half back. Cost a first round pick for Collingwood to get Lachie Schultz, and spent a lot of time injured in the early stages in the black and white, but he's looking good this season. Through centre wing looking for Membry. Fist came in. Ricochets out to Elliott. Snaps around the body, hit and hope. It's tumbling in the Myercheck direction. Scoreboard pocket. Keane tries to hand it to Hinge. Missed his target under pressure. Chris tries to paddle it out. Picked up by Keane though. Drills it, not 15 towards Worrell. He's set upon. Got it out in the kick. Saligo now wrapped up by Membry. And a ball up to come near the Wanganeen stand. Adelaide still by the three-quarter time margin of 2 points. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
A throw up right near the boundary line. Dawson knocked it forward towards Long for Collingwood. Handball's inside the forward 50. Beat Membry. Worrell's there. His handball was too hot for Dawson. Gathered there by Crisp. Gets it off to Parker, whose flying shot at goal missed the target. And it's punched out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in right in front of the scoreboard.
Just continuing the theme of Adelaide's back six defending really well. Collingwood don't even look threatening when they go inside forward 50 in terms of ability to hit the scoreboard with goals.
Just takes one kick though. Down 2 inside 50 for the Pies. Tossed in. Cameron with the fist. Trickles towards Schultz. Hinge got there first. Kicks for territory. It's bouncing on the eastern side and over. Frampton asks the question and is rewarded. Insufficient intent. One of 16 players to play for the Crows in the power. Billy Frampton, the Premiership Magpie, gets the footy up towards the 50. Membry stuck in front, couldn't fly. Off hands, rolls towards Curtin. Terrible handball. Sold his teammate into immediate danger. And a quick tackle wraps up Worrell. Ball up to come, 45 out for Collingwood.
Right half forward, Cameron straight down to Houston. His kick was partially smothered. Membry just knocked it forward to a dangerous spot. Oh, De Goey! He just tried to soccer that out of the air. Could have gathered. Schonberg takes on the tackle. Handballs it back to Hinge. He was met by 2 Pies. And then Peatling tackles Myercheck out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in right in front of that scoreboard. There's the attendance tonight. What an effort from the Crows fans. There's plenty of Pies in the house too. 54,283. A proper sellout tonight.
That is a record for the Adelaide Crows at the Adelaide Oval. Tossed in, knocked towards the boundary line, and it rolls over in front of the Gavin Wanganeen stand. That beats the 2017 prelim of 53,817. So the biggest crowd ever for the Adelaide Crows at this venue. And it was a wet night.
It does look amazing when you look out over to that eastern stand, and it is an Australian term, chock-a-block.
Adelaide by 2, tossed in, right half forward for the Pies. Cameron down, Dacos wrapped up, that's Nick. Ball up, Collingwood still in dangerous territory. Cameron couldn't get a fist in on the right battle. Houston tucks Saligo into a headlock. We'll get another ball up. It's on a knife's edge. Both these sides just jostling for the slimmest of margins. Crisp out of the stoppage, looks for Elliott. Kick to 20 out. Worrell did well to get in. Diving handball to Schonberg. Miller are running out of room. Bangs it out of dodge. Up towards the eastern side. Thilthorpe there, knocked away. Josh Dacos hands it to Maynard. Collingwood inside 50. Elliott stays down. Fist came in from Worrell. Free kick going his way.
Yeah.
Had front position and Elliott impeded. Holding free kick to the Crows. They lead by 2. And we've played 10 minutes in this final quarter without a score.
So Worrell just drying the footy on his wet jumper.
It's been a fair scrap this last quarter, hasn't it?
Yeah. A real arm wrestle. Kick down the line, flying was Thilthorpe over the top. Good grab.
He needs to hold the ball here. Collingwood have got numbers back.
He's got Lockie Murphy if he wants him.
Goes wider to Curtin Jamo on centre wing. Defensive side.
It's the side that blinks first, isn't it?
Always. Oh, this is a dangerous kick. That went all of 15 metres. Looking for Saligo. Intercepted. The second effort, though, from Curtin was good. Wrapped up his opponent, crisp in the tackle. We'll have a ball up. Centre wing, outer side of the ground. The Crows lead it by 2. Braden Ingram.
How these two sides manage their interchanges with their stars in the final term will be critical because there's just been no goals for them to get their players off. Taylor Walker's been on the bench now for 15 minutes.
Been out the other side of the ground. They just can't get him on.
On the eastern wing out of the stoppage, Saligo tried the soccer mids. Dacos gathers, crunched. Here come the Crows. They're surging through the wing. Peatling to Keys. Schomburg smashed. Big tackle from Maynard. Turnover, Collingwood. Looping handball from Houston to Nick Dacos. Too strong against Saligo in the air. Hands it to Maynard. Long now turns. Collingwood on the charge. Up to half forward. To go in the target. Worrell threw his body in. Double fist, but straight back to Nick Dacos. Schultz to Majacek from 45. Kick smothered. What a desperate attempt there from Keane. This is finals footy. It's tremendous at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows by 2.
They just don't look like scoring at the moment, Collingwood. And again, hats off to the Crows, back 6. They've been superb.
Have to be 3 votes so far for Keane. Not trying to push you in either direction, you two. Boundary throw in. Houston gets the clearance inside the forward 50. Worrell with the double fist gathered by Keane again. Outside the D50, back to where it came from. Quaynor. Too good for Saligo. He marks 75 from goal. Right half forward for the Pies.
That's the kick. Take it off the line and look to switch to go around Adelaide's defence.
To the centre circle is Moore. Out wider to Maynard. The switch is on to side bottom. Lipinski's got space. Too slow for that one side bottom. So he's got the footy. 70 from goal. Left half forward. All the players are back there, Jamo.
He's likely to screw punt it in. He's gone for the drop punt.
Up towards the pocket. And coming across is the fist there from Worrell. We'll have a boundary thrown in the left forward pocket. 13 and a half minutes gone in this final term. No scores. It's still 7-4, 46, 6-8, 44 Collingwood.
Inside 50s this quarter, 11-3 again in favour of Collingwood. You just sense or think that the dam wall is going to break eventually, but it hasn't so far.
It's going to be efficient football that's going to win either team this game.
Tossed in, Cameron taps it down, 30 out. Schultz over the footy. Wrapped up by a couple. Ball up. Inside 50 for the Pies. Down 2. Tossed up. O'Brien paddles it. Looking for an exit. Picked off by Long. Handball wide to side bottom. Close to the boundary line. Wanted to keep it in. Only had Worrell next to him. Gave it away, but it's an up and under kick. Elliott sits underneath it. How has he got that? He was crunched between 2 bodies and he still managed to land in his lap. Jamie Elliott's thinking about a goal. He opens the angle, but he wasn't on the line when he started. It's a beautiful kick, but it's not going to count.
And it was short.
Bounced through. The Crows didn't commit, knowing it wasn't an actual disposal.
Well, I think it was the umpire calling out Nick Dacos standing next to the bloke with the man on the mark, so allowed Jamie Elliott to swing around on his right.
So he has to come back for a set shot here. Jamie Elliott on this angle from this distance has been able to do the miraculous. He's got 2 for the night. Huge kick in the context of their season. Elliott wants to share it. Pulls the kick late. Side bottom floated into space, but he missed him. Too hot off the fingertips and over the boundary line.
Wasn't a bad play, though, too. And would have been a right in the hands of still side bottom.
Inside 50s are 65 to 31.
Staggering. They're cricket numbers.
In favour of Collingwood.
Yep.
But they trail in the game by 2 points. Says a lot about both teams. Midfield dominance, but also the Crows' defence. From the boundary throw-in, Rankin got a quick kick away towards Keys and Murphy. Hands and knees was Josh Dacos. 4 Crows are in there. Saligo to Schonberg, who picks it up off the ground. Murphy was clean to Keys, but his handball was sharked by Crisp. He's kicked towards centre-half forwards, not the required journey. Fisted down by Dawson and Fogarty to Neil Bullen. Hinge steps back the other direction. It was gutsy, but it's paid off. Finds Rankin. Peatling's directing traffic. Curtin marks on the wing. He plays on. Kicks up towards his teammate in Saligo, but Frampton read it best. At left half back, there's going to be a free kick downfield going the way of Adelaide. Didn't spot that one. Saligo up towards Thilthorpe, but Darcy Moore got a hand in. Jamo.
Just take it in your hands, man, not on your chest.
Yes, he didn't really launch at that footy on the lead, did he? Thilthorpe waited for it to hit the chest. You can hear the crowd surge. Boundary throw in right half forward.
Collingwood lose tonight. Can they make top 4?
Good question. We'll have a look at the maths.
Tossed in. Thilthorpe looks for the tap. Pendlebury was there. Gets it to the broadcast wing for the Pies. Too low for McStay. Membry's fighting, but Adelaide have the numbers. Berry backtracks to Miller. Up to right half forward. His kick. Rankin caught behind Quaynor. Diving incoming. Head over it is Pendlebury. Handball missed. Keys picks it off into the 50. Looking for Walker. It's long. The foot race is on. Neil Bullen gathers. Tight in the pocket. Running out of room. Handballs around his opponent. Then tackled to ground by Houston. Calling for a holding the ball. Wasn't paid. It's walked over by Parker. Boundary throw in 20 out. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Well, on the live ladder, Collingwood at the moment, it would only sit 0.6% above Hawthorn if the scores stayed this place inside the top 4, so it's that tight.
And you've got Gold Coast with a game in hand, Braden, as well in that last round. Boundary throw in. Cameron ran over the top of it. And he smashes it through on the right boot. Wow, Collingwood have had all the play in the final term. They've had all the inside 50s. But the Crows hit you where it hurts on the scoreboard. Peatling goals, 8-4-52. Collingwood, 6-8-44. Almost 18 minutes gone in the final term for ABC Sport.
Not quite sure what Darcy Cameron did. He really just ran over it, stuck his foot out. It was a boundary throw that looked a bit short and just allowed Peatling to get onto it. They had a couple of Adelaide players in Keys and Rankin that were loose on the offensive side of that boundary throw-in, so they'll rue that as a defensive group for Collingwood. At some point, Collingwood are going to have to pull the earplugs here. You've still got just under 9 minutes remaining in this last quarter. They've had only 4 less disposals, but they've been inside 7 more occasions. They're nearly 100 metres more metres gained in this quarter, but they just haven't been able to score.
54,000 in attendance, and they're delirious. Adelaide by 8. Here they come out of the middle. Tap down. Schomburg to Berry. Bangs it. Bouncing towards the 50. Parker cuts it off, but missed Quaynor. Pressure on Perryman. Tackled by Rankin. Kick is miserable. Bounces over the line. Boundary throw in. 45 from home for the Crows.
Oh, lucky there.
Rankin let him have it as well.
They're riding every touch.
Wasn't it? Perryman just wanted to get rid of that hot footy.
Tossed in. Adelaide's 50. Thilthorpe double tap to Rankin. Fumbles. Side bottom comes the other way. Knocks him over the line. Boundary throw in again.
You just sense here Adelaide are smelling a bit of blood at the moment.
So boundary throw in 35 from home. You can hear the roar of the fans. 54,000 of them.
8.5 minutes remaining. 8 points up Adelaide.
Thilthorpe tried to take it out of the ruck. Bursting through was Dawson. Handballs off to Tex. Snaps from 30. Off the side of the boot. Out of bounds on the full. Away to the right-hand side. Side bottom. Plays on quickly. Finds Darcy Moore in the right back pocket.
Tight on the boundary line. Murphy closed on him, but the kick is good as he slices it up towards Frampton. He's at centre half back. Now to the eastern side. Kick to Lipinski. Sub still hasn't been activated for the Pies. Schomburg out there for the Crows. Lipinski to half forward looking for Myercheck. Tried to reel it in with one arm, couldn't. Neil Bullen backtrack towards Smith, lost his footing. Trying to rip it out is Murray. Just can't break open the elevator doors. Wrapped up by a couple. Ball up to come. Centre half forward for the Pies. Down 8. 8 minutes to go. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
McStay slow to get up in the ruck.
Socket out of the ruck by Thilthorpe. Hit the chest of Keys. He had Parker for company. They dive on top of the ball, and we'll have a ball up inside that centre square.
We did sense that Collingwood can't or don't have any room for error here. They can't concede another goal because they're finding it difficult to score themselves.
Last 5 games, Collingwood have won all of those. by less than 10 points. The overall margin is 22 points to favour of Collingwood.
A remarkable stat, and Hindra's knocked out in that ball up by Long, and he wins a free kick. Defensive side of the centre square. Crows are leading by 8 points. We're into time on, but still plenty of time left in the game. This is a perfect pass. Finds Schonberg. He's got some runners incoming. Handballs towards Berry. He's on the paint of the 50. Unloads to the goal square. At the back is Fogarty. Quaynor did well to get hands to it. Rushes it through for a minus score. Adelaide go to 8-5-53. Collingwood 6-8-44. 21 and a half minutes gone here at Adelaide Oval for ABC Sport.
What a ripper it's been. Collingwood now looking for the answer. Josh Dacos to right half back. They've done it in the past. They were down by 3 points in 2022, down 22 in 2023, and 13 as well, and they just kept finding a way, Collingwood. But this kick off right half back isn't a good one. Adelaide had the numbers and off hands over the boundary line. You just can't discount the Pies.
Well, you can't, Aaron, but the real concerning number is they've had 30 inside 50s in this second half. They've only kicked 1 goal 4. So, as I've said, they don't look threatening ahead of the ball. They don't even look like scoring.
Adelaide by 9. Tossed in, Philthorpe down. McStay, though, gets the handball out of there for the Pies. McCreary, courageous, put his head over it. Ricochets towards the 50. Myercheck didn't get low enough. Smith gathers. A bouncing ball as he snaps across the body into a Paddock on the broadcast wing. Foot race. Going to ground is Perryman. Sliding across Fogarty. Side bottom got it out to Moore. Now to Perryman. Across the body towards the 50. Crisp takes them up. 45 out. He'll have a set shot from a slight angle to the left. And the crowd in stunned silence.
Well, you talk about in context of the season, important kicks. This is huge. You don't finish top 4, history tells you it's difficult to win the flag. Massive kick here from Crisp.
7 goals, 6 for the season, Jack Crisp.
Jack Crisp at left half forward. Gives it everything from 50. It's online. Heading over the pack. It's through. 3-point game at the Adelaide Oval. Hearts in mouths across the border. Collingwood are still in this. They're now 7-8-50. Adelaide 8-5-53. Time on in the final term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Ed Allen is the latest of late injections into this game. He's got the subs vest off, and Lipinski has taken his place at the back of the bench.
What was something around this time that Collingwood kicked their goal in the third quarter too? It was very late.
It was Jamie Elliott at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, and here they are again at the 24-minute mark, getting a goal.
3 points the margin.
They just will not go away.
They will not.
They are absolute pests, Aaron.
O'Brien in the middle of the ground, down to Berry to Dawson. Saligo out the front, handballs it off to a teammate in Murphy. Oh, the hands were good, just missed the target on Saligo. There's been a free kick paid. Will it be 50? Because Collingwood have kicked that out of the park down the other end. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. So Murphy won the free kick, pushing the back against Harry Perryman. He's got it 60 metres out. Out wide to Worrell. He's going to go backwards to go forwards. He's going to pump it in long, deep inside the forward 50. Philthorpe takes the mark. He put his hands up, and it's stuck like glue. 25 metres out in the left forward pocket.
He certainly had one of his quieter nights, but 5 marks. When they stick, they absolutely stick. He had 3 Collingwood defenders there. Taylor Walker was his other teammate. Probably harsh, but Frampton should have got a fist to that, but probably the height was always difficult to do so.
Setting up for the snap. Philthorpe around the body. Straight through the middle. And he looks straight to the 54,000 fans in the crowd. They hit straight back the Crows. 9-5-59. Collingwood 7-8-50. 25 minutes gone final term.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gemmo, the work from the Adelaide Crows in that last centre bounce was magnificent. Their ability to shift the ball by hand and exit the front of the stoppage, which eventually drew the free kick to Lockie Murphy, was just superb. Crisp kicks one to put him within 3 points. Adelaide returns serve with Philthorpe. What a mark. What a finish.
He was so good last week too, wasn't he? He took a knock. It was a high one. He went off, got a check, came back on, clunked a few. Pretty much wins the game for Adelaide last week. And again, here he is just standing up at a crucial moment.
From a rain-affected slog to a final quarter shootout. Adelaide by 9. In the middle, Jordan Dawson tucks it under one arm and breaks away from Ngoe, but his kick is poor. Straight towards the sub. Handball from Allen, out wide, but the kick is smothered for Dacos. Quaynor now has to fight for it. Tunnels one through. Ngoe gathers, sends Collingwood inside 50. Schultz! Right place, right time. It was a hit and hope. And Lockie Schultz snaffles it. Schultz hands it off to Nick Dacos, the master from 45. He's incredible! Nick Dacos! No one can stop him. 3-point game. He is unbelievable. Collingwood 8-8-56. Adelaide 9-5-59. 4 to go. This is an insane game on ABC Sport.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, Nick Dacos, he's the game breaker, isn't he? He's the one that can break the game open for Collingwood. And I know it's easy sitting up here in the commentary box, but no one was within a bull's roar of him. And the foresight of Schultz to look back and feed it back to Dacos. I don't know what to say. 4 minutes left, 3 points the margin.
That's all there is to say.
It's incredible rivalry these clubs have.
Back in the middle of the ground, Ngoe first onto it, but Berry gathers, goes inside the forward 50, looking for Walker against Moore. 2 of the greats of the game. Moore worked it back, he's missed the handball. Coming back is Keys, back towards Saligo. It's hot footy in there towards Dawson. He missed the handball. Pendlebury gathers. Cameron back to Pendlebury from Dacos. Now Pendlebury kicks up towards centre half forward. Elliott's got 2 to beat. He was clean towards Myercheck, who dropped the ball crisp. His kick towards McCreary, running towards the 50. A squib ball, well gathered by Bond. Gets it to Murray, who takes on the tackle. Neil Bullen to Miller. A kick in hope to the middle of the ground. Keys is in front, and he takes the chest mark in front of Quaynor. Important.
Adelaide by 3. Final stages of a top 4 clash on ABC Sport. Keys pops up. Wide kick to Miller in the centre square. And now to the eastern wing to Cumming. Collingwood zoning off ahead. And now they'll play possession footy, the Crows. Cumming back on the 45 to Keane. Worrell at centre half back.
Oh, I think it's a little bit early for this. Still 3 minutes of actual game time. You still got to play the game out, Adelaide.
A kick in it. Worrell drives it long. Up towards Walker. Little nudge on Moore. Couldn't take the mark. Rankin put his head over it. Was collected. No free kick. Dawson tackled by Phillips. Dropped the footy. They keep fighting for it. Ed Allen knocks it towards the boundary line. It'll be tossed in front of the Bashir stand. Adelaide by 3.
You'd almost imagine Adelaide would put a spare behind the ball here, Chamo, just to give them a little bit of security.
Alex Neil-Bullen's been up there. That's why they've been able to have Quaynor and Darcy Moore just sit that general behind in defence on their own.
29 minutes gone. Bursting through the pack was Ngoe. Got it to Dacos. It was sharped though by Rankin. Tackled by McCreary. Quick kick forward. Oh, Miller had his head taken off. Tackled by Quaynor. Missed by the umpire. Ball up near centre wing, out of sight of the ground.
Oh, what a finish.
The heart rate's high up here. The Crows lead by 3.
Like
Almost 2 minutes remaining.
And Isaac Cummings gone behind the ball.
O'Brien down. Keys tackles Perryman. Another soccer attempt from Schultz misses. Collingwood have tried a few tonight. Saligo now jams it up to left half forward. Philthorpe wrestling with Frampton. Picked up by Keys. Diving handball to the big man. The monster Philthorpe toes it to Walker. He's battling with Moore. They can't keep it in. Boundary throw in front of the Risciuto stand. Adelaide by 3. If they win, top 2 guaranteed. Collingwood, if they lose, could slip as low as 8th by the end of the season. They need this to stay in the hunt for top 4, the Pies. Tossed in. O'Brien down. Trying to drive through his Berry. Ran out of room. Another ball up to come as the tackle's laid on Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, ball up to Adelaide's friends at the moment. It does take time off the clock.
Left half forward Adelaide leading by 3. Going to be a free kick in the ruck contest. Going the way of Cameron O'Brien. Just pulled him off the footy, so Cameron goes straight down the hay, diddle over the back, waiting there is Smith, tackled by Elliott. Ball security holding it in. The Pies are staying off him, hoping that he gets pinged for holding the ball, but we'll have a ball up at centre half forward.
It's that ruck contest. That is just incredibly soft. It's hard to judge who's actually going to win the free.
So Cameron up against O'Brien. Cameron knocks it forward. Neil Bullen steps up, kicks to space. The foot race is on. Thilthorpe and Frampton. He's got some support with Moore. He's clean. He gathers. He does well. To centre half back is Moore. Out towards the centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Dawson flying over the top was Schultz. Gathered by Neil Bullen. Back to Miller, who kicks forward up towards left half forward. Players in space. It was Keys and Thilthorpe. They get it out over the boundary. We'll have a throw in 75 metres from goal.
31-minute mark of the final term. Adelaide by 3.
Under 1 minute remaining.
Big stoppage this one.
Listen to the crowd. They know what it means. Tossed in. Cameron down. Pendlebury walks through traffic. Slung forward. It bounces to Myercheck. He missed it, but becomes the tackler on Key. Holding the ball. He didn't have any prior.
Wow.
Free kick, Collingwood. They're down 3. Myercheck as the clock runs down. Up to right half forward. Fist on Schultz. Bounces towards Cripps. Good tackle. He's brought to ground right half forward in front of the Wanganeen stand. Can Collingwood do it again? Ball up. Cameron down. Tracked by Crisp. He fell over. O'Brien. Handball picked off by Perryman. Tackle dropped it. No free kick. Pendlebury on the 50. Elliott rises. Can't take it. Hits the deck. They collapse. 35 from home. Miller around of nowhere. How did he get the footy? Just ripped it away. Banged it on the boot. Adelaide to get into it. It's taken 9 years. But Adelaide finally conquers the final down. The Crows confirm their premiership credentials. They win by 3 in an epic. They've blown the Richter scale. Thunderous ecstasy. A record 54,283 has seen the Crows lock in a top 2 finish for the first time since 2017. Collingwood, their top 2 hopes hanging by a thread, but the Crows are now the benchmark of the competition. They've won 8 in a row, 11 of their last 12, and they slay their boogeyman to win 9-5-59 to 8-8-56. It had everything. Collingwood up by 25 at the first break. Adelaide with 5 unanswered goals in the second term to lead by 5. A 2-point game at the final hurdle and a seesawing final quarter with Adelaide falling over the finish line through Riley Thilthorpe. They win by 3 points. What a night at the Adelaide Oval. We're with you all the way to 11 Eastern. We'll get some reaction from both the rooms. Get in touch with us as well. 0437 774 774. At times the season has been a grind, but if September is anything like that, we're going to have a lot of fun. Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco, how are you feeling, Chamo?
Pretty relaxed, actually. I think in terms of where Adelaide are at, it's a game, but they've been able to put big blocks together. But once again, hats off to Collingwood. They just keep coming at you, don't they? It hasn't gone their way. They've now lost, 5 out of the past 6. But the margins have just been so small. They're in absolutely every game, and they just keep it alive. But Adelaide will look at that critically, and there's a couple of turnovers where they should have got it to boot. They tried to overhandball and use and then fumbled across their half-forward line, and on 3 occasions Collingwood were able to go back the other way. But, gee, what a win. And you cannot take away, what's that? 2017 was the last time.
2016 was the last time they beat them.
So, out of 12 goes, they've done it once, also 1 draw, and the margin once again on this occasion, 3 points. It's just been an exceptional rivalry.
It was the last box to tick, beating Collingwood. They hadn't done it in nearly a decade, and they did it in the most dramatic fashion, which is almost a testament in itself, because they kept falling short in close games against the Magpies, and they've done it tonight, Josh Franco. They've got over the line.
Yeah, look, that was an epic game of footy, and as you said, Gemma, hats off to Collingwood. They came over here. Personally, I wasn't all that confident in what they were going to produce, but right from the get-go they were outstanding, the Pies. But Adelaide, wow, I mean, that's secured, I think you said, top 2 spot. That's 2 home finals. The destiny's in their own hands, but they really deserve to be where they are currently. The way that they've attacked this season, the way they attacked that game, the way they held up under pressure tonight, and we'll go through some of the numbers later, but 71 inside 50s they conceded tonight, which is a concern in itself. So is the clearance count, 52 to 38. But the way they were able to hold up, and I mentioned a couple of times that eventually when you see those sort of numbers going inside 50 for an opposition, eventually that dam wall breaks, but it didn't tonight. Outstanding.
2 disposals differential overall for the night, but the tackling and the pressure from Collingwood was immense, 86 to 64. Adelaide were on top in the contested, which probably goes a little bit against the clearance work, because Collingwood was so good around the centre clearance and the stoppage. And maybe Adelaide got on top, it seemed, without having a look at the stats in that last quarter. But the uncontested, Collingwood just jumped out of the blocks. They were able to shut that down a little bit. But clearance work, 52 to 38. But that's the one that is just glaring, isn't it, too? It's the 37 to 71 overall. So in that last quarter, it seemed to be 17 to 9 once again. And the clearance worked 15 to 13. So Adelaide were able to get on top. And you just talk about the margins, 56% disposal efficiency, Collingwood 59. But 2 goals apiece, 2-goal one. But the defence of Adelaide is incredible. And I think Rory Laird now comes back into that team. We saw Josh Rochelle walking around the ground in the warm-up. I wouldn't have thought he'd be back in the next couple of weeks, but
Max Michelani.
Yeah, he'll be back in a few weeks, won't he? Just with his
first week of the finals.
Yeah. And having a look at Collingwood too, you have a look at them. So Bobby Hill was the one. He had a test. He was illness, didn't come up. Jeremy Howe, you would think he's probably got another week for concussion, but he'll make a big difference in their back line once again too. So a couple of players to come back in for both sides.
Not all doom and gloom for Collingwood either. Because of the Giants' win earlier today against the Suns, Gold Coast still have a game in hand. But if both those sides win their remaining fixtures, which they should, they'll be favourites in all 3. They'd be level on points, and percentage would be the difference. Collingwood is currently ahead. They're also a percent ahead of Hawthorn because of the close finish tonight. So the Pies are still in the top 4.
Yep.
And they just need to beat Melbourne next Friday by a decent enough margin, and they'll still get the double chance.
Yeah. So we talked about it in the pre-game. They'd lost 4 of their last 5. We all expected a response. They didn't have to win tonight. They probably almost should have by those numbers. Take away Adelaide's amazing defence to get 71 inside 50s and to win clearances by 17. So a big statement without winning, I think, from Collingwood. You don't go 14-2, as you mentioned as well, Aaron, without being a great side. So a phenomenal effort from them. They didn't get the 4 points, but their percentage and all the work that they've done at the start of the season holds them in good stead. And you're right, Aaron, a win next week, and well enough, they'll finish 4th.
Couple of texts filtering through, 0437 774 774. Craig in Canberra says, looking for a missing boy named Josh. Last seen wearing a black and white shirt with a number 7. I think he had 6 touches in the last quarter, Craig, so maybe he wasn't there in the final moments, but he certainly didn't disappear entirely. He was hot at the start, Josh Dacos.
Yep. Third quarter, what did he have here?
Third quarter he had 2, but fourth he had 6. So, a little bit quiet in the second half, but wasn't totally absent.
Nick had 4 in the last quarter, so...
I think in fairness to Josh as well, the ball wasn't in Adelaide's forward 50 a lot. Although when they did go in there, they looked very dangerous and hit the scoreboard. But it was just one of those games, wasn't
I think that, again, this is the stuff that blows me away. Overall, Adelaide's defence, they were able to... the intercept possession was 37-1 in Collingwood's forward 50, and they also had to contend tackles inside forward 50 for Collingwood was 32. Adelaide only had 6 in their forward 50. So it was one, the footy was in there as much as it was in terms of the inside 50 count, which was heavily Collingwood's way 71 times, and they were able to intercept as well as had to put up with a tackling pressure from Collingwood. So in terms of overall effort, Collingwood outstanding tonight, but they just couldn't get it on the scoreboard.
Even statistically, I'd like to know the last side that went inside 50 more than 70 times and lost. Huge effort from Adelaide. And a big effort from Collingwood as well.
Yeah. Testament to the Crows as well, that they just
100%.
keep finding different ways to win.
Yeah.
And this entire win streak has had so many different scenarios in it, from dominating Gold Coast to coming back against Melbourne. They had to wrestle their way out of a really high-pressure game out west. Hawthorn jumped them a couple of weeks ago. Collingwood did the same tonight, and they've all had different elements to them, and it's just the versatility and the adaptability of the Crows that this is a polarising side compared to what we saw last year and even the seasons prior, that they feel like they can take on anyone now.
Is it a little, without being negative, Nancy, is it a little bit of a concern their first quarters, though? Can you keep coming back and rolling the dice if you dish up those first quarters like we saw against Hawthorn a couple of weeks ago and tonight against Collingwood?
Well, I think you'd have to go... I'd have to have a look at what it is for the year, but certainly against 2 top 8 sides and being able to get back in, I think that's, for me, the big tick.
That's a massive positive.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're right. You wouldn't want to go into... I mean...
You wouldn't want to face Geelong before goals.
Yeah, well, even come tonight,
Yeah.
I felt that Adelaide would win. Maybe the margin, I thought, might have been a little bit bigger. I'm actually worried about next week when Adelaide go to Melbourne and take on the Kangaroos at Docklands.
Crows 16-6 in first quarters now this season as well. Adelaide winners by 3 points in an absolute barn-burning game. Let's head into the rooms for some reaction with Brayden Ingram.
Well, this is the start of plenty of use of these rooms in the coming weeks. 2 home finals. The Crows are now locked in to host, so they could be very busy in these rooms in the coming weeks as they come in. It's maybe a little bit subdued, to be honest. Maybe a little bit of, hey, this is a great win, but there's still a lot more to come. Plenty of love from all the family and friends in the rooms, and now they're getting a big applause as they circle up for the song. And this one will be belted out. You can hear plenty of wooing. They're ready to go, knowing what they've accomplished. Finally slain their boogeyman, as Aaron said, post-siren. Tex has got his 2 boys in his hands, and we're ready to go. Now, interestingly, one of Tex's sons has got a bit of a wobbly lip, and pre-game you got a photo of Nick Dacos, because Nick Dacos is his favourite player and Collingwood is his club. Well, tonight the Pies have gone down to the Crows. Tex gets a win here and will be joined by one of their stars in the room shortly.
Poor old Louis probably didn't have the night he was after, but his dad certainly did.
Staring down, Tex, staring down.
2 goals for the night. Speaking of the goal scorers, so 2 to Tex and Fogarty, singles to Curtin, Thilthorpe the match winner, Rankin, Peatling and Cumming for Collingwood, 2 to Elliott and Membry, singles to Houston, Cameron, Crisp and Dacos. And I kind of gave you the scale of Collingwood's season, having to beat Melbourne on Friday night to lock in top 4. I was being very generous with Adelaide's as well in the siren call. So locked into top 2, but they've got North next week. they're essentially high-price favourites to be the minor premiers for the first time since 2017.
Well, the local paper that Andrew Capel writes for has already said they've won the minor premiership. They've gone early.
They've gone early.
They're saying that
Alistair Clarkson won't like that.
saying that they've got that win guaranteed against North. It would be a shock if they lost next week, but Geelong's percentage is there. If somehow they lost, Geelong can win big in the last two and go past them. Unlikely.
Crowd as well, so 54,283 on a wet night in Adelaide. It had been sold out for weeks. It's the biggest AFL crowd at this venue. So the Sandfuls had bigger numbers back in the day, but in terms of the AFL, this is the best that Adelaide or Port Adelaide has ever recorded.
Well, I'm led to believe it was tipped to be the most viewed TV program in Australia year to date too. That was the build-up.
It wasn't on free-to-air in most of the states, but we'll talk about that later.
What, this one? Yeah. It was here. It was on free-to-air in Adelaide,
yes.
and that's all that matters.
Most of the other, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the Crows, because what a night it was for them. Winners by 3 points. Let's head into the rooms.
With a man who's been through the highs and the lows, and this is very much a high, Riley O'Brien. To get the job done, Aaron said the side, the Pies, they're your boogeyman, and finally, after 10 straight losses, you've defeated them. How does that feel?
Yeah, amazing. We've obviously had a lot of close encounters with them. We've always lost it, so our first win against the Pies for I don't know how long.
Since 2016.
2016, yeah, right before my time. So it's a great feeling and good to get the win.
How did you sort of scrap over the line again? Similar to what happened in the Hawks game, you just had to fight right to the very end.
Yeah, slow start again, which was disappointing, and then they probably had the run of it throughout the game. I think inside 50s they smashed us, clearance they smashed us, so it wasn't really on our terms, but we're able to grit it out and get the win and hold on to another close one.
Can you take us through Matthew Nick's words to you at three-quarter time? Darcy Cameron had a pretty strong third term. What did Nixie come to you with?
Yeah, he just said the team needs me, basically, to try and nullify him. He's obviously had a real impact in that third quarter, getting behind the ball and taking marks and getting involved. So essentially getting back to his body, trying to take away his influence and have a big fourth quarter, because I had a bit of a stinker, but it happens on the big jobs, I guess.
Two home finals now locked in. That goes a long way to getting to where you want to go, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, your goal is to make finals, and then making the top four, and then top two is a real bonus. So we're in a really strong spot, and we just got to, I guess, probably play better than that when it comes to finals to win games. So a lot to review from this one and get better, but obviously super exciting going into September.
Let's send it upstairs.
Riley, Rod Jamieson, huge win. How good was the Irishman tonight?
Yeah, amazing, mate. He's been unbelievable all year. Our defence held up so well all night. I think, as I said, the inside 50 count we got smashed. So those boys back there, led by the Irishman, as you say, he was unbelievable and just a rock of Gibraltar back there.
Just the clearance work. It was unusual to be so one-sided. I guess that was a concern, but you were able to pull that back in the last quarter.
Yeah, we got back on our terms in the last quarter, but yeah, they were probably a bit more proactive than us, probably had quicker feet and able to win that loose ball and get it going their way, which makes it hard to play our brand from there when it's in our back half and we're going to move the ball length the ground in the wet. It makes it very difficult, but it was disappointing to lose that clearance battle, but it's pretty pleasing to win the game despite that. So it's pretty exciting when we can get it on our terms. It'll be great.
Riley, Josh Franco up here in the box. Congratulations on the win tonight. Now, I don't want to sound too negative here, but you mentioned your first quarter was a little bit slow, and they have been quite slow in recent weeks. I guess when the dust settles, is that a concern moving forward? Because if you roll the dice against the sides under immense pressure in come finals, then eventually, potentially, you run out of luck. Is that a bit of a concern, those first quarters?
Yeah, 100%. It'll be one that we review and hit pretty hard, because it's happened against Melbourne, Hawthorn and now Collingwood. So we know that in a final, we won't be able to probably recover that against a really good team that's on. So, we need to review that, and we need to make sure it doesn't happen again, because we can't give sides a 5-goal head start and expect to keep winning games of footy.
The follow-up to that, though, Riley, a couple of years ago, Collingwood had this aura about them, and they spoke publicly about how when they were down at three-quarter time, they had so much belief in themselves because of their track record that they never, ever felt out of contests. Is that where your mindset is now, that you feel like you can win in any given scenario?
Yeah, the group feels super mature, super composed late in those games. I think in the past we probably went a bit safe, went a bit fearful maybe, and didn't win those close games, but we've had really good success in there, and the actual composure of the group and maturity of the group. Everyone's eyes are up and engaged and in a really good spot and feeling really confident in those close games and those high-pressure moments.
Well, just straight after the game, what did you feel the team did really well tonight without having the view of any stats at all?
Mate, good question. I think we really, after quarter time, probably outside the stoppage, our contest work around the ground was pretty strong. That was my feel. We probably got beaten up in the first quarter and then able to turn that around. Then we were able to also stop their corridor game. They want to play through the corridor, get it going through there. In first quarter, they had it going through there. And then we're able to turn that around and restrict their corridor ball use. So that's a key against Collingwood. We did that really well from quarter time onwards, I felt. And as I mentioned before, our backs were just unbelievable, as they have been all year.
It's an incredible spectacle, I've got to say, too. It was 54,000, and the conditions as well. It was like bulls going at it just to watch how hard it was in those conditions to be able to play and execute.
Yeah, it's a good scrap. We love those conditions. We've had a bit of that this year, and we really embrace it. We back ourselves in the contest, and we really embrace those conditions, and I love gritting out a win like that. It's very special.
Tell us about big Riley Thilthorpe, Riley O'Brien, because Billy Frampton probably had his number across the night, even though it was the pantomime villain, and he got him back in round 10 as well. But to be able to stand up in the biggest of moments and kick the match winner after you've really had your colours lowered, that would be a tremendous moment for him.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable all year, Filthy, and Bill's they had a good battle tonight, and we speak a lot about moments in games, and that's what close games and high-pressure games and probably finals come down to. It's just taking a moment and executing, and he had that chance and was able to take that big mark, execute the goal, and that won us the game in the end. So, it was really special to see that, and I think that's a sign of a really mature player and a mature group to take those moments and get the job done.
Now, the town's very excited. They're saying Adelaide Crows minor premiers, but there is one more game to go. You've got the Kangaroos next weekend, Rob. Do you play all your heavy hitters? Are you anticipating to really use it as a final training run?
Yeah, I think you don't want to flirt with form, and I think it's a really good chance to go over to Melbourne and execute on the road and play some good footy. And then obviously you got the bye the week after that. So, good chance to keep improving. There's obviously things from our game tonight that weren't at the level, so it's a good chance next week to I guess, fine-tune those things, play our best footy and hopefully get the win and go into finals in some good form.
Now, on current form, just before we let you go, I know there's been some upsets this round and there might be next weekend as well, but currently it's predicted that you would play Collingwood again in the first week of finals. Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, love it. Bring it on. That'd be awesome. So, we're on a streak against them now of one. So let's keep that rolling. But we'll play whoever we need to play and get the job done. That's the plan.
You've got their number now, Rob. Congratulations on an amazing win tonight.
Thanks, fellas. Cheers.
Adelaide winners by 3 points. Riley O'Brien downstairs joining us, part of the leadership group with the Adelaide Crows, and had a tough battle tonight with Darcy Cameron. Copped a spray at three-quarter time from the senior coach, but managed to turn it around in the final quarter. We'll do our best as well to get some reaction from the Pies rooms with Braden Ingram downstairs. Still with you for the next 24 minutes on ABC Sports, so you can get in touch on the text line 0437 774 774. Just rolling through some of these now, and there was a lot of text about the umpiring, which she thought a little bit. Like the count was in favour of Collingwood early, and the home crowd didn't like that. And then there was a few in the third quarter. I reckon they missed against Adelaide, and Collingwood would be aggrieved about that. Final quarter felt pretty fair, Josh, by the end of it all.
Well, look, and I think even in the first quarter, keeping in mind, Collingwood dominated the play, and when you dominate play, then you get the rub of the green generally with the umpires as well. So I think that's sort of half of the course.
Ray from the Riverland says, great call and a great win to the Crows. Love listening to ABC every week. Let's sit back and see what the next 2 weeks bring for the Adelaide Footy Club. Also a message in from Rick in Margaret River, who says, love the call, amazing game, and Rod Jamieson, you have to keep doing it. What will the punters do on their tractors without you? Don't worry, he's not going anywhere, Rick. Jamo's still young at heart. He's just gearing up. He's halfway through his innings.
I love it, Rick.
50 to come for sure, right? Chris in Tabletop New South Wales says, what about the Adelaide throws? Can't get over how many throws the umpires missed. Wet night.
Pick that up.
High stoppage. I mean, there was a couple, I reckon, on the outer side that on replay managed to weave their way out of the stoppage. And I think the most egregious one might have been the Isaac Cumming goal.
The goal where they slingshotted it. We didn't notice it from 80 metres away, but social media lit up pretty fast on the Keys effort, apparently.
Momentum swinger there as well.
The crow throw.
And Fran in Melbourne says, exciting call, bad luck for my Pies, hoping Craig McRae fixes what needs to be fixed. We'll admit, Fran, I feel like they got a bit of their groove back tonight, Collingwood. They didn't get the win, but they looked like the Collingwood of old compared to the past fortnights.
They did, absolutely. And they started the game superbly, dominated that first quarter, and they, as you said, did look like the Collingwood of old. 71 inside 50s for only 8 goals. That would be a concern for McRae and the coaching staff.
We're getting some reaction from Collingwood in a moment's time. While we're on the Crows, I've got to ask you about Josh Worrell, Jamo and Josh. We've been making a case as potentially his first All-Australian Blazer this season, and tonight he was prolific. 27 touches, and as you touched on, 71 inside 50s against, and he led the charge to try and hold the line.
He is just so dependable. And obviously with Keane, Murray, Butts, if he does get back into this side, they do look rock solid, but Worrell has just gone from strength to strength, hasn't he?
Debuted 4 years ago. Always had the height. I'm not quite sure if... how do you know? If they thought he was probably more of a half-backer than a deep defender. But he's been incredibly reliable. I'd be enormously surprised if he didn't make All-Australian this year. He's just been outstanding. And the other things that go with it, he's had 12 contested. 4 inside 50s as well. So he's getting down the ground, 10 ground ball gets, plus what I love, and I think we called it early, just his ability. I think Collingwood went in that first quarter and he allowed his immediate opponent, might have been...
Embry?
Yeah, to go under the footy, and he just sat back from behind and read the football and took a mark, and it was just well done, because a lot of the time a defender will actually go with the player because they actually just want to compete and bring it to ground, but he's had an outstanding year. 446 metres gained as well, and as you touched on, 6 marks in defence, and Mark Keane's had 23. So the 2 key defenders have been the major ball winners for Adelaide.
Question without notice, Jamo, and Aaron and Tom.
Well, I don't have to answer it then.
You're Matthew Nicks, and I know what the answer's going to be, but do you start to look at your list, and if anyone's banged up, nothing on the end of it next week?
Well, they rested Laird against Hawthorn and Tex against the Eagles, who's left that might need a spell.
Yeah.
No, I reckon you play.
I know you've got the week off, so that's the kicker.
You wouldn't want to have 2, would you?
No.
Heading into the final.
I reckon you play. Laird will come back in, and whoever it is going to be really stiff. Probably Schoenberg would be the player, or Murphy the 2, I think so.
On the Matthew Nicks one, Coach of the Year? To go from essentially bottom 4 to top?
Have to be.
Has to be.
Have to be.
Yeah.
That's a Monty, surely.
Which is wild when you think 12 months ago there were calls for his head.
Yeah.
And that's footy sometimes, isn't it? The swings and roundabouts.
Well, the expectation from the Crows last year, which Josh talked about earlier, was to play finals, and that was their own expectation. And I know they've lowered their eyes in a big way this season, which has probably helped them, that hindrance that they had last year. But that was probably understandable, because I think Crows fans were maybe not expecting this, but certainly a finals appearance last year, and they've certainly delivered in spades a year later.
Collingwood now, so Tom Mitchell omitted, Will Hoskin-Elliott omitted. Craig McRae was incredibly frustrated last week with their effort, their intensity and their defensive running. Did they look better without them tonight?
Well, I think they did.
Yeah.
Look, it was interesting, even watching the game against Hawthorn last week. Tom Mitchell really stood out from a negative point of view, just his lack of ability to run. And the game now is, you've got to have speed. You have to have speed. If you don't have speed, you're dead in the water. And I understand you need the mix, but you'd rather have more speed than not.
Unless you're Scott Pendleton.
He was amazing,
someone
wasn't
like
he?
him, yeah.
Yeah, 21st season feels like comfortable for him. He'll be able to do it easily. Adelaide winners by 3 points here at the Adelaide Oval. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco wrapping it all up. Let's get some reaction from the Collingwood rooms with Braden Ingram.
Yeah, I'm joined by Josh Dacos down here. Josh, it felt like the damn wall was going to bust when you had the ball camped inside Crows forward half for about 10 minutes in that final quarter. What stopped you from just getting over the line there in the end?
Yeah, it did. We had lots of re-entries and like you said, played the ball. In our front half, I think the weather made it tough, and also just how compressed the ground was. But, it's a disappointing result. It was a really, really good game, finals-like game, and I think we're really proud of the way we played tonight.
Could you have done much more to press home that advantage that you had at quarter time?
Sorry, what was that?
Could you have done more to press more on that advantage? Obviously, you had that 3 or 4 goal lead at the first break, and then they came back.
I feel like we did what we needed to do. I think if you told me before the game we're going to have a 4-goal lead after quarter time, I'd take that every day of the week. They play this ground so well, and I thought we came out really strong, kind of took them by surprise, but unfortunately, they're a really good team and kicked a few in the second quarter, and it was, really close again.
You're used to having the noise of the crowd very much on your side when you play at the MCG. Could you notice that tonight, that the Crows fans were really willing them over the line?
Yeah, a little, yeah. I mean, they've got a passionate supporter base, and I think it was a packed house tonight, so definitely more of them than us, and it wasn't too many goals kicked tonight, but when they did, they definitely let you know about it.
And what's the messaging post-game, given now your chance to drop out of that top 4 and possibly miss out on the double chance?
Yeah, we haven't had a team meeting after this game. I think everyone's quite pleased, even though obviously the result doesn't go away. There's a lot of pride, and I think we had so many opportunities to win it. A lot of the stats, I'm sure, would probably be in our favour, whether it's inside 50s and clearance, I thought were really good. So no doubt we'll review that back in Melbourne, but for us, it's straight to next week. We've lost a few on the trot right now, but a win next week, and as long as we qualify, that's all that matters for us. We know that if we can play a good brand, we'll travel anywhere and be ready to go.
A few questions from the team upstairs.
Yeah, Josh, Rod Jamieson, why do these two teams, Collingwood and Adelaide, the last 5 particularly was 22 points the overall margin, another 3 points again tonight. How is it so tight, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have the answers for you, but I've definitely seen that trend over the last few years, and usually, we've got the better of them tonight. They win by 3 points, but it's just always like a finals-like game. I feel like both our structures really match up against one another, and it's a contest. So it's a credit to them, and I'm just really proud of the boys tonight.
Darcy Cameron was great tonight in the ruck, and your clearance work, as well.
Yeah, super. He's been pivotal to our success for the last few years, and thought tonight he stood up really tall. His contest is unbelievable. His work rate for a big man, and he definitely gave us a lot of first use.
Found it really interesting, Josh, when you said you were pleased with the night, because we did feel as a team up here that was some of the best footy you've played over the last month, and Craig McRae really threw it out there at the end of last week's game, saying there was a lack of system and fight, and you've got to judge us on our response. Do you feel like you did respond and you're back to your best footy?
Absolutely. I feel like tonight we were quite dominant, like you said. In that last quarter, we had our opportunities. Boys tipped in all night, and I feel like we're really proud. Obviously, the result didn't go away. We've had games where we've won them and been a bit disappointed, and this is the opposite. We're really proud of the way we played. Obviously, didn't get the result. It's like you said, our best performance in almost 5-6 weeks. I think it's at a good time, to get us ready, and those types of games are going to be coming up.
What was it like last week with Craig McRae? Because I've never seen him that beetroot red in a press conference before. Has he shown much anger across his tenure with you? What was it like?
Oh, I think he knows when the boys need a rev up and need some stern words. And last week he was obviously super disappointed. Us as players were super disappointed. The way Hawthorn played, they were awesome, and they have been trending, but we probably made it a little bit too easy for them. And during the week, he was just really positive. He knows that for us it was a few corrections. I think we showed that tonight. We're back to our best, and they're a juggernaut in offence, and they kind of struggled to get the ball inside 50. So I think it says a lot about our team defence, which has been really strong all year.
You're pretty close to your best 23, Josh. So no Jeremy Howe tonight is a big loss. Bobby Hill's the one who you haven't had for a couple of months now. How important is he in your structure? How has his loss hurt you?
Yeah, I think starting on Howie, I think he's pivotal to our structure. He's been our general down back all year, and I feel like he's probably our most valuable back, and we've missed him. He's unfortunately had a tough last 6 weeks with that groin injury and then concussion. So just when we look like we're getting him back, unfortunately we've lost him, and for Bobby, I know we just want him back. He's spark and energy. He'll no doubt add to that pressure in the front half as well.
There are reports that he made the trip over as well. Has he been with the group, and what's it been like?
Yeah, Bobby's been awesome. It's been good. He's excited. He's ready to go. He's just continuing his training to get ready for these sorts of games. These games like tonight was like a finals-like match. So, looking forward to getting him back.
Josh, just on a lighter note, I always like to read the pocket profile, and Billy Frampton said the coach's favourite saying. You had to guess what that might be?
Couldn't tell you, mate. Do you want to tell me?
Manage the moments.
Yep, that's probably one. Yep, I'll agree with that.
and who's the best dressed?
Best dressed? Definitely not my brother. He's shocking. Maybe Isaac Quainer.
Okay. Will Hoskin-Elliott here, and apparently Darcy Cameron's the worst dressed as well. Would that be fair?
Yeah, he wouldn't be far off.
Nice way to end, I think, there, Josh. Thank you so much for your time. And, great contest. Good to see you back in form, and hopefully you can get the job done against the Ds.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Great to have Josh Dacos. 19 touches for the night out there for Collingwood. They lose by 3 points in a seesawing affair. Up by 25 at the first change. Adelaide kicked 5 unanswered goals in the second to lead by 5. Margin down to just 2 points at the final change. Adelaide winners in the end. 9-5-59 to Collingwood's 8-8-56. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Rod Jamieson, Josh Franco wrapping things up here at the Adelaide Oval. And there's a lot of footy still to come. So you'll get all the fallout tomorrow as part of AFL Sunday at midday. That's Eastern Standard Time as well through the ABC Listen app. 3 games to wrap up the round. So North Melbourne and Richmond at Bellary from 1 Eastern. Sydney and Geelong, arguably the game of the day. The Swans without Brodie Grundy, but Geelong hoping to lock in a top 2 finish at 2:30 Eastern. And then the Western Bulldogs host the West Coast Eagles. Get the job done. And then the Dogs just have to beat Fremantle in what might be the game for the final spot in the 8. Earlier today, speaking of upsets, the Giants defeated Gold Coast by 35 points, and arguably it isn't an upset because they've had the Suns' number. They've won 15 of the last 16 games in the old Expansion Cup. But the Giants basically swapped spots with the Suns as a result. They moved from 8th to 6th, and the Gold Coast have a game in hand but are teetering on the edge of the 8. They've still got to match up with Port Adelaide and Essendon on their run home. In that game, the Giants led the entire afternoon. Finn Callaghan, 29 touches, best on ground, and Harry Ralston had 4 goals, the young man. Carlton defeated Port Adelaide by 54 points in the middle game, 7-3 opening quarter. The Blues never really looked back, and they dominated centre clearance, 19-7 at the end of the day. Harry Mackay with an equal career-high 7 goals. A couple of injury news, some injury news out of that. So Cooper Lord concussed for the Blues. Josh Sim was subbed out with a cork calf, and Alir rolled his ankle but managed to play out the game. And then Hawthorn defeated Melbourne by 36 points to swap spots with Freo. They move up to 5th, Fremantle down in 7th. The Hawks had a 5-1 opening term and again led throughout the contest. Jack Gunston with 7 goals. And Luke Bruce had a nice moment in his penultimate game, kicking his 553rd career goal. So the live ladder right now with 3 to go tomorrow. Adelaide in top spot, a game ahead of, or 2 games ahead of Geelong, who play tomorrow, and a game and a half ahead of Brisbane, who are currently in 2nd. So Adelaide, Brisbane, Geelong and Collingwood in 4th. The Pies are ahead of the Hawks by 0.4%. Hawthorn in 5th. The Giants in 6th. Also on the same amount of wins, but they're a bit further back, 7% behind Hawthorn. Fremantle's another 9% behind the Giants on the same amount of wins, and Gold Coast on 56 with 2 games in hand in 8th. The Western Bulldogs 52 playing tomorrow in 9th. So tight finish, and we'll have it all for you on ABC Sport. Who had the votes tonight? Jamo, you've been thrown the heavy task. Now you were very contentious a couple of weeks ago, so let's see if you can make amends tonight. And for those who weren't with us for that night, he didn't find a way to put the showdown medalist in his votes a few weeks ago.
All right, Ed Allen. Very good. I mean, there's many players once again, but I'll go 1 vote. Nick Dacos, 29 disposals. He had 18 kicks and went at 56%, but had a truckload of it as well. But I'm going to back in 2 defenders tonight from Adelaide. So 2 votes. I'm going to go Mark Keane. Yeah. He had 21 kicks. He went at 62%, 23 disposals. But again, Josh Worrell, 3 votes tonight, 27 disposals, and he went at 75%. So not only the pressure of the football coming in, an incredible 71 times into the forward 50, but they both defended well and exited the defensive 50 on many occasions with elite skills. So well done to those two boys.
You've redeemed yourself, Jamo. I think Josh has got the nod of approval in the corner. Seems pretty happy with that.
Yep.
3 to Worrell, 2 to Keane, 1 to Nick Dacos. Adelaide winners by 3 points.
And special mention, Cam Guthrie.
Give us your power rankings. So if you're picking the premiership contenders right now, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Adelaide, Brisbane, Geelong. I'd still say Collingwood.
Which is exactly how the ladder currently sits.
Yep.
Jamo?
Yeah, same.
Geelong are just smoky too, I reckon. I reckon they're flying under the radar.
They are big time.
One top 9 side on the run home since their bye.
Yeah.
That they can just cruise into week 1 and be fresh and fit and ready to go.
Sorry, go, Jamo.
Oh, sorry, Tom. I was just going to say, I just always followed a stat, and I'll need to look into it a bit more detail this year, but it's normally the best defensive team plays off in the grand final. They don't always win. But over the last few years, the defensive teams have got closer and closer in terms of the margin. So out of those 4, Adelaide, Geelong and Collingwood are the 3 best defensive teams. Brisbane can blow it out by plenty in terms of their defence. So I think it's actually going to come from Adelaide, Geelong or Collingwood will be the ultimate premiership.
Fascinating.
Having said that, on their day, Hawthorn as well.
Yeah.
But
they've hit form at the right time. They did last year and they got done by Port in an epic semi-final here. I was just going to say on Geelong, who've been able to fly under the radar, even last season, they came to a qualifying final, first week of the finals, home here for Port Adelaide, and we know that they can go to water in big games, but the way that they pick them apart, the planning, the coaching of Chris Scott, it's certainly not underrated because he gets his credence. There's no doubt about that, but all those factors in the game, I know they play their own game, their own ground very well, but they're looking good for a top 2 finish. So they're going to be difficult. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. Western Bulldogs. I know that they've got to win next week to make it. They've got to win tomorrow as well. But
and then they play Freo.
But they play Freo for that spot.
Yeah.
And their percentage is 135. Geelong's is 139. Adelaide's is 141. I think percentage is it's not an underrated stat, but it's something that's very, very important. And I know their record against the top 9's not as good as the others, but I just feel like that they've got the pieces that they can put it together in a big game.
On their day, isn't it? I think Hawthorn, if they get going, and their offensive football is incredible. The Western Bulldogs similar with their firepower up forward too. And we talk about Adelaide because I think Adelaide clearly are in the box seat. It is set up, but you've still got to win them. You've still got to win them. But they've given themselves every chance to play 2 home finals and make a trip to Melbourne.
Score update in the cricket, which is just wrapped up as well, and you can hear the post-game on the ABC Listen app through the cricket button. Australia's beaten South Africa by 2 wickets to snatch that T20 series. Looked a little dicey, so they were chasing 173, had a hot start. 66 runs for their first wicket, but then the middle order collapsed. So Inglis out for a duck, Cameron Green for 9, Aaron Hardy made 1, Ben Dwarshuis made 1, but Glenn Maxwell, 62 from 36 not out to get them over the line. So those power hitters in the middle order seem to be getting the job done. It's either Tim David or Glenn Maxwell and Cameron Green at times, but Australia wraps up that series, but they've still got some one-dayers to come against South Africa as well. Here, Adelaide winners by 3 points. Josh Worrell, 3 votes, 2 to Mark Keane, 1 to Nick Dacos. Huge thanks to Rod Jamieson and Josh Franco, to Tom Wilson, Paul Brokenshire, Braden Ingram down in the rooms, Mitch and Jules back in the studio. Tomorrow, AFL Sunday from midday for all the fallout from this epic. Then North Melbourne and Richmond from 1 Eastern at Bellerive. Sydney host Geelong at 2:30, and the Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles to wrap up round 23. The permutations are incredible. What we know is Adelaide are locked in for a top 2 finish, and Collingwood will be fighting for their top 4 spot over the next couple of weeks. Adelaide winners 9-5-59 to Collingwood's 8-8-56 here at the Adelaide Oval in front of a massive crowd, 54,283. Here's how we saw it. These are the games that you wait all year for. A heavyweight clash with top 4 implications. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. It's Adelaide and Collingwood, pickpocketed by De Goey, but he hacked it forward. It's a kind bounce for Elliott. Set from town. Jamie Elliott gets a gift.
Kicks towards the goal square, pulled it across the face. Flight! It's Fogarty! He was tunnelled and he still held onto the mark. 8 metres out, just away to the right.
Wow, what a catch.
It's going to be goal 38 for the season and the first of the night for the Crows. Fogarty goes bang.
50 flooded now, but Brodie Smith is pinpoint. That is a perfect pass. Lays it towards Darcy Fogarty, who's charging out of the square. Darcy Fogarty tonight, though, is rocking and rolling early. He's got 2. Adelaide struck first in the second term.
Defensive side of centre wing, and Curtin took a hanger in the wet. He rose up above Houston, gets it off to Bond. Here comes the overlap. Running onto this is Cumming. Can he get it to sit? He knocks it forward to Keys with the 1-2, and Cumming runs into an open goal. Boundary throw in. Cameron ran over the top of it. He fell on the back and he smashes it through on the right boot.
Now to Perryman, across the body towards the 50. Crisp takes the mark, 45 out. Jack Crisp at left half forward. Gives it everything from 50. It's online, heading over the pack. It's through. 3-point game at the Adelaide Oval.
Going to go backwards to go forwards. He's going to pump it in long, deep inside the forward 50. Thilthorpe takes the mark. He put his hands up and it's stuck like glue. Thilthorpe around the body. Straight through the middle. And he looks straight to the 54,000 fans in the crowd.
De Goey gathers, sends Collingwood inside 50. Schultz. Right place, right time. Hands it off to Nick Dacos, the master from 45. He's incredible. Nick Dacos. No one can stop him. 3-point game. Elliott rises, can't take it. Hits the deck. They collapse. 35 from home. Miller around of nowhere. How do you get the footy? Just ripped it away. Banged it on the boot. Adelaide are going to do it. It's taken 9 years, but Adelaide finally conquers the final demon. The Crows confirm their premiership credentials. They win by 3 in an epic.
On the ABC Listen app, stream a wide range of free audiobooks, like from Leanne Moriarty, James Patterson, Tim Winton, and Kate Morton. No catch, just press play. Find free audiobooks on the ABC Listen app. ABC Sport on Social is your sports conversation on the go. Video, player insight and analysis. This is the content you never knew you needed. Get ABC Sport wherever.